In 1996, the VR game Eternal suddenly overlapped reality and kicked off an unprecedented chaotic era. Strange maps popped up everywhere as monsters and aliens flooded in, plunging humanity into crisis mode. Luckily, humans could pick classes like in a game, giving them a fighting chance in this hazard-packed age. 1 year after transmigrating here, Chui hadn't settled in before his mother suddenly passed away. Worse still, his only sister caught a bizarre illness, growing weaker by the day. So Chui sold the house, borrowed money, and hired a law-level priest to keep her alive, but the bills kept skyrocketing. Determined, he chose the combat path, aiming to raid monster dungeons for medical cash. Right then, the class change ceremony began, hosted by a level 24 mage radiating boss-level authority. As the staff touched the awakening array, purple light exploded, forcing students to squint. An invisible storm of energy swept out, leaving even Chui quietly stunned. He figured that just hosting rituals like this must bring in at least 6 figures. One by one, students stepped onto the array, waiting for fate to roll the dice. Though thousands of classes exist, the system only offers each awakener 3 most suitable picks. In this monster-filled era, combat classes reign supreme, especially tough warriors, while life classes get sighted. The first student awakened a life class and shuffled off, waiting for a future redo. Then number 3 one was called. It was Chu Yi. As class monitor with top grades and stats, he carried sky-high expectations. Ironically, those achievements meant absolutely nothing to the awakening process. When Chu Yi stepped up, all eyes locked on him, but the awakening device stayed awkwardly silent. As whispers rose, the necklace on his chest suddenly blazed with golden light. In a flash, the light roared like holy fire, engulfing Chu Yi at the center of the array. Floating panels appeared before him as a mysterious system activated, granting its rank divine protection gift pack. Without hesitation, Chu Yi claimed the shiny reward. Holy power surged through him. His light element affinity skyrocketed, and light skills were doubled in strength. In this world, talents rank from F to S. The higher the grade, the scarier the power. More importantly, talent level usually decides which class one can awaken. Amid the chatter, someone mocked Chu Yi, asking if he'd failed to awaken at all. The moment the words fell, a colossal golden beam pierced the clouds and slammed onto him. Instantly, the sky turned pure gold, holy light flooding the heavens. The two hosts looked up in shock, realizing this was the sign of a talent awakening. Under everyone's frozen gaze, a majestic 6-winged angel descended from the golden pillar. The angel stopped before Chu Yi, her divine aura leaving him dazed, eyes nearly starstruck. Teachers and students alike stood petrified, mouths open but speechless. A clear, bell-like voice declared that light was his faith and source of strength. The gentle voice promised the angel would protect Chu Yi, as long as his faith endured. It turned out his path of holy light would become a shield against all evil. Finally, the angel smiled softly, saying she would stay by his side from now on. She embraced Chu Yi lightly, then transformed into blazing light and shot into his forehead. At last, a shimmering golden cross appeared on Chu Yi's brow, radiating sacred brilliance. In a flash, Chu Yi erupted in blazing golden light like a holy bonfire on overdrive. As the glow faded, 3 radiant golden figures slowly formed before him. The crowd exploded in chatter, and Teacher Li gaped, recognizing the legendary hidden classes. Before Chu Yi floated 3 rare options: Light Mage, Holy Priest, and Holy Knight. The Light Mage boasts insane destructive power but folds fast with its paper-thin defense. The Holy Priest excels at healing and protection, yet hits like a wet noodle solo. The Holy Knight, however, is the balanced darling, tanky, steady in attack, and self-healing. After seconds of thought and guided by his natural holy light affinity, Chu Yi chose Holy Knight. Instantly, the Holy Knight image flared and merged into his body as pure energy. A steady voice echoed in his mind, congratulating him on becoming a Holy Knight. 6 angelic wings unfurled behind him, radiating sacred light that left everyone stunned. 2 notifications confirmed he was now a level 10 Holy Knight with purifying slash and slow heal. The crowd swarmed him, some begged to party up, others asked for dates, one even proposed babies. In the chaos, Teacher Li squeezed in and loudly cleared the awakening area. She then gently praised Chu Yi and told him to rest and meet the principal tomorrow. Back at the dorm, Chu Yi studied his new class and found both stats and physique greatly boosted. With 10 unassigned stat points, he boosted strength first, then added to physique for better endurance. Once allocated, energy roared inside him like a freshly stoked furnace. The system chimed in, noting this was his first completed stat distribution. A quest title: Become a Knight activated, making Chu Yi grin at the juicy rewards. Upon confirmation, space twisted violently and reshaped into a brutal training ground. The mission was clear: defeat a Gula-level monster, and dying here meant dying for real. When he opened his eyes, Chu Yi stood alone in a freezing, abandoned mine. From textbooks, Gula don't eat humans, but provoke them and they'll fight to the death. Method, a savage hook attack, lunged at him from behind. Chu Yi instantly leapt back, the ground had stood on cracking apart. Smirking confidently, he wondered if raw strength alone could take this beast down. With a light push off his toes, he shot forward several meters, much faster than before. Gula roared and charged like a cyclone, but Chu Yi easily dodged with superior speed. Feeling assured, he coolly observed every attack trajectory within his sight. But right then, Gula's blade-like tail shot out, smashing Chu Yi into a rock. A huge hole tore through his abdomen, blood gushing as he collapsed in cold, sweating agony. Seeing prey wounded, Gula cackled wickedly, eyes blazing with bloodlust. Without hesitation, Chu Yi activated Slow Heal, grimly noting that even weak monsters are deadly. Before he could rest, Gula roared again and slashed forward with sharp claws. In the 10th split second, Chu Yi swiftly traced a radiant cross in midair. Purifying/erupted, holy power striking true and paralyzing Gula. Seizing the chance, Chuyi stomped forward, activated Tiger Assault, grabbed the beast, and slammed it down. The impact sent Gula flying like a bullet into the rock wall with a thunderous crash. Not wasting the moment, Chuyi clenched his fist as golden energy flared brilliantly around his arm. At the climax, he unleashed an aurora-powered punch that pierced Gula clean through, blasting it into ashes. The system chimed in, announcing an ranked challenge clear and offering 3 reward choices. After brief thought, Chuyi picked 10 extra strength points for that sweet instant boost. Once claimed, the trial space shattered and dissolved into nothingness. In a blink, Chuyi was back in his familiar dorm room, as if it had all been a dream. Meanwhile, at the city hospital, Chuyun lay in bed watching the class change news with hopeful eyes. Suddenly, the TV cut off as the head nurse entered, face icy and bill in hand. She tossed the invoice down, coldly demanding payment time. Seeing the massive sum, Chuyun's hands trembled, knowing her brother juggled 3 jobs for just 5,000 a month. The head nurse frowned and snapped that costly meds and hiring a priest were why expenses soared. She then cruelly added that those born poor should accept their fate. At peak tension, a hand landed on the nurse's shoulder and a steady voice sounded behind her. The man coolly asked her to step into the director's office, his gaze enough to make her flinch. Feeling the pressure, she hurried out without another word. Chuyun nervously eyed the strangers, fearing they were debt collectors. Sensing her worry, the middle-aged man smiled warmly and handed over his business card. He gently asked if she knew why a large sum had just appeared in her hospital account. Pausing, Chuyi lowered his voice and warily asked the stranger's identity. The man smiled, shook hands, and introduced himself as Wen Bin, the mayor's secretary, here for important matters. Chuyi listened silently, calculating since Wen Bin often speaks for the mayor himself. He nodded and suggested changing locations. A hospital room wasn't ideal for big talks. Minutes later, at a nearby restaurant, polite smiles masked Chuyu's sense of deeper motives. Wen Bin placed an exquisite key on the table, saying the mayor prepared cultivation resources stored in a bank vault. Chuyi didn't rush to accept, knowing such generosity was an investment expecting returns. Reading him well, Wen Bin added that round-the-clock medical care for Chuyun was already arranged. He even revealed a level 36 priest would arrive in a month to personally treat her. Hearing that, Chuyi frowned briefly, then decisively took the key and calmly thanked him. He soon returned to the hospital room and told his sister everything. Chuyun looked at him in awe, joking that he was about to soar to the skies and asking to tag along. Chuckling, Chuyi patted her head, telling her to focus on health and that every class has unique skills. He explained that slow heal combined with holy night weapons could ease her pain. As the skill activated, sacred golden light enveloped Chuyun. Instantly, she felt soothed like soaking in a warm, hot spring. After adding another protective aura, Chuyi withdrew his hand and asked how she felt. Chuyun nodded eagerly, saying the pain was gone and praising her amazing brother. In truth, Chuyi chose the holy night path not just to fight, but to ease his sister's strange illness. The next morning, the principal informed him that dozens of universities had called to offer direct admission. Still, Chuyi felt slight disappointment that the top 3 universities were absent, relying solely on the grand exam. Soon after, the principal led him to the reception room, heated arguments echoing down the hall. Inside, he was introduced to 4 representatives from Tianfu University, Shannon University, Capital City University, and Anjing University. Chuyi immediately bowed politely, his calm demeanor silencing the room. The 4 lecturers quietly observed, noting he wasn't arrogant despite awakening a rare hidden class. Tianfu's rep spoke first, offering 2 million per month and 3 exclusive Holy Night skill books. Chuyi was stunned the money dwarfed his family's income, not to mention the rare skills. Shan's representative scoffed, calling that offer stingy. She promised 3 million per year, a level 56 Holy Night skill book, and personal training. The principal froze. Level 56 nearly peaks planetary power while Chuyi calmly calculated. Capital City quickly raised the stakes with its own competitive proposal. Teacher Lian pledged a Grade B cultivation resource upon enrollment. Anjing's rep excitedly added that a Grade B resource could turn an average Joe into a powerhouse. 4 pairs of eyes locked onto Chuyi as tension thickened the air. Unexpectedly, Chuyi declared he would forego direct admission, stunning everyone. The lecturers were shocked, especially Yu Lu from Anjing, who frowned in displeasure. Chuyi firmly stated his goal was the top 3 universities in the top 10. He elaborated on Jingdu University and Mo City University, the twin giants of Zhangxia. Those schools even recruit powerful races like the Immortal Clan, and Giants competition is brutal. Jia Tianfu burst out laughing, calling him unrealistic. He bluntly reminded Chuyi of his 18 years lacking resources and weak foundation. Even if admitted, Zhao claimed Chuyi would rank bottom and receive no real support. At the peak, Zhao Tianfu unleashed crushing pressure, saying yesterday Chuyi would have collapsed. The principal stepped in front of Chuyi, coldly asking if he planned to bully a student on campus. Meanwhile, Chuyi stood firm under the pressure for several breaths, secretly impressing the principal. Zhao Tianfu snorted and withdrew the oppressive aura. Saying admissions also value character, he left with the others, the mood heavy. The principal sighed, reminding Chuyi that Zhangxia teams with geniuses and the top 3 are nearly untouchable. Chuyi smiled confidently, vowing to prove himself in the final exam. He had calculated it well. 1 month remained, and the system would skyrocket his strength. Hearing that, the principal recalled battlefield days where willpower was forged in fire. He laughed in satisfaction, saying he looked forward to Chuyi's performance. In a blink, a month past exam day arrived, and news of Chuyi rejecting offers spread citywide. Gossip buzzed everywhere, many calling him arrogant for aiming at the top three. Under countless stares, Chuyi entered the exam hall with the aura of a true powerhouse. A nearby student whispered in awe Chuyi felt completely different now. Another could only sigh, predicting a brutal day ahead. The dungeon gates slowly opened, a 30-minute countdown appearing. An announcement declared the level 1013 Dark Forest dungeon swarming with demon cats and bloodthirsty fish-head monsters. The room erupted in panic over swamp terrain and savage beasts. The examiner coldly warned that dying inside meant dying for real. Teleportation circles lit up as the system announced the exam had officially begun. Groups entered one by one, from solo fighters to Class 1's three-man squad. Finally, Chuyi chose Nightmare difficulty and entered alone. Close behind Class 2's Changyu team of 4 selected hard mode. Outside the exam hall, students buzzed in shock that Chuyi dared solo Nightmare mode. As he crossed the portal, countless spectators stared, stunned by his lone charge into Hell mode. Far away, the education director gawked at the screen, unbelieving anyone would attempt such madness solo. Slamming the table, he barked that even a holy knight with strong support skills shouldn't be that reckless. Beside him, the principal pondered grimly if Chuyi failed, Lijiang City's reputation would take a hit. Still, he calmly replied that Chuyi surely had a trump card it was too early to judge. Inside the dungeon, with 7 extra strength points and a new weapon, Chuyi felt absurdly agile. He activated the system and drew his blade, eyes turning icy as silver light flashed. A demon cat lunged from the bushes, claws gleaming viciously. In a blink, Chuyi counter-slashed, holy light flaring as the beast dropped instantly. The system displayed his stats strength, physique agility, intelligence while he coolly reassessed himself. 3 more demon cats crept from the bushes, closing in for a sneak attack. Unfazed, Chuyi gripped his blade and declared he'd wipe them all out. He triggered Crank Blessed Weapon, Holy Radiance boosting attack power and strike speed. Empowered by Shrank talent, his blade roared as he spun with a thunderous sweeping slash. In seconds, the cats were cleared, the ground trembling as Chuyi smiled confidently mid-battlefield. But 3 more demon cats pounced from behind, claws flashing with killing intent. Instantly, he cast Pure White Shield to form a light barrier, then countered with a lightning-fast slash. The system spammed kill notifications while outside spectators erupted in chatter. Activating Pure White Shield at the ambush's exact moment, his perception spiked 5-fold, exposing the sneak attack. He hurled a white light blade like an arrow, holy force piercing the cat clean through. The audience exploded in awe, students gasping as their class monitor handled chaos like a speedrun. One observer argued it wasn't just skill speed, Chuyi's physical stats were monstrous too. The director silently noted Chuyi had sharp combat instincts, though his style remained rigid. Soon, Nightmare Mode demon cats flooded and each was dangerous, but their sheer numbers were terrifying. The true test was stamina. Big moves are easy, but hundreds of slashes can drain any caster dry. Waves kept coming like a tide, over 100 beasts charging as the audience grew anxious. Yet Chuyi stood firm, holy power blazing as he erased the swarm in moments. To conserve stamina for the long haul, he refined Pure White Shield into a sharper offensive form. The light blade slammed into the ground, erupting in a shockwave that blasted Cat skyward. It spun back to his hand and swept across the field, crushing any survivors instantly. At the climax, Chuyi delivered a thunderous final slash, cleaving down the last demon cat. Suddenly, a swirling radiant portal appeared, its expanding ring emitting a strange aura. Frowning slightly, Chuyi guessed it led to an even harsher next stage. Hoisting his blade onto his shoulder, he strode into the portal, calm-faced but battle spirit blazing. Beyond it stood a sea of ferocious demon cats packed across the field. Chuyi smirked coldly, ready to fight. The system displayed enemy data. The strongest was a level 14 demon humanoid with brutal combat skills. After a quick scan, Chuyi saw they weren't individually strong, but moved like a well-trained army. The beasts roared in unison. Their leader screeched the attack order as Chuyi tightened his grip. 7 monsters charged at once, led by a powerhouse fishman whose aura crushed the formation. Behind them, demon cat mages chanted together, dark curses and fireballs chaining into non-stop bombardment. In a flash, a curse bound Chuyi's limbs, freezing him mid-battle. Fireballs screamed toward him, while melee fighters closed in. Escape seemed impossible. Yet Chuyi merely smirked, coolly analyzing their formation while murmuring a counterspell. The Holy Cross incantation activated, a massive radiant cross blazing before him. Forming hand seals, he dispelled the curse and prepared a counterattack that left spectators breathless. Suddenly, the cross exploded with holy brilliance, flooding the battlefield like a tidal wave of light. Wherever it touched, monsters burned in agony, screaming before vanishing without a trace. At its peak, divine flames engulfed the field, erasing every beast in an instant. The system announced Level 4B Holy Radiant Cross, creating a cross that deals continuous light damage in an area. Outside, the audience erupted at the instant wipeout. Even the education director leapt up, stunned that Chuyi's skill might reach ultra-rare rank. He stared in disbelief. National resources rarely boast even rank skills. Back inside, Chuyi stood firm. Only the giant fishman remained. Smiling provocatively, he invited his foe forward for a proper onion on. The fishman roared, activating a tyrant shadow that stomped the ground behind him. The earth split into a rushing fissure, but Chuyi leapt aside like a phantom. The fishman soared up, unleashing a brutal aerial slam empowered by tyrant force. Instantly, Chuyi raised his axe and triggered Cleaving Strike, blasting the fishman midair. He clasped his hands again, holy light surging as he prepared the finisher. Though Tyrant Mode reduced incoming damage, Chui calmly observed the field. Gravely wounded, the fishman roared madly and charged again through the air. As it closed in, Chui coldly swung his blade, slicing the monster clean in half. The corpse crashed into a pool of blood as holy light flared, purging all remaining traces. Meanwhile, viewers were reminded to subscribe for more thrilling battles ahead. At that moment, a radiant portal opened above, leading to the final chamber where Boss Gioia waited. The hall exploded in cheers, eyes glued to the screen after Chui's dazzling combo. Astonishingly, the dungeon's second gate fell in just 59 seconds. La Tao gaped in shock while Xiao Yu clapped proudly beside him. Qiao Yu congratulated Dean Luo Heng, who smiled calmly, saying the academy's luck had finally turned. Privately, Luo Heng thought if Chui kept shining, Second Academy might rank top in the province for the first time. Suddenly, a student pointed at the screen, shouting as Chui entered the boss room without resting. La Tao feigned anger, but Luo Heng reassured him that Chui surely had a plan. After all, top 100 provincially required nightmare mode, and vying for champion meant blazing through fast. Inside the dungeon, Chui stood tall before the throne, facing Boss Gioia in silent anticipation. Gioia roared, boasting level 16 with golden aptitude, warning Chui not to bother probing his power. The boss slammed his massive hammer down, the blow threatening to crush everything flat. The ground exploded, but a protective blessing triggered, causing the devastating strike to miss. Enraged, Gioia's eyes turned bloodshot, fury twisting his face. Not far away, Chui shone in divine armor, smirking as he activated every Holy Knight skill. Gioia glared back, killing intent surging like a tidal wave. Without hesitation, Chui dashed forward, leaped high, and gripped his weapon for a decisive strike. His divine axe fell like lightning, but Gioia's steel-like hide barely scratched. The giant fishman stood firm, now even angrier. Instantly, the boss countered with a savage hammer swing, forcing Chui into danger. Explosions thundered, the battlefield shaking as debris flew everywhere. Luckily, Chui twisted aside at the last second, narrowly dodging the crushing blow. Before he could breathe, the fishman slammed again, pressing him hard. The brutal strike blasted Chui flying through dozens of stone walls. Thanks to his divine armor, he rose unscathed, eyes unwavering. A spark flashed in his mind, he focused and summoned Victory Spear. The radiant spear tore through the air, piercing the fishman with a heavy wound. Then countless light spears formed overhead, raining down like meteors. The boss roared disdainfully, swinging his hammer to deflect many with ear-piercing clangs. Calmly observing, Chui realized brute force wouldn't work, he needed a faster finish. Activating level 8 Victory Spear, he detected the boss' weakness, painfully slow reaction speed. Meanwhile, viewers were again reminded to subscribe for more thrilling videos. The system warned his mana was nearly depleted, but Chui smirked, he saw his opening. A sudden explosion erupted at the fishman's flank as a spear struck the weak point, flesh and blood spraying. The giant roared and collapsed while Chui calculated the final blow. The system warned again, low mana meant imminent danger. Without hesitation, Chui unleashed all remaining power, summoning a storm of light spears. Even the ferocious boss couldn't withstand the relentless barrage shredding his body. In the decisive moment, Chui precisely timed his last skill before mana ran dry. He drew a sacred white sword, ready to finish it without any buffs left. The audience was once more reminded to subscribe and support future videos. At the climax, Boss Gioia gave a final roar and fell. The system announced Nightmare clear in 9 minutes 24 seconds. Receiving an SS rating and breaking the competition record, Chui was stunned despite exhaustion. Joy surged, he might have secured provincial champion. Slowing his steps, he recalled a turbulent year transmigration, his mother's death, and his sister's illness. Another subscription reminder echoed so viewers wouldn't miss upcoming content. Finally, Chui calmly stepped into the time gate, ready to leave the dungeon. The system confirmed rewards 522 XP, 20 stat points, 20 skill points, and promotion to level 13. He also gained rare gear and enchantment materials, pausing thoughtfully before new trials. Exiting the gate, the hall erupted in cheers, the crowd hailing Chui as a victorious hero. The audience is nudged yet again to subscribe so they don't miss the next juicy episode. Reporters swarm in as Principal Luo Heng and the education director step up to celebrate the historic win. Zhu humbly nods at the praise, playing it cool under all the admiring stares. A flashy F400 supercar zooms in, stunning the plaza by casually driving and flying. The director grins, saying the car's here for Zhu and official results drop in 3 days. Zhu rushes to the hospital to see his sister Zhu in a VIP medical suite. A cheerful nurse greets him, and Zhu smiles, saying has brought good news. In the elevator, the nurse asks about the exam, then the air turns icy enough to spook her. On the 26th floor, they find a hallway frozen solid like a deluxe ice cemetery. Worse, doctors and nurses are frozen mindscape like chilling statues. Panicked for Zhu bolts for her room, ignoring frantic shouts behind him. A blink later, the nurse is swallowed by frost, becoming another ice sculpture. Zhu hacks through the ice with his axe, roaring Zhu name. A massive bone ice dragon blocks his path, while a mysterious girl casts magic around Zhu. The dragon roars and charges at Zhu with murderous momentum. Zhu channels all his strength into one arm, ready to strike back. The girl screams for him to stop, revealing the dragon as Zhu internal power. Zhu halts mid-swing, eyeing the approaching girl with suspicion. He realizes it's Qing, a familiar face wearing a tense expression. Qing explains that harming the bone ice dragon would shatter Zhu heart too. She adds that Zhu cold energy just erupted, freezing the entire floor. Qing warns she can only temporarily suppress the frost here. Zhu must leave now. Zhu anxiously demands to know what will happen to Zhu. Wiping cold sweat, Ching admits that without a high priest, she's basically powerless. Staring at the giant dragon, Ju-yi knows he'll have to save his sister himself. Without hesitation, he opens the system and dumps all skill points into slow recovery. The system announces slow recovery jumps from level 4 to level 10 now with what area healing. Ju-yi casts it instantly, holy light flooding the room like divine Wi-Fi. The glow shatters Ching's icy prison, leaving her stunned by the holy knight's magic. Healing spreads outward, ice cracks apart, and Ju-yin's condition stabilizes. Ju-yi orders Ching to contact Secretary Zhao and summon a high priest immediately. He swears any condition is acceptable as long as Ju-yun is saved. His resolve pushes Ching to try even if the odds are slim. She reveals that for a year, Ju-yun endured nightly cold outbreaks, so painful it was worse than death. Even as frost creeps over him, Ju-yi grits his teeth and refuses to leave. The bone ice dragon opens killing eyes and exhales a chill that could freeze his soul. The audience is once again reminded to subscribe for more thrilling content. Suddenly, a mysterious force drags the entire dragon into the center of a magic array. Magic power erupts, blinding light engulfing Ju-yun's body. When it ends, a priestess slams her staff down, shattering the frost and calmly facing Ju-yi. The frozen doctors and nurses are thawed one by one from their icy traps. The priestess introduces herself as Qiliana, level 35 high priest of Qingyan City. She adds that Director Tao invited her after hearing Ju-yi might become provincial champion. Trembling, Ju-yi anxiously asks what illness Ju-yun has and if she can be cured. Qiliana calmly says it's no illness, but frost energy condensing sign of a bloodline awakening. Ju-yi freezes in eternal, only extraordinary beings survive such frost long-term. Qiliana explains as the game merges with reality, those with alien bloodlines reveal unique traits. Spirit folk may have blue eyes and long ears, while ancient human descendants grow abnormally tall. After 2 centuries of intermarriage, alien traits faded, only true awakenings expose them. She warns that when a bloodline erupts, fortune and disaster come together, control it and power soars. Fail to fuse it, and you're crippled at best, dead at worst. Ju-yun endured the frost too long, her frail body can't handle this rare ice bloodline. To absorb it, her physique must be fundamentally transformed first. Qiliana mentions the extreme frost ice lotus, a rare earth treasure that can rebuild the body, basically never on sale. It last appeared 30 years ago, auctioned for 1.3 billion to a mysterious buyer. She warns that if another outbreak hits in 3 months, Ju-yun will completely lose control. Another option is sealing the alien bloodline with a grand seal at the cost of her future growth. 5 days later, Ju-yi trains tirelessly with his axe, clearing every system quest. The panel flashes all drills, score 2,200 daily mission done, pick a reward. Ju-yi chooses free attribute points as a holy knight. Physique and intelligence matter, but balance is king. People buzz about his holy light cross, rivaling Heideer fire magic, and divine buffs. Some even joke about measuring the provincial top scorer's biceps. Meanwhile, in a sealed room, a reed-haired man and a robot watch news of Ju-yi's shocking feat. The redhead mutters bitterly Ju-yi cleared the dark prison in 9:24, 20 seconds faster than his record. Jealousy boils as he claims Ju-yi stole the spotlight meant for him. Enraged, he explodes the robot beside him and vows coldly to make Ju-yi pay. Scene shift, Ju-yi receives 2 texts. Lijiang authorities send 5 million yuan, the Education Bureau adds 2 million. Stunned by the fortune, Ju-yi calls Secretary Zhao, who casually says it's a government reward plus a luxury villa. Ju-yi pauses, realizing his provincial champion status is now fully on their radar. Slightly flushed, he asks Zhao to pick the villa, and politely declines a chauffeur since recruiters are already swarming. A man steps forward with a card, introducing himself as a recruiter from Rongyang University, surprising Ju-yi. A mocking voice recalls Rongyang once called Ju-yi arrogant, guess they weren't fans before. The crowd gasps as that recruiter arrives by helicopter, some whispering Ju-yi's gotten too big for his boots. Amid the chaos, a familiar voice reminds everyone to subscribe and follow the saga. Suddenly, a muscular man jumps from another helicopter, declaring Muzuo University will double Rongyang's offer to recruit Ju-yi. Amid the 2go4, a voice plugs Ginmumgi, don't forget to subscribe for more drama. In a flash, a winged girl scoops up Ju-yi and rockets skyward, yelling that no one asked Beijing University yet. Midair, she whispers that Beijing guarantees 4 years of cultivation resources, with an A-grade package annually. A magic circle suddenly fires at them, but she beats her wings harder and dodges with Ju-yi in tow. Another voice challenges back, claiming Suheng University can match anything Qingjing offers. Tianfu University ups the ante, yearly A-grade resources plus a full golden gear set, throwing shade at the winged girl. Irritated, the winged girl softens and tells Ju-yi to choose the path he truly wants. A girl in black steps out, Su-mei of Suheng University, declaring strength rules there, and top rankers can reach grade resources. Shannan University's pink-haired rep snaps back, accusing Su-mei of arrogance after a few wins. Ju-yi falls silent, weighing the 3 elite schools, seeking the one that sharpens real combat power. After deep thought, his gaze firms. His next words make all 3 recruiters hold their breath. Ju-yi looks at Su-mei and decisively chooses Suheng University, stunning the other 2. Smiling, Su-mei presents Su University's magic contract as Tianfu and Shannan reps swallow their regret. She chants softly, a pen floats up and inscribes intricate runes, wandless magic that amazes Ju-yi. Curious, Ju-yi asks her level. Su-mei calmly says level 42 mage, nearly blowing his mind. Without hesitation, Ju-yi signs, believing Suheng will finally give him worthy rivals. The moment he finishes, the contract's magic circle lights up, engraving Ju-yi's name in binding glow. Mystic light flares. The pact between Ju-yi and Suheng University is officially sealed. Sumei instructs him to pack within a week. Shall personally return to escort him to campus. Laughing, she explains the school wants him a week early for elite training before the National Student Exchange Tournament. Soon, the scene shifts to the luxury villa gifted by the government, where Secretary Zhao Wenbin guides Juyi's family. Juyun, in her wheelchair, gapes at the spacious interior and excitedly spots a next-gen nano robot. Zhao Wenbin proudly describes the three-story, 1,000-square-meter villa with a private training room and rooftop lounge. As he prepares to leave, Juyi stops him. There's one important favor to ask. Juyi explains Juyun is still weak and asks for temporary care. Zhao Wenbin agrees instantly. Before leaving, Juyi reminds Juyun to follow Kuliana's advice, eat on time, get Qing's daily checkups, and listen to Zhao Wenbin. Juyun yawns lazily, saying she has heard enough and telling him to quit nagging. Juyi laughs and pinches her cheek. She yelps, lightening the mood. Riding off with Sumei, Juyi looks back at his sister as Sumei asks if it's his first time leaving home and warns Su-heng won't be easy. Juyi nods fiercely, eyes blazing with resolve for the tough road ahead. Sumei slams the gas, the car shooting off like a missile, leaving Juyi rattled by the insane speed. The car shoots through a time gate, light spiraling as if space itself is being shredded. Soon they arrive at Aning City, home of Su-heng University, as convoys of freshmen flood in. Juyi's car rolls out of the teleportation gate into the bustling crowd before campus. The strange air makes him dizzy for a second, but Juyi quickly steadies himself. No rush to adapt. Sumei explains it's a larger-scale military and teleportation array, and Su-heng built one nearby thanks to district ties. Juyi looks over the vast campus, stunned by its jaw-dropping grandeur. Thousands of freshmen stream through the gates like a roaring river. Smiling, Sumei says they'll handle registration first, then tour the academy. Suddenly, a blur dashes past. Juyi reflexively sidesteps just in time. A male student comes flying and crashes at his feet, rolling across the ground. The girl who kicked him stands there, eyes cold as death, shouting she has zero interest in him. She walks off, warning that was just a reminder. Next time, she won't hold back. The boy foams at the mouth as onlookers whisper that young Master Deng finally hit his nemesis. Juyi quietly observes, secretly gouging the girl's strength. Noticing his stare, Sumei explains the girl is Tao Wen, of alien bloodline, and that's nothing rare here. Juyi calmly replies that as long as they stand with humanity, he bears no hatred even if his father died to alien kind. Sumei nods approvingly, hands him his student card, and ignites it with magic flame. The fire fades, revealing a glowing card. Juyi scans it and frowns at his initial rank. As they walk, Sumei explains the school's core rule, the constantly updated power ranking. From today on, Juyi is every freshman's target. Everyone wants to topple number 1. Juyi smirks as top scorer. He has no intention of giving up his throne. He firmly declares his rank won't be stolen easily. Sumei nods and shifts to explaining progress points. Each freshman has basic progress points on their card, a special currency for food, gear, potions, skills, and high-tier resources. Locking eyes with Juyi, Sumei says the first way to earn points is by taking and completing missions via the student system. Students also receive monthly fixed points based on their position on the Earth and Heaven rankings. She leads Juyi up a tall tower overlooking secret realm gates, stressing that over 1,000 students must obey ranking rules. Pointing to glowing portals afar, she adds the academy owns 3 secret realm dungeons for training. Specifically, the second dungeon is Twisted Tree Forest level 2326, and the third is Purgatory level 2831. Entry requires meeting level thresholds and paying points otherwise. Students can spar with humans or robots in training zones. Most importantly, Sumei emphasizes that at Su-heng, strength decides everything. Power grants voice and resources. Juyi's eyes light up. This brutal competition is exactly what has been craving. Just then, a group of students passing the training area notice Sumei and Juyi and start whispering. Some laugh, recalling young Master Deng getting schooled by the female Rakshasa. Sumei sighs and continues the tour. Meanwhile, many students watch Juyi with curiosity mixed with respect. Some even wonder why freshmen tour in groups, while Juyi gets VIP guidance from a teacher. Soon, Wang Lihan leads a group over, loudly explaining that top scorers get personal onboarding. Nearby, Tao Wen overhears and eyes Juyi, guessing as this year's champion. Wang Lihan laughs and announces Juyi as Su-heng Province's top scorer, level 13 Holly Knight. The crowd freezes, then erupts into noisy disbelief. Some doubt a supportling knight could beat a level 14 warrior, while a few girls just gush over Juyi's looks. In the crowd, Tao Wen watches silently, her cold gaze tinged with rivalry. Suddenly, a male student loudly mocks the top scorer title as hype and bets Juyi won't keep it long. Seeing Juyi look over, he smugly introduces himself as Lu Jing, level 13 knight, rank 38. Lu Jing boldly declares he doubts Juyi's strength and demands a challenge. A student pats Lu Jing, urging him not to cause trouble, while Juyi quietly thinks this fool is ruining his point farming chance. Lu Jing shrugs off restraint and steps closer, eyes provocative. The teacher nearby just shakes his head, letting karma cook. Students gather excitedly, guessing Lu Jing wants fame by challenging the top scorer. Lu Jing offers a bet 100 progress points if he loses. Juyi scans the taunting crowd, deciding it's time to teach a lesson and avoid future nuisances. He coldly says 100 is cheap, make it 300 if Lu Jing wants the fight. The sudden raise makes Lu Jing pale, hesitation flickering. The crowd buzzes. Losing 300 points at rank 38 would seriously hurt, but spotting Tao Wen nearby, Lu Jing's pride flares. Retreat isn't an option. As Juyi pretends to walk away, Lu Jing grits his teeth, agrees, and demands a duel on the arena stage. Juyi smirks at his trapped prey, saying they don't even need the stage. He adds coldly that if Lu Jing doesn't kneel within 3 moves, Ju Yi will count it as his own loss. They still take the stage. Sumani acts as referee, sternly counting down and forbidding lethal blows. When 3 seconds end, Ju Yi and Lu Jing lock icy gazes. Tension floods the arena. Lu Jing roars and charges like lightning, aiming to end it in one strike. He calculates that a punishment knight's offense should overwhelm a support holy knight at close range. He even glances at Tao Wen, eager to flex his strength before her. Pride burning, Lu Jing pours all his power into his ultimate blow. He activates Blood Q, slashes down fiercely, and confidently declares Ju Yi doomed. But as he closes in, Ju Yi sidesteps and counters at electric speed. The Holy Knight's strike explodes with terrifying force, blasting Lu Jing straight into a distant wall. A thunderous crash erupts, debris and dust blanket the arena as everyone goes silent. When the smoke clears, Lu Jing lies motionless, blood pooling. The fight ended in a blink. Ju Yi shakes his head, disappointed. He expected 3 moves, not a one-hit collapse. Nearby students whisper in shock. No one thought rank 38 would fall so easily. As dust lingers, Ju Yi checks Lu Jing's. Bredics report 5 broken ribs and unconsciousness, and Sumani orders a priest immediately. Sumani transfers 300 progress points to Ju Yi's card, a flicker of approval in her eyes. The crowd erupts. How did the notorious punishment knight get one shot like that? Right then, Tao Wen steps forward, eyes firm, loudly demanding a duel with Ju Yi. Ever since that fight, she's been completely hooked on Ju Yi's strength. Ju Yi frowns slightly, sensing her demon bloodline and spotting a rare inheritance weapon in hand. Her blade is the 3-star inherited Guan Yu of the Terran clan. Curious about its power, Ju Yi accepts instantly. They step onto the arena and the tension spikes. Ju Yi opens the system and draws the 3-star golden Shangguang Warhammer, boosting physique, intelligence, and light skill levels. The crowd buzzes again as Li Dongsheng, rank 29 Aurora Society Minister, arrives and greets Su Mani. The arena countdown begins. Battle imminent. At 0, Tao Wen unsheathes Gu and Yu, crackling with lightning, and activates Extreme Shadow, blitzing forward. Her blade thrusts sharp and fast, but Ju Yi swings Gong Gong Warhammer in a crushing counter. The clash detonates with a thunderous boom, magic light flooding the arena. Both are pushed back several steps, yet their fighting spirit only intensifies. Tao Wen grips her blade and triggers Demon Key Slash, dark energy flaring as she cleaves forward. Ju Yi smirks, charging in like he's actually enjoying this. Seeing him close in, Tao Wen retreats swiftly, readying a counter. She unleashes Raging Wave Slash, her blade carving sharp shockwaves through the air. Without pause, she follows with Mountain Break Strike, slamming Guan Yu down to unleash violent tremors. Even so, Ju Yi stands firm amid the quake, eyes blazing like a true warrior. Students gape in disbelief. This is just a freshman match. Observing calmly, Li Dongsheng notes that unless Tao Wen has a trump card, this ends soon. He analyzes that she began defensively to absorb damage, but Ju Yi's pressure forced her into direct clashes with Guan Yu. From the stands, Li Dongsheng sees Ju Yi's Warhammer excels in both offense and defense, and he shows zero fatigue. Under relentless force, Tao Wen blocks desperately, yet each hammer strike crashes down like thunder. A brutal impact blasts her back dozens of meters, her body trembling, spectators stunned. Calmly, Ju Yi says he's only been warming up, then opens the system to stack multiple buffs. Golden light erupts around him, overwhelming aura shaking the arena. Facing that surge, Tao Wen realizes this is Ju Yi's true combat state. Without delay, Ju Yi casts Spear of Victory combined with Phantom Slash. He dashes like lightning, the strike ripping the ground apart in an explosion. Tao Wen barely dodges a fatal hit. As she tries to close in, Ju Yi smirks, having predicted it. A flash of golden light blinds her briefly, halting her momentum. Seizing the moment, Ju Yi brings Xuan Guang Warhammer in at extreme speed, leaving her no time to guard. Yet just before impact, he stops abruptly, eyes calm and restrained. Ju Yi asks quietly if she still wants to continue. Knowing the gap in strength, Tao Wen shakes her head and concedes, admitting Ju Yi's overwhelming power. She suddenly beams, admitting this was just a spar, her bloodline power stayed sheath. Pulling out her phone, Tao Wen says she watched Ju Yi's exam video and hopes they can spar again. Contact info, please. Ju Yi pauses, not expecting the fierce girl to ask for his number first. After swapping contacts, Tao Wen leaves the arena cheerfully, leaving wary stares behind. Ju Yi returns to Su Mani to continue the tour, while she muses that this freshman is seriously intriguing. On the way, Su Mani leads him to the mountain dorms, explaining special students get private villas at the peak. Stopping before a luxurious villa, she declares it Ju Yi's new home. As Ju Yi swipes in, dazzled by the opulence, Su Mani casually asks if has searching for the extreme frost ice lotus. She reveals an expedition once spotted it in the Fengshan range, but high-level magical beasts forced a retreat 6 years ago. Back inside, Ju Yi immediately boots up his computer and digs into all data on the Fengshan range. Info shows the Fengshan range formed after the game fused with Blue Star, rich in treasures, crawling with brutal beasts. Despite the danger, Ju Yi doesn't flinch. He weighs his strength and recalls his system-granted revival skill. Fired up, he opens the system interface to shop for skills and gear for the risky expedition. The system panel flares, listing skills and equipment, noting his special candidate No 1001. As such, all Rank Knight skills are unlocked free for him to learn. Skill names Flash Shield, Pierce, Battle Reentry, Wind Prayer, Healing. Ju Yi confirms them without hesitation. Joy surges. He actually cheers in the room. This luck is absurd. He quickly steadies himself. Nothing in this world is truly free, unlocked or not. After a few more taps, he equips the jungle set from his exam reward, ready for Fengshan. Upon arriving at the mountains, a massive explosion rocks the forest. Curiosity peak, Jui moves closer, his jungle set blending him into the wild. Mid-move his phone vibrates with a new message. It's Jiang Churen. She wants to get acquainted but declines tomorrow's training since she's heading to Fengshan. Chatting with a friend, Jiang Churen admits it's the third time she's thought about Zhu Yi, curiosity shining in her eyes. She recalls their duel. She unleashed magic, yet Zhu Yi stood calm and unmoved. After a moment's thought, Jiang Churen jumps up and declares she's going to Fengshan too. Deep in the range, an armored vehicle barrels forward, smashing aside a blocking beast. More magical beasts swarm from the forest, roaring as they charge the vehicle. The mechanic girl driving tosses bombs with practiced battlefield precision. Explosions chain into a fiery storm, shaking the woods violently. Yet one ultra-fast beast leaps clear of the blasts, landing with a roar that splits the air. Elsewhere, Wen Tianrun calmly summons an ice spirit, its frigid light halting the barrage. Another beast lunges at terrifying speed. Wu Qinglian points to 9 o'clock and shouts a counterattack order. Veteran gunner Zhu Dan steadies his aim and unleashes rapid fire into the charging horde. In a flash, a bullet pierces a target's skull, dropping the monster before it can react. He then spun the barrel and sprayed blazing bullets, forcing most beasts back except one, stubbornly blocking like a champ. Seeing that, Zhu Dan roared out its weak spot and ordered an immediate team combo. Wu Qinglian dashed in, green blade flashing as her phantom slash shredded the beast nonstop. Inside the armored car, Zhu Xiao perked up at the reinforcements and cheered like backup had just dropped. When Tianrun swiftly stepped back and summoned an ice spirit shield to cocoon Wu Qinglian. Suddenly, a monstrous sea of fire surged in, freezing everyone in sheer terror. In a blink, the flames shattered the ice shield and blasted the vehicle, carving a crater into the ground. Several cars were wrecked, and the girls collapsed, battered and bruised. Only Zhu Xiao staggered up, but his combat system blinked frantic critical errors. Wu Qinglian and Wen Tianrun panicked, shouting to check if everyone was alive and to stay sharp. Then a pack of bloodthirsty extraterrestrial demons appeared behind them, instantly maxing out team anxiety. Worse, after barely downing 4 monsters earlier, Wen Tianrun's team now stood at death's door. At the peak of chaos, a demon roared and unleashed a colossal firestorm straight at Wen Tianrun's group. Right then, Juni rode in on a wind wolf, blasting through the inferno at jaw-dropping speed. Juni instantly activated Holy Storm, holy light exploding across the battlefield. The blinding radiance halted the hellfire, saving everyone from becoming barbecue. Glowing crosses materialized behind him, spinning wildly midair. They formed a chaotic energy vortex, trapping the demon's dead center. The demons shrieked in panic, scorched mercilessly by holy light. Despite their terrifying dark aura spilling out, Juna's gaze stayed icy and unmoved. He pushed his storm skill further, unleashing power far beyond its base level. An invisible crushing force erupted, flattening one demon beyond resistance. Seizing the moment, Juni hurled a blazing red cross that flared like a sky-splitting explosion. A thunderous blast followed, tearing the demon apart in a holy tempest that shook the field. Amid the chaos, Juni rode forward on his wind wolf like a hero fresh out of an action movie. Another radiant cross shot out, instantly wiping the last demon before it could react. With the battle over, Juni dismounted before Team Qinglin's 4 girls, who stared in awe. Moments ago terrified, they quickly recovered thanks to Juni's continuous spiritual power healing. Suddenly uneasy, Juni stood as Qinglian hugged Wen Tianrun emotionally and offered heartfelt thanks. Hearing Juni's calm reply, Qinglian chuckled softly, her face tinged red with shyness. She then seriously noted his light element power counters demons well, but this place is still deadly. After reflecting, Juni admitted they'd searched the outskirts for a month without finding the extreme cold ice lotus and would wait until after the Grand Assembly. He decided to accompany Qinglian's group back to the supply base. Yuan shot Zhu Xiao a subtle, meaningful glance. Zhu Xiao got the hint and activated his ability, summoning 2 mini-support robots. A spacetime magic array gate snapped open with a metallic clang, like machinery issuing a challenge. Giant spider robots marched out of the portal, steel bodies gleaming as Juni and his wind wolf stared in shock. Yet Zhu Xiao urged everyone to move fast, while Qinglian secretly thought he was acting harder than an Oscar winner. The giant spider robots moved in sync, escorting the team out of danger. On the way, Juni asked if Fengshan Range always had demons. Qinglian replied seriously that none had appeared in the past 2 months. Hearing that, Juni asked why the military hadn't set up mage towers to monitor the whole area. Yuanlian calmly explained to supply base guards the entrance while mage towers track major disturbances. However, she added the demons they faced were actually low tier. That stunned Juni. Level 20 silver demons are hardly weak in his book. Qinglian clarified the mage towers mainly watch epic or legendary beasts deep in Fengshan Range. So those demons' energy was below detection threshold and slipped by unnoticed. Juni realized that while silver or gold seem mighty to them, the military sees them as bottom tier. Still, he wondered grimly if there's truly an interdimensional rift, why only low-level demons? After thinking, Qinglian guessed the rift might house level 30 or even 50 demons, making these just scouts. She shook her head, saying otherworld matters are messy, their job is simply report back ASAP. Elsewhere in the forest, starving demons roared madly upon spotting humans. Suddenly, a dazzling force slammed down from afar, explosions shaking the woods. Juni and Qinglian exchanged wary looks. He sensed a familiar aura, and she shouted it was demons. Without hesitation, Juni told the team to move on and sprinted toward the blast, despite Qinglian's protest. The wind wolf howled and charged into the deep forest, ignoring all sensible advice. Juni accelerated after his battle wolf, heading straight for the eruption. Then it hit him, the energy felt like Zhang Churen's, and he wondered why she was here. At the forest's edge, a group secretly discussed as two silver demons cornered a lone girl. One side, suggesting they abandon her if she stalls the demons, they might escape alive. Watching from afar, a young man muttered bitterly that this otherworldly wave kills for nothing. Meanwhile, Zhang Churen held the line alone, her inherited blade flashing so sharply demons couldn't approach. After several clashes, she realized the monsters were cunning and coordinated, not reckless. They knew her talismans were temporary, so they encircled her, dragging it out to drain her strength. A familiar voice suddenly chimed in, urging viewers to subscribe to Ginmanji for more exciting videos. Quickly scanning, Zhang Churen saw 10 demons across the plain, though she felled 8. Others instantly filled the gaps, sealing her retreat. Worse, the demons felt pressured, but her talismans were fading. Once gone, she'd be doomed. Suddenly, radiant holy light descended, brilliance washing over Zhang Churen's tense face. Amid the tension, that familiar subscription reminder echoed again, asking viewers to follow Ginmanji. A heaven-shaking blast followed, golden thunder crushing the demons. Dust and light spread, none left standing. Zhang Churen froze in shock, clueless who unleashed that devastating strike. Then Juni rode in on his winged wolf, slicing through the wind like a war god descending in glory. As he neared, Juni sensed a hidden demon. Zhang Churen gathered lightning and shouted for him to dodge. The demon leader roared and unleashed a crimson, demonic blast. Its crushing pressure made Zhang Churen grimace as Juni calculated a rescue. Right then, the demons transformed together, casting blazing flame bloom, a savage firestorm devouring the battlefield. Immediately after, the demons howled and charged Juni, murderous intent blazing. Seeing this, Zhang Churen realized the combo was monstrous and yelled for Juni to retreat. That was true demon clan coordination power. Facing doom, she secretly planned to self-destruct. 9 chances out of 10, she could take the leader down to save Juni. Shockingly, Juni ignored her warning and rode his winged wolf straight into the demon horde. In a flash, the demon leader unleashed a fatal strike, the earth splitting apart with a thunderous blast. Yet amid the dark surge, Juni stood firm and roared, activating lightning radiance. Instantly, bolts exploded around him, smashing demons to bits across the field. After the blast, Juni laughed. Now he gets why being a mage rocks. Long-range farming is addictive. Sadly, lightning radiance barely thinned them. The remaining demons swarmed from all sides. Only now was it clear not dozens but 180 demons had encircled Juni and Zhang Churen. Juni counted quickly, heart-chilling. 180 gathered means every plain monster came to the party. Suddenly, he ordered Zhang Churen to lure them left and avoid fighting, leaving her baffled. Without explaining, he stacked buffs, Royal Agility Fusion, Dawn Blessing, Weapon Blessing, and Divine Grace all onto her. Checking her system panel, Zhang Churen gassed every stat up by 25, power surging, as Juni urged her to bait them now. Juni then charged alone into the monster sea, igniting a violent clash across the shaking plain. The demon leader tried to counter, but Juni's attack landed first. A devastating blow crashed down, demons screaming as holy flames tore through darkness. Juni didn't stop, plunging deeper, each strike detonating with shockwaves and radiant bursts. From afar, Zhang Churen stared. Plus 25 stats seemed to make Juni twice as terrifying. Mid-thought, several demons suddenly blocked her path. The wind wolf roared and lunged, biting one demon and flinging it away before it reacted. Zhang Churen slashed with her inherited blade, forcing herself to follow Juni's plan. Meanwhile, Juni unleashed fatal blows nonstop, demons dropping like wheat before a scythe. Suddenly, he halted. A crafty demon had crept up behind him. In a blink, its icy blade pressed to his neck, certain of victory. With a casual flick, Juni exploded with force and sent it flying. He condensed energy into a dark magic whip, lashing the foe with heavy damage and shadow effects. Hearing a call, Zhang Churen turned, eyes wide at Juni's display. After a quick calculation, Juni hurled a blazing fireball toward her as demons clustered tightly. At that instant, he activated Brank Holy Light Protection, and aura granting allies immunity to physical damage. Donning Radiant Holy Knight armor, Juni cast Holy Cross Light. A massive golden cross formed midair, holy radiance spreading 200 meters and burning enemies nonstop. Under that power, demons hiding in shadows disintegrated one by one. Zhang Churen stood frozen, mouth agape at strength beyond imagination. Yet a few demons still charged madly as Juni declared all darkness would be purged by light. Without pause, he unleashed Brank Divine Light Descent, brilliance erupting wildly. A holy storm converged at one point, dealing light magic and minor physical damage to all foes nearby. Then, 2 gigantic crosses fell from the sky, spearing straight into the demon horde's heart. Upon impact, they exploded violently, shaking the ground like a natural disaster. In the next blink, the crosses merged into a colossal light vortex, sweeping all demons skyward. Inside the spiral, the monsters were crushed and erased with zero escape chance. Within seconds, the area became a blazing sea of light, once demon-packed, now utterly empty. From afar, a hidden group whispered in horror, wondering if that fighter was human or monster. Their boss muttered that even with level 26 and several 24s, they were nowhere near that terrifying teen. Right then, the familiar reminder echoed, urging viewers to subscribe to Ginmanji. Suddenly, a strange ancient carriage popped out of thin air near the battlefield. As the door opened, a cheerful girl hopped out, claiming they were juniors sent as backup. Zhu Xiao's group jolted, turning in unison to ask where on earth she came from. At the same time, Juni and Zhang Churen looked back, eyes wide with shock. Not long before, the system had dinged repeatedly. Juni hit level 17 then 18, gaining stats and skill points. After clearing the field, Juni downed a potion, swiftly restoring his drained stamina. Moments later, his body stabilized and the holy glow around him gradually faded. The level 18 summary popped up over 60,000 EXP from 180 demons, with major boosts to strength, physique, agility, and intelligence. Still, Junie regretted his pseudo-class EXP cap, otherwise this fight would have skyrocketed him further. Just then, Team Qingluan approached, stunned, asking if he really soloed the entire battlefield. Before more could be said, Jiang Chuan collapsed from exhaustion, luckily supported by the Wind Wolf. Everyone rushed over after a quick check. A young man confirmed she was simply drained from prolonged combat. Soon after, someone curiously asked Junie if he'd faced any particularly tough demon. Junie nodded calmly. The strongest he killed was a level 23 gold talent demon. Qingluan grew worried, explaining demon armies always have a leader, so danger surely remains. The group immediately chose to leave. No one wanted to linger another minute. Not far away, a hidden group debated whether to reveal themselves before Junie departed. But just as they moved, a terrifying demonic force descended from the sky, freezing them as their boss turned pale at the surging density. Amid the tension, that familiar subscription reminder echoed once more for Ginma-ji. Through rolling black smoke, a figure emerged riding a massive dragon steeped in evil aura. The system scanned level 34 legendary talent demon, mounted on a level 24 gold talent fire dragon with devastating attack power. An urgent alert blared, confirmed rank otherworld invasion east of Fangshan range, coordinates locked. The message spread instantly, ordering all Legion members to assemble and prepare for battle. Alarms rang everywhere. The Snow Dragon Legion mobilized knights, ended training. Priests readied anti-demon wards. Logistics scrambled to distribute resources, supplying demon cores and crystals to every unit. Meanwhile, mages fixed the battlefield coordinates and erected a colossal teleportation array. In record time, the entire force gathered before the portal, awaiting supreme command. A commander stepped forward, reporting all personnel ready and awaiting the Legion commander's order. Then the Snow Dragon Legion commander emerged, cold gleaming sword in hand, delivering a rousing declaration to the army. All soldiers roared in unison, their oath thundering across the square like a storm. Meanwhile, the Demon Legion held a tense war council before the grand battle. The demons snarled that after 6 months selecting kin on Blue Star, humans killed over 100 before they could return to the Azure Realm. Once the attack order dropped, the demon army howled madly, their leader vowing never to forgive humankind. He swore to burn enemy souls in hell and cast a summoning spell to call more demons from the void. In a blink, countless demons materialized. Silver, gold, even legendary ranks packed the sky. Scouting confirmed not just legendary demons, but gold demon knights and silver demon priests too. Qingluan turned to Team Qingluan, telling Junie to stay back. They'd shield him so he could escape if things went south. The others sternly insisted Junie must survive for everyone's future. Right then, the familiar plug echoed again, urging viewers to subscribe to Ginma-ji. Suddenly, a colossal teleportation gate flared open in the sky, armored figures stepping out with thunderous clangs. Jiang Chuan still stood there, utterly baffled by the chaos unfolding. Her teammates cheered. The level 30 Snow Dragon Legion charged in, breaking the siege and shouting for retreat. Elsewhere, the demon leader laughed wildly, declaring human magic couldn't hide them. Just as everyone moved toward the portal, a dense gray mist blanketed the area, sealing it tight. Scouts panicked. It was the demon clan's forbidden lock array, blocking all teleportation. Breaking it required at least 2 legions, otherwise they'd have to wait it out. Legion Commander Yu Ju touched the barrier's edge and asked the duration. About 5 minutes. Hearing that, he silently surveyed the battlefield, noting how many allies were trapped inside. Suddenly, the system issued a quest: slay the legendary demon, fail, and be punished, succeed and earn in strength talent and purple restoration elixir. Junie smiled faintly. The final quest had arrived and stepped forward to stop the others. His teammates anxiously asked what he planned to do next. The legendary demon pointed its blade at Junie, roaring it would tear him into pieces for revenge. At his command, the fire dragon gathered a massive fireball, ready to rain it down. Junie remained calm, eyes blazing as he summoned power for the decisive clash. In a flash, the fire dragon unleashed a crimson inferno from the sky like a falling meteor. From afar, Jiang Chuan clenched her fists, praying Junie would survive the terrifying strike. Amid the breathless tension, that familiar subscription reminder chimed in again. Then 2 skill forces collided midair, light and flame exploding brilliantly. In the crucial instant, Junie's attack pierced the fire and sliced off one of the fire dragon's wings. Gravely wounded, the dragon shrieked and crashed to the ground in a thunderous explosion. Enraged, the legendary demon ordered a continued assault, himself still unscathed. As Junie lunged with a killing blow, the demon countered fiercely, shattering earth and stone. But a beat later, the demon froze. Junie had vanished from sight, had used blistering speed and dust clouds to mask his movement. Naturally, the ever-present reminder echoed again: subscribe to Ginma-ji. Sensing danger, the demon raised its sword defensively and retreated from the strike zone. Staring at the devastation, he muttered in shock, a mere level 18 human matching him blow for blow. Junie lowered his hammer, eyes icy as he admitted this was his first legendary monster. Insulted, the demon roared madly and charged, giant blade swinging with pure human-hating rage. Junie dodged in a flash and fired across palm, blazing holy force, knocking the demon back. He activated pure white light, instantly buffing his body for sharper strikes. Pressing on, Junie unleashed light domain field, forcing the demon onto defense. A dazzling golden pillar crashed down from the sky onto the demon's position. Panicked, the demon triggered extreme defense energies collided, splitting the earth in a dust storm. But its defense was flawless. Light domain field was completely nullified. Realizing normal tactics were useless, Juni prepared to use his post-exam system reward skill. Yet the demon howled an order, commanding all subordinates to swarm him. War cries thundered as the horde charged like suicidal berserkers. Above them, Juni poured every last drop of mana into his ultimate move. Layer upon layer of radiance stacked around him like luminous armor. The sight made everyone below look up in stunned disbelief. Even Yuju of the Snow Dragon Legion couldn't hide his admiration. At the climax, Juni raised both hands, light gathered into a colossal heavenly palm and slammed down. The monsters shrieked in panic, sensing catastrophic doom descending. Before reacting, the blinding palm crashed down in overwhelming brilliance. Shockwaves swept the battlefield, instantly erasing many surrounding demons. On the ground, Juna's allies stood frozen, someone stammering if this was a dream. Meanwhile, the usual reminder chime subscribe to GitMMG for more recaps. From afar, Yuju muttered that the power rivaled a massive demon crystal cannon. He ordered an identity check. The trapped fighter was Suheng University's top freshman, self-proclaimed Holy Knight. Yuju sighed. The level gap was huge. Given time to grow, the boy would surely win. Below, the legendary demon lay gravely wounded, blood pouring, fangs shattered. Quick reminder, subscribe to GitMMG for more exciting recaps. Worse still, the demon went berserk, ordering its entire legion to charge. It cast a flame curse spell, repeatedly buffing its troops as dark forces surged stronger. Thousands of ferocious demonic beasts flooded in, with demon soldiers lurking behind. Facing the overwhelming army, Juni stood firm, eyes unwavering. The demon sneered. A drained level 18 knight couldn't survive its 300 troops. Juni worried silently. Divine Hand had nearly emptied his mana, and gear regen was too slow. So he activated the strength's secret art, Clear Divinity, gaining temporary divine power, boosted light skills, and massively increased recovery. Radiance erupted around Juni, shining like a descending god ready to face the horde. Suddenly, a blazing pillar of light fell from the heavens, piercing defenses and tearing space itself. Light enveloped Juni as he levitated, leaving demons and beasts staring up in fear. And yes, the familiar call returned. Subscribe to GitMMG for more story videos. Then behind Juni appeared a radiant angelic silhouette, colossal wings unfurling, channeling endless holy power into him. At that sight, the monsters froze, eyes glued to the majestic scene in the sky. A pure white feather drifted down. A curious beast touched it and was instantly burned to ash by holy fire. Another feather landed on Yuju's hand, and he realized in shock it was the rare divine descent art. He immediately asked in a low voice what kind of power divine descent art truly was. Calmly, he explained it's the ultimate secret of divine classes, pouring all godly power into battlefield miracles. One move could restore an entire legion, even overturn a demonic tide. Witnessing this, the demons trembled, some stammering it was the highest tier holy secret art. Quick plug, don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos. Still, a few demons suppressed their fear, believing their highness could retreat safely. In the dark valley, Juni stood in radiant light and coolly asked about the teleportation array's completion time. Hearing it needed 1 minute, he nodded and coldly declared it was time to prove their loyalty. The demon roared like thunder, commanding all monsters to sacrifice themselves to Demon Lord Olima as the descent ritual began. Instantly, demon souls left their bodies, igniting like ghostly flames and soaring skyward. Leading them, Raskin knelt, vowing fanatically to offer himself to Demon Lord Olima. Hundreds of souls fused into a massive energy stream, empowering the demon into something far more terrifying. Meanwhile, Juni stood within holy radiance, aura shielding him like an untouchable fortress. Beside him, a silent divine silhouette bestowed sacred strength upon its chosen one. The divine flow poured into Juni's hands, transforming his aura into that of an almost invincible holy knight. When the ritual ended, Juni opened his eyes and pointed coldly at the demon lord, declaring light would reign wherever they tread. A violent beam of radiance exploded forth, tearing toward the demon lord. The clash shattered nearby rocks as dust clouds rolled and slowly cleared. As visibility returned, the demon lord's terrifying transformation was revealed. His body burned like magma, levels surging from 2043, now a colossal flame demon radiating destruction. Reminder, subscribe to keep up with the next episodes. The flame demon roared and hurled a massive inferno at Juni's protective pillar of light. He compressed fire into a colossal sphere, heat skyrocketing to horrifying levels. At its peak, the sphere reached 15 million degrees, his whispered ultimate genius skill. He claimed such power was only possible through the sacrifice of his entire race. The fireball tore through the air toward Juni, who stood unmoving before the oncoming catastrophe. The instant it struck, Juni's power detonated, obliterating the attack in a heaven-shaking blast. The flame demon collapsed, trembling as his mana drained from the violent clash. Juni's allies stood firm below, eyes locked on their leader, ready to assist at any moment. As dust faded, Juni still hovered like a god, gaze sharp as a blade. Despairing, the flame demon turned and fled in panic. The teleportation array needed just 1 more minute step in, and he could escape. Yet Juni remained calm, preparing to end everything. Before the demon lord could speak, Juni declared from above, in the name of the divine, a sentence of death. A colossal light slash fell, cleaving the earth and piercing straight through the flame demon's body. Quick reminder, subscribe to GitMMG for more thrilling story videos. Struck fatally, the demon lord screamed in despair before shattering into ashes, his power dissipating completely. Watching their leader flop over, the remaining demons panic wildly, especially since their magic formation is toast. High above, Juni coolly confirms the enemies are truly wiped out. But his body is running on fumes, energy basically at zero. He whispers it's finally over, then gravity reminds him by dragging him straight down. His teammates rush to catch him, shouting for a priest to check Junyi and search the mountain for survivors. Who knows how long later, Junyi wakes up feeling like a sack of bricks with breathing on hard mode. In a daze, he mutters that he can barely breathe and his head is spinning. The pressure on him grows so heavy he thinks he's stuck in sleep paralysis. Panicked, Junyi jolts upright, nearly gagged awake by a foul stench. Right then, a familiar voice softly calls Junius' name. Jiang Chun cheers in relief, saying he's been out cold for 2 days and nights. Before he can react, she grabs his sleeve, eyes gentle like she's about to confess something. Then she suddenly pecks Junyi on the cheek to thank him for saving her. Junyi freezes, touching his cheek as he watches the blushing girl flee. Suddenly, the Daily Quest panel pops up, scolding him for missing workouts during his 2-day nap. The system then congratulates him for completing the demon extermination mission and hands over rewards. Junyi gains Enshrank Death Resistance talent and Enshrank Fortune Elixir that boosts luck for 12 hours. Thinking it over, he notes the regeneration feels familiar, but Shrank definitely means hidden perks. He lightly cuts his hand and stares as it heals in 2 seconds flat. Tempted to test further, he stops, still shaky from battle, and laughs at his absurd luck. He checks the Shrank Fortune Elixir, daydreaming about looting legendary weapons or meeting a reclusive alchemist. Carefully, he stores the potion in the system inventory, saving that precious luck for a rainy apocalypse. Next, Junyi reviews his new rank Azure Flame Radiance skill, which forms a flaming light sword and boosts allies' fire and light damage. He recalls it carries the light attribute Blessed by Angels, potentially adding 40% more damage if triggered right. That sparks the idea of pairing it with Light's Punishment, wondering if he can become a lightning fire dual-element mage. His eyes light up as countless new battle tactics race through his mind. Rapid knocking snaps Junyi from his thoughts. Someone outside says a visitor is here. Junyi steps out to meet Wang Liang, vice commander of the Snow Dragon Legion, who thanks him for destroying the monster's teleportation formation. Wang Liang explains that Junyi's final blow wrecked half the valley, but preserved demon traces for research. Then Wang Liang suddenly pulls out a spatial projector device. In a flash, light engulfs them, transporting both into a massive treasure vault glittering with weapons and magical resources. Wang Liang grandly gestures around, saying these are centuries of Snow Dragon Legion assets and Junyi may pick anything. Junyi immediately asks if there's any Shrank Heaven and Earth treasure, eyes sparkling. Wang Liang nods, mentioning Enshrank Extreme Frost Ice Lotus, and goes to dig it out. Soon he returns with the icy relic, warning it's worth 100 million contribution points. Hearing that jaw-dropping price, Junyi smiles awkwardly but clearly still wants it. Wang Liang grits his teeth and agrees, muttering he'll need the commander's approval since it equals 3 years of his salary. After double-checking, he retracts the spatial vault and brings them back to the original room. Wang Liang says the Shrank Extreme Frost Ice Lotus is at headquarters, so Junyi must wait a few days or go hunt magic beasts with the Legion if bored. Secretly, Wang Liang plans to send the younger members with Junyi for training and team bonding. Junyi awkwardly explains he must return to school tomorrow for the student tournament after all, has still just a student. Wang Liang laughs and promises to deliver the Ice Lotus to Suhang University's dorm within 2 days. After he leaves, Junyi sighs, thinking without that demon he'd never snagged such a heaven and earth treasure. Seeing it's nearly midnight, Junyi jolts his daily training quest still awaits. Elsewhere, Su Qingling, captain of the Qingluan squad, steps out of the shower wrapped lightly in a thin towel. Just then, Zhou Dan pops up from downstairs, grinning mischievously at the freshly bathed Su Qingling. She suggests inviting Junyi to join Qingluan's squad and asks what Su Qingling thinks. After pondering, Su Qingling says Junyi probably prefers solo magic beast hunts now, but inviting him can't hurt. She changes into proper attire and heads to Junyi's door, knocking gently. When it opens, Junyi has just finished training, sweaty and clearly surprised to see her. Without beating around the bush, Su Qingling smiles and asks if he'd join Qingluan's squad. Seeing his silence, she guesses the answer but jokes that Zhou Ran and Zhou Dan might sulk for a while. She adds this is a special thank you for saving them at Fengchu Vane. Suddenly, Su Qingling steps forward, hugs him, and plants a light kiss on his cheek, leaving Junyi stunned. Laughing, she quickly waves goodbye and vanishes down the hallway. Junyi stands frozen, touching his cheek and mumbling that this special thanks is dangerously bold. Meanwhile, elsewhere outside Yuzhou region, an emergency meeting on demon activity is underway. Someone sternly questions whether the latest investigation report is truly accurate. Yuzhou explains that previously otherworldly creatures could only invade Blue Star through rare, large rifts, keeping danger manageable. But if they start using small spatial rifts scattered across Blue Star, it'll spell global disaster. If the findings are true, humanity must prepare countermeasures immediately. Yuzhou orders Counselor Yang to have all national legions inspect every small spatial rift. He also instructs Counselor Zhang to attend the United Nations Conference, report the discovery, and monitor global reactions. Yuzhou then reveals the crucial intel source is an 18-year-old teenager. That teen is Junyi, the young holy knight who used divine descent to slay the demon and destroy the teleportation formation. The hall erupts in shock. No one expected such a feat from a mere student. Some even speculate Junyi might descend from the prestigious Zhu family. Counselor Wang Hui, also principal of Suhang University, is tasked with giving Junyi special attention and cultivation. Watching the reactions, Yuzhou muses that with proper support, the boy's future will be boundless. Soon after, Suhang University buzzes with excitement as the entrance examination approaches. An announcement echoes across campus ordering all students to gather at the stadium by 10 a.m. The ceremony features deans like Zhu Huang of the Elemental Academy and other top leaders. Also present are Zhang Ling of the Tactics Academy, Wu Qixin of the Logistics Academy, and senior faculty members. Finally, Wu Meng takes the stage, welcomes the students, and announces this year's entrance exam has 2 trial phases. In the stadium, students whisper when they notice Junai and Jiang Chern are still missing as the exam nears. Many sneer that Junyi vanished for a month and is too scared to return for the exam. Right then, Principal Wu Meng strides up, voice booming like a general hyping troops before war. He announces the first trial, a larger-scale secret silver-tier dungeon to test every freshman's potential. Besides Easy, Hard, and Nightmare, this year adds a spicy new difficulty, Abyss. The crowd erupts, with some Hothids vowing to conquer Abyss outright. Wu Meng silences them and reveals the dungeon bear monster cave for levels 12 to 19. Inside the gloomy forest, ferocious bear monsters lurk, their roars spine-chilling. Once the announcement ends, candidates are teleported in to begin the trial. The system keeps announcing high difficulty unlocks, pleasing Wu Meng with this year's talent. Suddenly, a female assistant rushes over. Candidates Zalo 1 and Zalo 3 are still missing. Wu Meng frowns, disappointed that top-ranked students lack discipline. When she tries to explain for Junie, he cuts her off, declaring absentees will drop to the bottom rank. A shout rings out. Junie dashes in like the wind, carrying Jiang Chern on his shoulder and apologizing nonstop. The teachers freeze at the sight but quickly restore exam order. Then the system announces candidate 001 Junie has unlocked Abyss difficulty, stunning the stadium. In a flash, the team enters the bear monster cave on hellish Abyss mode. A blessing aura envelops them as Junai grips his weapon, grinning with battle fever. Enemy data appears: level 17 bear monster warriors and hunters loaded with nasty skills. Without hesitation, Junie raises his weapon, power surging like he's about to rip the battlefield apart. Beside him, a beauty unleashes divine shadow army breaking slash, her blade shredding the bear's defenses. Meanwhile, a reed-haired guy smirks and channels blazing energy into his fist. In the next blink, his flaming punch slams a bear monster flat with absurd damage. Not far off, another candidate coolly executes Gale Feather Kick, spinning midair and knocking an enemy unconscious. Outside the dungeon, instructors watch the screens as Wu Meng requests footage of candidate Zola 1. On-screen, Junie strolls calmly through Abyss like it's a casual park walk. The system reports he cleared the first gate by slaying 16 monsters in 5 seconds. Wu Meng blurts in shock this speed is beyond imagination. Instructors buzzes Junie uses only a holy light ring yet deals terrifying burn damage. Wu Meng mutters that even he has never seen this 6-winged radiant halo skill. Inside, Junie casts Light's Punishment, brilliance erupting before fading fast. The system rapidly declares multiple gate clears, awarding SS ratings and heeks of EXP and skills. As the first to finish this level, he unlocks a new achievement with 3 special skill options. Junie analyzes calmly, noting firm protection suits a defensive paladin but not his style. Detecting an ambush, Junie calculates instantly, knowing neural reaction speed will decide survival. Suddenly, the cold system voice announces Abyss difficulty completed. A prompt asks about opening a bonus stage. Junai nods without hesitation as the portal radiates crushing pressure. He merely smirks, hoping the next trial is thrilling. This one was child's play. Outside the dungeon, an old chief strokes his beard and laughs heartily, praising Junius' tactics and battlefield control. Wu Meng excitedly praises Junius' lightning reflexes, adaptability, and even his jaw-dropping melee skills. In the observation room, Principal Zhang Ling warns that such a wide mage skill set could make stat allocation painfully expensive. Another instructor cautiously notes it depends on which academy Junie chooses. Recruitment wars are coming. A long-haired man enters late, smiling regretfully for missing Juni's full performance. The scene shifts into a gloomy, ominous space deep within the dungeon. Junie pauses, sensing this place once hosted an evil god ritual where light and heresy coexisted. Evil gods, he recalls, embody chaos and madness, demanding life and soul from their followers. He remembers a fanatic who sacrificed an entire city to power level, forcing the kingdom to outlaw evil god worship. Yet the lure of forbidden power still tempts many onto that deadly path. A deep voice echoes from the dark, reminding him humans aren't the only ones serving false gods. It adds that orcs, elves, even angels can fall into evil god faith. Suddenly, a level 19 bear wraith appears, once a tribal elder, now twisted by an evil god ritual. Junie smirks, intrigued to learn the boss is immune to physical damage, the real challenge he wanted. Without hesitation, he summons radiant scales, holy light erupting around him. A blazing golden pillar spirals like a fiery tornado, his aura ready to crush the bear wraith. The monster only roars disdainfully, claiming his courting death. Junie stands firm, radiant halo blazing behind him with overwhelming pressure. His gaze turns icy, total focus locked on the boss. The bear wraith arrogantly boasts that immortality granted by Exia makes holy light useless. It mocks further, saying once Junie exhausts his ultimates, death is guaranteed. Junie simply lifts a hand with a taunting smile, ready to prove it wrong. A thunderous explosion shatters the clitty into deep, violent fissures. Even so, the bear wraith howls madly, insisting no human can kill it. Junie chuckles coldly, eyes dripping with mockery at its arrogance. He unleashes Fan Dance, countless phantom arms manifesting behind him. Devastating strikes rain down like a storm, the ground exploding as the bear wraith screams in despair. The system coldly announces dungeon completion, granting EXP and a new level. A rare reward appears. Junie obtains a gold-tier bear monster war horn. Exiting the dungeon, he reflects that the monster's resurrection was a sham. He recalls sensing chaotic energy upon entry, similar to when casting Divine Descent. Thus, he deduces the power came from lingering evil god remnants in the space. Each revival drained surrounding demonic energy, proving its resurrections were limited. The strategy was simple: keep killing it until the evil god's energy ran dry. The scene shifts to another sub-dungeon where the true brutal trial begins. The condition is revealed: slay the bear wraith 10 times to fully clear it. Junii smiles confidently after gaining 2 levels. He figures 8 minutes will do. He steels his resolve, ready to let the boss taste his full power. Outside the dungeon, Shenjai Shui narrows his eyes, stunned that Junii can use a 5-star skill. The instructors buzz, suspecting his hiding some rare Shrank skill secret. Another coughs awkwardly, still unable to believe Junii reached that level so early. A girl near the screen suddenly yelps, Junius level has jumped to 19. Everyone freezes. The previous ranking showed him at only level 13. Teacher Shi smiles, explaining Junii hunted monsters in Fengshan Vein and entered at level 18. Thus, a level 19 Holy Knight like Junii finds the freshman tournament basically easy mode. Just then, a figure staggers out of a dungeon gate, utterly exhausted. The red-haired guy spots Junii and stares in disbelief that he finished first. He comforts himself, assuming Junii must have failed the bonus stage and exited early. Walking past sorely, he mutters that as Jiangning's proud heir, he can't lose to some northern nobody. Suddenly, a girl's panicked scream echoes as she freefalls from above. Junii instantly shoots up and catches her with precise, decisive moves. Safely in his arms, she beams, calling Junius' name and bragging he cleared faster than her. As countless dungeon gates open in the sky, Junii teases that she should call him Gage. More students tumble out of portals, cries for help erupting everywhere. The healing team rushes in chaos, shouting orders to rescue people fast. Soon after, Wu Meng raises his hand and declares Phase 1 officially over. The system post rankings. Junii sits firmly at 1 with a time miles ahead of everyone. Hearing this, the red-haired guy goes pale, trembling at being 15 minutes slower. Seconds later, he nearly loses it, ranting that Junii stole all his glory. Junii watches calmly, thinking climbers who step on others eventually get stepped on. The scene shifts to the free arena as Phase 2 begins under blazing golden light. The system announces rules: 3 challenges per person, 5-minute rest after each match. The atmosphere explodes as candidates eagerly pick opponents. PvP as their comfort zone. Shen Lingfeng, the redhead, shouts excitedly, openly challenging Junii. All eyes turn to the second-ranked prodigy with Flame Dragon Bloodline, still bitter about being surpassed. Shen Lingfeng is the Jiangning clan genius, famed for his rare fire dragon lineage. After hearing this, Junii smirks and in a blink appears before Shen Lingfeng. He leaps onto the arena, movements crisp but aura heavy, instantly tightening the tension. Upon landing, he locks eyes and calmly urges Shen Lingfeng to go all out. Shen Lingfeng unleashes his Flame Dragon Bloodline, crimson fire roaring as he bellows a challenge. At the start signal, he launches Scarlet Flame Fist like raging wildfire. Instructors note his betting everything on ending the fight in one strike. Yet Junii stands motionless, eyes calm as a windless lake. When the punch lands, Shen Lingfeng shouts in shock. Junii activated Holy Light Protection. Realizing it's useless, Shen Lingfeng retreats quickly to avoid a counterattack. Junii merely smirks, drawing his mace and coolly stating his shield needs only 0.1 seconds to activate. With that, Junii swings his mace, blasting a dazzling beam of holy light at Shen Lingfeng. Shen Lingfeng instantly raises Flame Shield to block the incoming strike. Too bad, the mace crashes down like a sledgehammer, shattering the fairy barrier into sparks. In that instant, Shen Lingfeng is blasted airborne, panic rising at the monstrous force. Below, Junius' aura keeps climbing, hinting at an even scarier follow-up. In a flash, he appears midair beside his foe and slams the mace down, leaving Shen Lingfeng screaming in despair. The crushing blow detonates against the arena, shockwaves rippling everywhere. At the last second, Shen Lingfeng activates Flame Dragon Body, fairy scales barely blocking the strike. Junii frowns slightly, recognizing the hidden might of the Flame Dragon Bloodline. Dodging swift counters, he mutters that Bloodline users truly wield impressive control. Suddenly, Junii grabs Shen Lingfeng's blazing fist midair. Coldly, he declares that even with Bloodline awakened, Shen Lingfeng still can't win. Holy light erupts violently from Junii, brilliance swallowing the arena. Yet Shen Lingfeng reacts fast, retreating just in time to avoid the next hit. Junii raises a brow, impressed his opponent dodged that. Shen Lingfeng laughs wildly, flame dragon fire storming around him. In a blink, he unleashes Dragon Breath, a crimson inferno blasting toward Junii. The crowd holds its breath as instructors realize this is his Bloodline trump card. But Junii calmly activates Sacred Flame Radiant Wheel, divine aura surging across the stage. A radiant halo appears behind him, emitting a strange pull that devours surrounding flames. The Dragon Breath touches the halo and gets completely absorbed, destruction erased. Shen Lingfeng stands frozen, eyes wide as if facing an untouchable king. Unwilling to yield, he roars and fires another Dragon Breath to prove he's not done. Junii smirks, stating all flames are within his control. With a slight gesture, he crushes the blazing fire midair, snuffing it out like it never existed. His mace flares, converting absorbed energy into a blazing counterstrike at Shen Lingfeng. The fire backfires on its master, blasting Shen Lingfeng straight into the arena barrier. The system coldly declares Shen Lingfeng unconscious victory to Junii. Instructors murmur Shen Lingfeng was completely dominated. Another remarks that with such leveling speed and combat sense, Junii's win is no surprise. Just then, a confident girl leaps onto the arena, drawing all eyes. She smiles brightly, introducing herself as Song Halen, a level 17 spirit talismanist seeking guidance. Junie grows Curious Spirit Talismanist is a rare class specializing in talismans and sealing arts. He steps forward, introducing himself as a level 19 Holy Knight and saying, "Hell, wait for a full power." The crowd erupts again, shocked Junie has reached level 19. Hearing the buzz, Junie smiles calmly, promising to fight seriously as she wishes. Song Halen laughs brightly and decisively declares the duel begun. At the signal, Junie activates Dawn Blessing, holy radiance exploding as his aura surges. Song Halen's eyes sharpen instantly, tracking every subtle shift in his energy. In a heartbeat, she summons glowing talismans swirling around her like a mystical storm ready for battle. Junie launches a fierce assault, yet Song Halen calmly dodges every strike. She forms seals, guiding talismans into ancient runic chains while chanting to activate her art. Their powers collide violently, exploding and shrouding the arena in dust. Using the chaos, Song Halen repositions swiftly, but when she turns back, Junie is gone. His cold voice whispers behind her, asking if switching spots is really enough. Junie swings his mace, blazing holy light tearing through the air toward her. Wadied Song Halen triggers a defensive talisman shield, but it lasts only seconds. Gritting her teeth, she throws out small beans and forms seals at near-invisible speed. Chanting an ancient spell, she invokes Taoist arts to summon forces from the beans. In a blink, the beans transform into soldiers, forming a dense defensive army. Junie chuckles, recognizing the rare Taoist art scatter beans into soldiers. The Tao soldiers charge together, surrounding him from all sides. Junie spots their weakness, fighting forward to sever Song Halen's mana supply. She gasps her Tao soldiers could stall even a level 30 class user. Suddenly, Junie accelerates like a phantom, circling behind her with mace raised. Song Halen feels the killing intent at her back, a chill running through her. Without hesitation, she raises her hand in surrender, admitting defeat. As the formation smoke clears, Junie calmly asks why she didn't fight to the end. She retracts her talismans, admitting the power gap was simply too large. Before leaving, she smiles gently, hoping for more guidance next time. Junie stands tall on the arena, staff in hand, aura silencing the crowd. He declares boldly that anyone unconvinced may step up to challenge him. The crowd stirs, but none move until Jiang Churn teasingly calls out. Nearby, a female student watches Junie with complex eyes, realizing he surpasses ordinary geniuses. In the distance, Wu Meng observes quietly, knowing the academies will soon compete for Junie. Beside him, a dean assures Su Mei that preparations are ready, they must recruit Junie. Time passes as arena challenges continue intensely. In another match, Yunli unleashes swift movement and a yellow dragon kick, pressuring Shen Lingfeng relentlessly. The combo slams Shen Lingfeng to the floor, trembling and powerless. Yunli claims victory and rises to rank 10, while Shen Lingfeng drops to 16 in fury. An hour later, rankings announce Junie first, Jiang Churn second, Song Halen third. The host declares the exam complete, housing and progress points will be assigned. The academy presentations begin as 5 principals step onto the stage solemnly. Each academy bears a symbol representing undying flames from the Dark Age invasions. The War Academy principal proclaims they forge survivors for brutal battlefields. Next, the Elemental Academy highlights mastery of earth, water, fire, and wind. The Weapon Academy principal raises a gleaming sword, vowing to train weapon masters. The Tactics Academy calmly states that strategy and intellect decide wars. Finally, the Logistics Academy principal smiles warmly, declaring logistics the foundation of every victory. After the intro, Wu Meng cleared his throat and told everyone to log into the system and pick their academy. Right then, Zheng Churan settled up to Zhu Yi, curious about which academy he'd choose. Before Zhu Yi could answer, Wu Meng eagerly cut in, offering to be his personal tutor if he joined the War Academy. Zhu Yi blinked, slightly stunned by the sudden personal tutor pitch. Wu Meng quickly sweetened the deal, focused resources, 3 R-Rank skill books, and an R-Rank resource exchange token. Not to be outdone, the Elemental Academy's principal promised Zhu Yi a full set of legendary gear. As tensions rose, another figure hurried toward Zhu Yi. The Weapon Academy's principal boldly declared Zhu Yi could freely use all high-level resources if he joined. Instantly, the 3 principals argued fiercely, each determined to claim Zhu Yi. Surrounded like a celebrity, Zhu Yi felt an odd déjà vu, as if he'd seen this drama before. Envious eyes locked onto Zhu Yi as the principals publicly fought over the champion with jaw-dropping offers. Meanwhile, Wu Meng flushed red with frustration, silently cursing Lao Chu and Song for poaching his prize. Suddenly, a commanding voice boomed across the plaza, silencing all chatter with a cold invitation aimed at Zhu Yi. Wu Meng turned and immediately recognized the speaker, Principal Wang. Principal Wang strode forward calmly, announcing he would personally perform the Bloodline fusion art for Zhu Yi. Hearing the unfamiliar term, Zhu Yi frowned and asked what exactly the Bloodline fusion art was. Smiling, Principal Wang explained it was a forbidden spell using alien blood as a catalyst, plus 3 R-Rank skill books and R-Rank resource privileges. The spell would also greatly boost physique, grant extra stat and skill points per level, and possibly awaken a special bloodline. The crowd exploded in shock if Zhu Yi became his disciple. His path to the top was practically paved. Beside him, Jiang Churan blushed with excitement, certain Zhu Yi would become even stronger after the fusion. From afar, Hua Yang stroked his beard with a knowing smile, aware Zhu Yi still had more surprises up his sleeve. In a flash, a radiant golden medal appeared before Zhu Yi, its glow stunning the entire plaza. A reed-haired girl nearby widened her eyes, sweating as she realized even major clans rarely possessed such a thing. Not far away, a girl in yellow covered her mouth in shock while Jiang Churan happily tugged Zhu Yi's arm, declaring it a prestigious contribution medal. Ju-yi stared at the medal in confusion, unsure why he deserved such an honor. From upstairs, Wu Meng loudly praised his achievements in the Kungfeng range, then abruptly paused as if doubting something. Ju-yi bowed deeply to the principal, unable to hide his joy as he accepted the noble reward. Huayang laughed heartily beside him, joking that as master and disciple now, there was no need for formal titles. Ju-yi immediately bowed again, solemnly expressing his honor at becoming his disciple. At that moment, golden aura burst from Principal Wang, overwhelming the plaza as he declared he'd take Ju-yi away immediately. Wu Meng wiped sweat from his brow, inwardly groaning as Principal Wang clearly intended to whisk Ju-yi off fast. As the golden light enveloped them, Wu Meng finally realized his chance to recruit Ju-yi was completely gone. He quickly turned to invite Jiang Churan instead, but before he finished, Principal Song cut in with matching benefits. Wu Meng flushed and shouted, pointing at Jiang Churan. Ju-yi might be lost, but she was absolutely non-negotiable. In the blink of an eye, Ju-yi was teleported to Principal Wang's private villa, a pristine white space quietly hiding countless secrets. Wang led him inside, calmly explaining this was his personal treasure vault and the place to find him when needed. Ju-yi gawked at the glittering artifacts and rare herbs, realizing the entire villa was basically a treasure chest with walls. Wang explained that bloodline fusion reshapes one's blood at the root, but the real power depends on the source blood fused. Humans have limited potential, he added, so many fuse alien bloodlines to shatter their advancement ceiling. Ju-yi bluntly asked whether, at Wang's level, leveling up was still a massive hurdle. Wang nodded calmly. After 3 class evolutions, each level demands a mountain of experience. He then revealed he had prepared 3 bloodlines for Ju-yi: Angel, Giant, and Dragon. Pointing to a glowing vial, he said the Angel bloodline would grant extreme affinity with the light element. Next came the Giant bloodline, thunder worshippers whose fusion would greatly boost lightning skills. Lastly, the Dragon bloodline, direct descendants of the Dragon God, held pure power capable of suppressing nearly all beasts. Wang stressed that all 3 were divine bloodlines, each at least equal to a level 60 creature. Ju-yi took a deep breath and humbly asked for his teacher's advice before making such a weighty choice. Wang smiled approvingly, staying rational before such temptation showed rare maturity. He analyzed that given Ju-yi's link to the God of Light, the Angel bloodline suited him best. Ju-yi nodded decisively, eyes shining as he chose the Radiant Angel bloodline before him. Wang nodded in satisfaction, saying it fit him well and revealing Ju-yi was his 5th disciple. Suddenly remembering, Ju-yi asked why merely wiping out a demon army earned him the Golden Contribution Medal. Wang laughed heartily, explaining that defeating a whole demon army was already a brutal task even for level 40 elites. Moreover, Ju-yi's actions in the Kungfeng range had accidentally exposed an alien invasion plan through spatial rifts. Still doubtful, Ju-yi asked if that meant many otherworldly creatures were already hiding across Zhongxia. Wang gravely confirmed that preliminary investigations had uncovered hundreds of alien traces nationwide. Looking at Ju-yi expectantly, he said the bloodline fusion ritual required preparation, so he should rest well first. He handed Ju-yi a small golden teleportation device, instructing him to return at exactly 9 the next morning. Wang added it was a battlefield maintenance box for storing rare gear, and even gave him a 12-hour luck-boosting potion. Without hesitation, Ju-yi downed the potion in one gulp, already calculating his next 2 moves. Suddenly, a notification chimed. Congratulations on obtaining a heaven-tier treasure from a natural genius treasure, a special fruit born of the Giant bloodline. Ju-yi froze, then laughed in delight, realizing the luck potion had just paid off with a rare jackpot. Feeling grateful for Wang's generosity, he eagerly prepared to meet his teacher again on time. Meanwhile, in a quiet room, Wang discussed with Huayang the rarity of angel blood. At that moment, Ju-yi entered respectfully. Wang smiled, noting his body had adjusted to peak condition. Wang beckoned him closer, introduced the bloodline fusion formation, and told him to remove his shirt and sit at its center. Ju-yi obeyed, but the moment he sat in the formation, scorching heat erupted from his body. Seeing this, Principal Wang urged Huayang to quickly activate the formation and begin the bloodline fusion ritual. Suddenly, a familiar voice bizarrely chimed in, urging viewers to subscribe and not miss future videos. Soon after, the space was swallowed by a bone-chilling frost aura radiating from Ju-yi. Wang's eyes lit up. If Ju-yi switched paths, he could easily become a top-tier ice mage. Huayang stroked his beard, guessing Ju-yi might share the same frost bloodline as his younger sister. Yet Huayang noted gravely that the angel bloodline should suppress lower ones, but here it both clashed and resonated with the frost bloodline. He frowned slightly, sensing Ju-yi's background was anything but simple. Meanwhile, Wang mused that many human-alien bloodlines likely traced back to early players of the Eternal game. The frost power surging within Ju-yi was strong enough to directly contend with the angel bloodline. Wang even speculated Ju-yi's ancestor might have been a high-level player from Eternal's earliest era. Without that powerful frost restraint, the angel bloodline would have fully taken over Ju-yi long ago. Now the 2 bloodlines wrestled fiercely, leaving the angel bloodline no longer pure. Huayang warned that if the fusion ritual were forced to stop midway, Ju-yi could face a painful death. As the swirling energy stabilized, Ju-yi's consciousness blurred, as if dragged into a strange realm. A cold notification echoed in his mind, asking if he wished to enter the newly activated spiritual domain. A pitch-black door appeared before him, exuding mystery, while a gentle voice invited him inside. The voice claimed a god had sent it to grant him true power unbound by rules or morality. A playful figure emerged, softly asking if Ju-yi was ready to accept this energy. Instead of temptation, Ju-yi felt a chill down his spine. His instincts screamed danger. Despite the continued persuasion, nausea rose within him, and he chose to trust his gut. In a flash, brilliant holy light flared in his hand. The light condensed into a holy radiant spike and shot straight at the figure. After striking, Ju-yi sighed in relief, muttering that instincts never lie, then paused, wondering what had just done. In a hidden corner of the realm, an angel watched everything unfold with an amused smile. She chuckled softly, her eyes gleaming with undisguised interest. Beside her, a young girl awaiting orders looked utterly confused. The angel gently patted the girl's head, saying she had merely found an interesting human. With a wave, she bestowed another miracle upon Ju-yi, softly warning him not to disappoint her. Meanwhile, the attacked figure's expression darkened, coldly roaring that Ju-yi dared insult a god. Ju-yi remained unmoved, raising his holy radiant spike and calmly replying he needed no forgiveness. Enraged, the figure revealed its vicious nature, bellowing at Ju-yi for rejecting divine grace. Suddenly, invisible chains burst from the void, binding Ju-yi tightly and freezing him in place. At once, thousands of soulless eyes appeared around him, accompanied by eerie whispers. Strangely, the familiar "don't forget to subscribe" reminder echoed again amid the tension. Yet Ju-yi coldly retorted that the being before him was merely a lackey of some so-called god, and had just drawn its master's attention. The holy radiant spike in Ju-yi's hand flared wildly, as if tearing apart the suffocating darkness. The lackey smirked wickedly, claiming his master had sent him to purify Ju-yi. A surge of dense black energy flooded into Ju-yi, icy as blades slicing through flesh. Ju-yi roared in agony as the evil force tried to devour his consciousness. Behind the lackey loomed a colossal evil god's shadow, claws spread with annihilating aura. Outside, Principal Wang and Hua Yang sensed the anomaly, their faces turning tense. Hua Yang gravely guessed the angelic remains had once been slain by an evil god and tainted. Wang tried injecting light magic into the ritual, but it was instantly repelled by the dark aura. Hua Yang muttered heavily that Ju-yi was truly in danger this time. Yet Wang's eyes widened. The angel bloodline inside Ju-yi wasn't weakening, it was growing stronger. In the spiritual realm, Ju-yi gritted his teeth as the two forces clashed violently within him. Suddenly, a stream of icy blue light surged up, merging with holy light into a massive explosive force. The evil god's lackey stared in shock, unable to grasp why the divine power had skyrocketed. A mere wisp of that energy froze his body solid in biting frost. Ju-yi now radiated divine power, cloaked in a razor-sharp layer of ice. He drew forth an ice mace, his gaze colder than winter itself. Pointing at the lackey, Ju-yi roared a single command: die. The mace erupted, unleashing a holy shockwave that blasted through the space. Still, stubborn dark mist slithered in, trying to erode his mind. Speaking through the lackey's body, the evil god mocked that the attack was nothing but a tickle. He sneered that Ju-yi's resistance was merely a minor hiccup in his grand design. With a wave, countless crimson chains shot out like venomous serpents. Ju-yi stood firm midair, gripping his weapon like the god of light incarnate. The chains smashed through his icy barrier, and the enemy thought victory was his. His grin froze when Ju-yi vanished, leaving only a blur behind him. A blue magic circle flared beneath the lackey's feet. From it, countless icy spikes erupted, impaling his body. Though screaming in pain, his crimson eyes gleamed madly as he laughed in thrill. He scoffed that human power was merely borrowed divine scraps. His body rapidly regenerated, and he roared that he was the most loyal believer of Lord Exia. Arrogantly, he declared true energy was beyond mortal comprehension. Instantly, countless red eyes formed a bloody domain around Ju-yi. From them, crimson lasers fired in unison straight at him. Unyielding, Ju-yi darted like lightning, weaving through the lethal beams. Suddenly, invisible chains bound him midair as the lackey cackled triumphantly. A devastating purple lightning-infused blast followed, surging to obliterate everything. Yet, Ju-yi remained eerily calm, slowly raising his hand to meet it. A radiant holy light shield manifested, blocking the attack outright. A thunderous explosion rocked the entire spiritual realm. Without pause, Ju-yi unfurled radiant wings and shot forward like a thunderbolt. The lackey's eyes bulged in disbelief, screaming that Ju-yi had actually withstood that strike. He fired lasers like a madman, yet Ju-yi dodged them effortlessly, moving like a phantom. From afar, the observing girl curved her lips in approval as Ju-yi closed in. Ju-yi raised a finger, divine light gathering at its tip like a tiny sun. A blinding holy beam shot out, engulfing the lackey and burning him in sacred flames. The lackey clutched his head, screaming in madness, unable to fathom Ju-yi's explosive power. No matter how he struggled, the holy light crushed him relentlessly. At last, the ground shattered and his body dissolved into nothingness. After the battle, Ju-yi landed, glowing like a god descending from the heavens. A luminous orb drifted down. Ju-yi caught it, eyes full of suspicion. Suddenly, a radiant pillar of light enveloped him, purging all lingering darkness. Outside, Hua Yang gasped as the angel bloodline fully cleansed the corruption. Beside him, Principal Wang smiled, seeing the miracle born from angel and frost fusion. Within the pillar, a young maiden's silhouette slowly appeared above Ju-yi. A brilliant divine sigil shone brightly upon her chest. She smiled gently, then turned into light and merged into Ju-yi's body. The next instant, Ju-yi snapped his eyes open. The final class advancement was complete. As the golden glow faded, a completely transformed Ju-yi emerged, far more imposing than before. Wang laughed heartily, knowing Ju-yi had received the blessing of the god of light. He then asked eagerly how Ju-yi felt after the fusion. Ju-yi confidently replied that his strength had skyrocketed, but he jolted as a new system notification popped up. Trembling with excitement, he saw he had awakened the six-winged angel bloodline and a rank light divine script. The system also granted a brank magic immunity blessing, boosting his resistance to spells. Jui burst into laughter. 6 wings plus 2 rare blessings. Jackpot. Hua Yang was stunned. The six-winged angel was the highest tier bloodline among angels. Yet Jui's joy paused when another notification appeared. He stammered that the system had added and shrank bloodline secret art called Angelic Divine Form. It could unleash angel bloodline power, but before level 50, using it would cause severe weakness. Strangely, the familiar subscribe for more reminder echoed again mid-tension. Taking a deep breath, Jui shouted and activated the angelic divine form. Blazing light erupted, gathering at his chest and condensing into a massive energy sphere. The light shone like a miniature sun, its waves shaking the entire room. Hoyang gaped, sensing unbelievable elemental fluctuations. The radiance spiraled above Jui's head, forming a vortex that spread outward. Golden wings of light unfurled behind him, dazzling like a true deity. Wang laughed excitedly after activation. Jui's power had quintupled. Jui cut in, thrilled, admitting he'd never felt such overwhelming strength. Raising his hands, he saw 2 different elements gather, gold in one, blue in the other. Suddenly, the room's sensors blared warnings as the defense system detected high-level elemental energy. Sensing trouble, Wang sternly ordered Jui to immediately retract the secret art before the defenses attacked. Out of nowhere, the familiar subscribe to the channel reminder echoed again mid-tension. As the energy settled, the defense system powered down, restoring silence to the room. Jui stared at his hands, still stunned by the immense power he had unleashed. Noticing his odd expression, Hua Yang frowned and asked if something was wrong. Jui shook his head, saying he just felt intense soreness, like after a life-or-death marathon. Principal Wang explained the bloodline secret art was powerful, but extremely draining, save it for decisive moments. Hua Yang mused that a 6-winged angel bloodline, with 2 blessings and enshrank secret art was every freshman's dream. Jui nodded firmly and agreed to return and rest as instructed. After he left, the room fell quiet, leaving the 2 principals deep in discussion. Wang worried gravely that if Jui met with misfortune, it would be a massive loss for Zhangxia. Back in his room, Jui planned to refine the extreme cold pill, lacking only Arank Ice Prism Herb, and waiting for Shu Long's extreme cold ice. Checking his points: 500 bronze, 1000 silver, 2000 gold. He saw he had enough to buy the Ice Prism Herb. Before calculating further, urgent knocking echoed outside. Jui paused, wondering who it was at this hour. Opening the door, he froze at a familiar face and asked what brought her here. Stepping in, Nini was startled. Just 1 day apart, Jui's aura had grown heavier, radiating noble bloodline pressure. Dinwu followed, calmly stating she brought the War Academy resources previously promised. Surprised, Jui asked why Dinwu delivered them instead of Wang Hai. Meini sat down and explained she studied under Wang Huai but trained here often, and the resources were jointly allocated. Still curious, Jui asked why a mage like her taught at the War Academy meant for warriors. Meini laughed teasingly, asking if mages were banned from war academies, leaving Jui awkwardly scratching his head. With a wave, she summoned dazzling light, piling resources across the room like a treasure hoard, and told him to check. A notification panel popped up, listing Ice Prism Herb, Arank weapons, and numerous gear and skills. Jui examined the Ice Prism Herb, instantly linking it to refining the Extreme Cold Pill. After reviewing everything, his eyes shone. Once the Extreme Cold Ice and a few materials arrived, he could begin. Without hesitation, he signed for the resources, beaming and thanking Meini repeatedly. Meini nodded, saying she would personally guide his training and resource use once things settled. Then her face turned stern, scolding him for recklessly entering the Kung Feng range. Stronger didn't mean invincible. She warned solemnly that countless geniuses had fallen, and caution was the best survival tactic. Jui sincerely replied he understood Su Mei's good intentions and would remember her advice. Smiling, he asked where he could safely practice real combat now that his strength had surged. Meini blinked in surprise, then laughed, half joking that he was truly a rare monster. In a flash, the scene shifted. They appeared in a vast arena with cold metal walls. She confidently explained they could summon training robots here and adjust difficulty levels. Yet again, a promotional voice chimed in, urging viewers to subscribe for more exciting videos. She added that even a level 10 robot here could defeat a level 20 expert at full capacity. She pointed at the floating vision orb, explaining every fight would be recorded and analyzed in detail. Still, she sternly advised Jui to start low difficulty to avoid risks, even with a pause function. Sumei then turned to leave, reminding him to control his strength and simply command the orb to begin. Once she vanished, Jui stared at the silver orb and decisively ordered the test to start. The orb hummed with pale blue light, a mechanical voice confirming execution. The arena shifted, robots that stood like statues powered on in rows. The combat system fully activated as rows of robots formed ranks ready to strike. Above, monitors flash battle mode level 7 with 50 robots initiated. Instantly, an energy sphere blazed toward Jui as a fierce opener. He tilted his head and dodged, moving so fast he left after images. Beams and energy bullets rained down in a relentless barrage. Calm as ever, Jui weaved through the storm like a phantom, untouched. Testing his new power, he channeled Frost Bloodline energy into his arm. His punch crashed down like a sledgehammer, punching through metal armor like paper. Another robot raised a light cannon, locking on and firing. Instantly, Jui coated his arm in thick ice and casually blocked the blast. Feeling the surge, he grinned. His frost power was fully stabilized. Cold air swirled around him, forming a blue cyclone sweeping the arena. With a playful chuckle, he muttered that spamming light was getting boring. He unleashed frost storm, towering ice pillars erupted, freezing everything. In moments, the arena glittered under ice, robots frozen like statues. Right on cue, the subscribe for more reminder echoed yet again. Frost energy exploded from Juya's hands, sealing the remaining robots in thick ice. As silence fell, he exhaled, sweat dotting his forehead. The system announced he had defeated 50 level Sun robots in 3 minutes 40 seconds. Seeing the results, Juyi realized Frost power countered perfectly. Level 7 was child's play. He turned to the orb and ordered battle mode level 10 immediately. The orb glowed blue, the arena trembled as robots upgraded to level 10. A metallic blast rang behind him, making Juyi spin around alert. Massive robots appeared, cold steel gleaming across the arena. The system reported their combat strength reveled standard level 25 professionals. Supreme protection activated, participants could halt the match if danger escalated. Juyi stared at them, eyes blazing with excitement for a real challenge. Of course, the promotional voice cut in again, urging viewers to subscribe. As the countdown ended, a level 10 robot fired a blue beam straight at him. Juyi twisted aside in a flash, as if he'd predicted it. The robot pressed on, its massive frame agile chaining pursuit skills. A beam clipped his leg, halting him briefly before a frostlace punch slammed down, shaking the arena. Through the dust, Juyi leapt skyward, activating Frostlight Phantom form to create clones and smash his hammer at the robot's weapon. Metal cracked as the weapon was knocked aside, though the robot quickly retreated to counterattack. Blinding energy gathered on the robot's arm, locking on a poor Juyi like a laser-guided grudge. The blast smacked his hammer away, and the robot coolly announced his weapon had been deleted. Stunned, Juyi wondered if it had copied his skills and immediately demanded answers from Ling Shiqiu. The system said combat data was synced, then the robot forged a twin hammer and hurled it right back at him. In a flash, Juyi retreated and turned his arm into blazing golden light to block. Sparks flew as his golden glow clashed violently with the robot's weapon. Right then, Ling Shiqiu reported the weapon module optimized, and the broken cannon morphed into a redayed mechanical wolf. Juyi gawked, not expecting a cannon to cosplay as a metal beast. The mech wolf roared and lunged, fangs glowing ominously. With no time to think, he raised golden defenses, blocked the bite, and realized it had copied Gale Wolf too. Juyi erupted in radiant light, blasting away all surrounding pressure. He shifted into peak mode, activated Angelic Sanctuary Body, and sneered at his foe. Outside the lab, a hand pressed the scanner, and the system confirmed identity access. Meanwhile, Jiang Churan, now Dean Si's true disciple, gained heaps of rare resources and skyrocketed in cultivation. She planned to retrieve level 7 battle form, but the system warned the training robot was heavily damaged from last time. Jiang Churan frowned, wondering who on earth wrecked the whole training zone. Outside the challenge area, more students gathered, hungry for drama. Back in the arena, Juyi unleashed Holy Light Chainlock, binding the enemy tight. The glowing chains shot toward the level 10 robot like a pack of hunting serpents. Instead of just restraining it, he let the chains crush the robot into flying scrap. Not stopping there, Juyi charged the final boss at center stage. Chains wrapped it instantly, but as it tried copying again, the system declared analysis failed due to abnormal data. Juyi activated True Sight of Observation, eyes blazing as he saw every flaw. He spotted the chest energy core and condensed holy light into a sharp spear. In a heartbeat, he thrust with full force straight into the core. A violent explosion of light shook the arena like space itself. Hiccup. The energy core shattered, alarm screamed, and the robot triggered its final self-destruct. A terrifying blast swept the arena, shockwaves rattling the entire room. Outside, Jiang Churan felt the tremor as smoke billowed from the training zone. Before she recovered, the system announced level 10 defeated, but the facility was closed for repairs. Jiang Churan stood frozen, unable to believe someone cleared level 10, and rushed inside. She stepped through the smoke and went speechless at the massive ruin before her. In the crater's center, Juyi panted with shining eyes as the board showed level 10 cleared in 5 minutes 32 seconds. Wiping sweat, he sighed that without the surprise wolf attack, it would have been even faster. Just then, Jiang Churan leapt into the pit, excitedly shouting Juyi's name. Grinning, Juyi said he'd completed bloodline refinement that morning and awakened a six-winged angel. Jiang Churan's eyes widened before she laughed in delight at such a rare divine bloodline. Chuckling, Juyi teased her and asked Jiang Churan to take him to the demonic pet market to sign a contract and boost power. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at Hualing Alley, a bustling and noisy demonic pet market. Vendors shouted about level 20 blazing tigers and royal dragon rhinos, turning the street into a beast bizarre circus. Juyi frowned, saying he once tamed a Gale Wolf at Mount Xiongfeng but missed the contract chance. A passerby perked up and claimed he just happened to have a Gale Wolf cub. He introduced himself as a third-year logistics student and a level 22 beast breeder. Jiang Churan whispered that life school students usually sell more reliable demonic pets. The senior produced a tiny cage, saying the 10-year-old Gale Wolf cub cost 60 study points. Juyi felt slight disappointment. It only had silver bloodline, not the golden bloodline he'd hoped for. The seller handed over the cub, and Juyi felt its tiny body trembling in his palm. Jiang Churan worried it looked weaker than normal, like it hadn't developed well. The seller hurriedly insisted Gale Wolves were just naturally petite. After observing, Juyi nodded to buy it, planning to raise it in his contract space. Seizing the moment, the senior offered the beast contract, saying 60 points sealed the deal. Inside, he smirked. This runt was the weakest of the litter and never sold. Without hesitation, Juyi checked and signed the contract, eyes full of hope. Suddenly, blazing purple light burst from the contract, leaving the seller dumbfounded. The violet glow exploded as a fierce black wolf appeared, a red eye on its forehead and an ancient sigil shining. The crowd gasped. Purple light meant an ultra-rare epic demonic pet. Jiang Churan hugged Junius' arm, saying his magic restored the cub's true talent. Opposite them, Lu Jixiu's veins bulged as he realized he'd sold an epic pet for pocket change. After the contract finalized, the little Gale Wolf leapt into Junius' arms, eyes loyal. A familiar promo voice suddenly urged viewers to subscribe and not miss exciting videos. After a thought, Juni casually named it Xiao Kui. Jiang Churan laughed at the simple name but cuddled Xiao Kui lovingly. Still bitter, Lu Jixiu demanded 1,500 extra points if Juni wanted to keep the pet. He even suggested canceling the contract and refunding only part of the points. The crowd buzzed. Everyone saw he was shamelessly backtracking over a rare find. Juni frowned as crushing pressure burst from him, thickening the air. He coldly warned Lu Jixiu to forget reclaiming what was sold and to disappear. The terrifying aura made Lu Jixiu pale and tremble. One glare from Junai was enough. He quickly retreated and apologized, blaming a pricing mistake. Juni warned him not to cross paths again unless he wanted consequences. Jiang Churan beamed, asking if she could visit Xiao Kui in the future. The crowd whispered that Junai was the top freshman personally accepted by the principal. Suddenly, a deep angry voice sounded as a tall youth stepped forward, hand on Lu Jixiu's shoulder. Lu Jixiu instantly cried for help, begging his big brother to seek justice. The promo voice barged in again, reminding viewers to subscribe for more videos. The tall youth snapped at him, saying an idiot like him didn't even know Juni was the freshman golden medal holder. Lu Jixiu froze in shame and fear, lowering his head and slipping away. Juni looked down at Xiao Kui and noticed it casually controlling wind element, which made him even more suspicious. A steady voice spoke behind him, introducing himself as a representative of the Snow White Dragon Legion. He presented Enshrank Treasure, the Extreme Frost Ice Lotus, as the Legion's promised reward. Junai accepted it with thanks, and asked him to pass his gratitude to the Legion commander and vice commander. Holding the Ice Lotus, he marveled at the Legion's lightning-fast efficiency. Clutching the treasure, Junie thought that refining an Extreme Frost Pill would solve Xiao Yun's bloodline issue. After all, Enshrank Extreme Frost Pill could resonate with Ice Element, boost cultivation speed, and awaken bloodlines. The system messaged that a level 9 alchemist, Hitaeon, had been arranged to assist him. Reading that, Juni decided to personally visit the alchemy department since Shrank materials required strict secrecy. The familiar promo voice chimed in again, urging viewers to subscribe for support. Minutes later, Juni entered the alchemy zone, where giant furnaces smoked heavily with thick herbal scents. At reception, he politely asked whether alchemist Hitaeon was available. The girl behind the desk smiled, saying Hitaeon was in a meeting and she was his student, Lin Yi. Without delay, Juni revealed the Extreme Frost Ice Lotus and stated he wanted Enshrank Extreme Frost Pill. Seeing the rare treasure, Lin Yi covered her mouth in shock at a freshman owning such a thing. Juni simply smiled, saying it was all just good luck. Regaining composure, Lin Yi explained that with 800 more credits, they could complete the pill refinement. After leaving contact details, Juni departed under the calm 9 a.m. sunlight on campus. Nearby, a group of students gossiped loudly about strange creatures appearing deep underground. Some claimed many legions and guilds had withdrawn from the front lines as monster traces spread across Zhongxia Nation. Hearing this, Junia's face darkened as he realized news of the subterranean aberrations had gone public. Suddenly, a hand smacked his shoulder with a loud call, making him flinch and spin around. He saw Song Xiaolin grinning mischievously, knowing they were classmates. Juni relaxed. The promo voice cut in yet again, reminding everyone to subscribe to the Guide Ji channel. Song Xiaolin laughed and shook her head, saying Junai was too talented to teach but shed help if needed. Rapid footsteps echoed as a female lecturer entered, introducing herself as Su Mei, in charge of demonic beasts. She scanned the class and sternly confirmed the rumors were true. Subterranean aberrations were appearing on a large scale. Though not overwhelmingly strong yet, the nation raised the alert to level 3 and boosted university funding. Su Mei added that monthly student resources and mission credit rewards would significantly increase. The class buzzed with excitement, thrilled that the nation was pouring resources into raising new powerhouses. Right then, the familiar subscription reminder echoed once more. Su Mei knocked on the desk for silence, stressing that regardless of resources, their main task was to grow stronger. Meanwhile, Juni propped his chin and smiled, thinking she had clearly improved since they first met. Su Mei then pulled everyone back to reality, telling them to open their books and begin the lesson. Before focusing, some students whispered about challenging the 9-spirit dungeon boss and getting brutally counterkilled. Hearing that, Juni calculated that at level 19 with the Ice Lotus, the 9-spirit Abyss dungeon was perfect for grinding. Suddenly, his thoughts were cut off when he glanced out the window and spotted something strange. Junai froze, spotting a gentle figure quietly standing on the horizon outside the classroom window. He dashed over shouting Xiao Ran, and she turned with a radiant smile upon seeing him. Xiao Ran excitedly invited him to try the school's 3 dungeons since the clear rewards had just been boosted. They quickly agreed and headed to the dungeon gate, ready to test themselves today. She curiously asked what difficulty he'd choose, and Junai calmly said Abyss level. She awkwardly waved her hands, admitting she could only handle hard difficulty. Laughing, Juni held her hand to reassure her, saying he'd clear Abyss first then team up later. Xiao Ran blushed furiously, flustered by his grip, and shyly agreed. She hurriedly turned away, covering her face, heart racing, while Juni cluelessly wondered what happened. Suddenly, loud shouts erupted as Chi Ming-Xuan appeared, and the crowd buzzed over the ranked elite. His info flashed clear: level 23 mage rank 86 on the earth board. Chi Ming-Xuan merely frowned in boredom, ignoring the stairs like background noise. He strode straight into the Abyss dungeon gate, utterly at ease. At the same time, Junia's system confirmed he qualified to enter Abyss difficulty. Some students mocked him, saying a level 19 freshman attempting Abyss was courting disaster. Others muttered that increased resources had inflated young egos with delusions of power. Junie ignored them as the system deducted 400 credits for an Abyss magic stone. A massive energy enveloped him, blinding light swallowing his figure. The system warned Abyss monsters were savage and reminded him he could crush the magic stone to escape. Inside, Junie surveyed the ruined landscape, wondering if goblins had trashed the place. Sure enough, a goblin stepped from behind a boulder, red eyes locked on him. Without hesitation, it swung an axe viciously at Junie. He countered in a flash, punching hard enough to send the goblin flying dazed. Junie clicked his tongue, grumbling that ambushing a 20-year-old was just rude. Worse yet, more goblins crept from the shadows, surrounding him amid the rubble. The system displayed level 22 silver-grade goblin warriors with ambush and heavy slash. Junie summoned his gleaming battle hammer, eyes sparkling with excitement. The goblins leapt together, but he swung like thunder, blasting them back. His icy blade edge swept horizontally, slicing goblins apart into scattered remains. Roaring with momentum, Junie unleashed another decisive strike to finish them all. Seeing corpses litter the ground, he smirked and muttered they were pathetically weak. Suddenly, his eyes flashed as he sensed abnormal movement behind him. Another crazed wave of goblins charged in, and he realized the real test was sheer numbers. Without delay, Junie activated Radiant Phantom Slash to wipe out the new assault. His hammer flashed like lightning, countless light blades shredding the goblin horde. The system announced victory, awarding over 11,000 EXP and updating his level progress. Teleportation light engulfed him to the next round, and he rolled his wrist with a faint smile. He calculated that even slaughtering waves only nudged him close to level 20. Tightening his shoulder, Junie hoped the final boss would grant enough EXP for a breakthrough. A colossal stone gate appeared before Junie, and he narrowed his eyes. Final boss vibes confirmed. A giant goblin in an iron helm stomped out, roaring. The system tagged it as level 24 Goblin King. Before Junie could blink, the boss swung its massive axe, screaming vengeance for its tribe. Junie gripped his hammer, leaped aside from the thunderous strike, eyes steady for battle. He dashed in to counter, noting the boss was huge but terrifyingly fast. The Goblin King activated Tyrant Body, nullifying physical attacks and even reflecting damage. Junie was knocked back by recoil while the boss laughed arrogantly. Suddenly, Junie fired a holy light chain that pierced straight through the boss. The Goblin King shrieked as it was bound midair, utterly immobilized. Junie smirked, gathering dazzling energy in his palm for the finisher. He mockingly told the monster to enjoy his final gift. A devastating bolt of lightning blasted through the Goblin King, dropping it with a howl. The system announced Junie cleared Abyss in 10 minutes 56 seconds, new record set. Another notice popped up: record broken, new talent acquired, casting speed. Activating the Abyss Magic Stone, Junie exited, slightly annoyed he was just shy of level 20. Outside, the dungeon leaderboard blazed with Junie's name at the very top. The crowd erupted. Almost no one had ever cleared Abyss difficulty. Xiaoran watched quietly, eyes filled with worry and hope for Junie. Nearby students chatted excitedly about the upcoming freshman tournament featuring Abyss as a challenge. A sudden scream rang out when someone realized the dungeon record had just been shattered. All eyes locked onto the board, showing Junie cleared Abyss 11056. The area exploded in shock, while Xiaoran smiled brightly, knowing he succeeded. Someone confidently claimed Chi Ming-Xuan entered later and would surely reclaim the record soon. But then the gate opened and a staggering figure emerged, staff shattered and utterly exhausted. His followers rushed over. It was Chi Ming-Xuan, who grimly admitted the dungeon was brutal. Hearing nonstop whispers behind him, Ming-Xuan turned with a dark expression. While taking a recovery potion, he learned Junie cleared Abyss in just 1056. The familiar promo voice popped in again, urging viewers to subscribe for more content. Just then, the crowd roared as Junie stepped out calmly, wearing a confident smile. Silence fell. Ming-Xuan smashed his potion bottle, suspecting Junie cheated. Unable to hold back, Ming-Xuan approached arrogantly, flaunting his earthboard rank. Junie bluntly cut him off, said he was busy, and walked away. At that moment, Xiaoran ran over from the crowd, beaming as she called out Junie Jeej. She shyly congratulated him, admitting she barely cleared hard difficulty. Junie smiled, patted her head, promised to share all his dungeon tips, and pulled her in for another run. The scene stunned the crowd while Ming-Xuan stood frozen, face dark with resentment. Mockery from around crushed his pride, and Ming-Xuan finally declared he quit. Meanwhile, Junie re-entered the dungeon with Xiaoran, eyes brimming with confidence. As they walked, Junie grinned about their last team-up at Mount Quangfeng, making Xiaoran blush hard. His words dragged her back to when he bravely protected her in danger. Especially that surprise kiss, her heart still raced just recalling it. In memory, Xiaoran murmured that when demons cornered her, Junie appeared and saved her from despair. Junie laughed boldly, saying rescuing her was only the prologue to many shared adventures. But before the mood could linger, a savage goblin horde surged in like a tidal wave. Xiaoran trembled at Abyss difficulty's terror, while Junie calmly analyzed their weak points. He ordered each to guard one direction to block rear ambushes. Xiaoran instantly summoned her weapon, ready for battle. She activated Divine Grace Protection, holy light blessing her body. With rising momentum, Junai shouted and charged the front line. He leapt and swept his hammer midair, blasting goblins away with monstrous force. Xiaoran gasped as Junius' buff made her stats skyrocket. Her eyes hardened with resolve as she prepared a counterstrike. She unleashed Dark Devar Sword Strike, creating a blindingly fast blade arc. Purple light scythed across the field, carving goblins apart like harvest time. Soon the horde fell silent, erased by their seamless teamwork. The system awarded Junie more EXP, his progress nearly level 20. Xiaoran excitedly urged deeper exploration. Junie smiled and agreed. Suddenly a gloomy chill swept in, thickening the air. From the shadows, a massive figure stepped out with overwhelming presence. The system identified it as level 24 Goblin King, conqueror of multiple human cities. Goblins flooded from all sides, trapping Junie and Xiaoran in a tight encirclement. Xiaoran anxiously asked for a plan. Junie calmly noted the boss had weak magic resistance. Her eyes flared with killing intent as she chose to strike first. Calculating fast, Xiaoran decided to awaken the demonic power in her bloodline. The familiar promo voice interrupted again, urging viewers to subscribe. She leapt and slashed at the Goblin King, triggering a violent explosion. The monster barely flinched, even laughing as it absorbed the magic. It stomped the ground, unleashing a brutal quake that shook the entire zone. Junie rushed over, calling out worriedly to check if Xiaoran was hurt. Amid tremors, she steadied herself with her sword and blamed herself for empowering the boss. Junie reassured her and decided to test another spell. Light binding erupted, countless radiant chains shooting toward the target. The Goblin King raised a purple barrier, blocking every holy chain. Junie cursed inwardly, realizing its magic resistance had surged. He told Xiaoran that if things worsened, she must crush the abyss crystal to escape. At that moment, the Goblin King shattered the chains with a sword swing, power exploding outward. Xiaoran covered her face in guilt, thinking Shed doomed them. A cold voice echoed in her mind, urging her to release her full demonic bloodline power. Her eyes lit up instantly, determination igniting within. Meanwhile, the Goblin King roared and raised its sword for a killing blow. Junie frowned, ready to activate angelic divine form to shield her. Before Junie could act, a terrifying purple blast shot straight at the boss. The Goblin King howled and raised its sword desperately to block the incoming power. Junie turned in shock, realizing the attack came from Xiaoran. Before him stood her new form, sharp fangs, demonic aura, and overwhelming presence. Xiaoran glanced at Junie coldly and calmly said she would handle the monster. The Goblin King screamed as half its face began melting under demonic power. In panic it roared, confused why it couldn't absorb the magic, and was instead being devoured by it. Xiaoran smirked and said this was only the opening act. The raging purple storm swallowed the boss, draining its life rapidly. Beside her, Junie watched in shock and pride at Xiaoran's terrifying strength. With disdainful eyes, she fired one final purple blast to finish the enemy. The energy storm was so fierce Junie had to shield himself from the shockwave. He silently marveled at Xiaoran's power exceeding every expectation. The Goblin King collapsed with a final scream as the system credited Xiaoran for the kill. In demonized state, she traced her blade with a sly smile, pleased with the victory. Suddenly, she rushed close to Junai with a dangerously charming grin. Leaning near, she whispered teasingly, asking why Junai Gage was so quiet. She leaned closer, asking if he liked this form, her demon tail tugging his shirt mischievously. In a bold move, she even grabbed his hand and placed it on her hip, freezing him instantly. Junie jerked his hand back like it touched fire, face blazing red. He stepped back half a pace, stammered nonsense, then inhaled deeply to calm down. His expression turned serious as he asked if she was still the Xiaoran he knew. The question hit like cold water, clearing the demonic haze from her eyes. Panic, she glanced at herself, then crouched down, covering her chest, trembling as she called Junai Gage. She hurriedly explained her succubus bloodline had just awakened and briefly slipped out of control. Junie lifted her chin gently, smiling in relief that she was still herself. Xiaoran blushed and pushed his hand down shyly, muttering she couldn't let demons take over. Junie reassured her and suggested they keep teaming up for more dungeon runs. He believed once she got used to the demonic power, abyss difficulty would be easy for her. He even pointed at the Goblin King's corpse, joking that since they were old friends, it might go easy on them next time. Stroking his chin, Junie analyzed that beating the boss was easy, but maximizing rewards required strategy. Outside the dungeon, students were loudly discussing the brutal abyss difficulty and Junius lone clear. Suddenly the leaderboard flashed Junius' new record, abyss clear in 9 minutes 46 seconds. Before the shock faded, another notice appeared. Xiaoran shattered it with 9 minutes 23 seconds. The crowd exploded when they realized a freshman solo cleared the terrifying abyss dungeon. Nearby, a bald student rubbed his forehead, finally understanding what true genius looked like. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, Junie challenged again, holy light instantly crushing the boss. Under his guidance, Xiaoran also defeated the abyss boss at jaw-dropping speed. The duo kept teaming up for more runs, smashing every stage with flawless coordination. In a flash, teleportation light sent them outside again, leaving the stunned crowd frozen in disbelief. Xiaoran happily hooked Zhou-Yi's arm to watch the Elemental Academy fireworks, and he agreed with a grin. They strolled toward the academy, where a giant stone statue with grand lettering loomed into view. Zhou-Yi gawked at the glowing magic streetlights, silently admitting this place screams wizard school. Xiaoran beamed about their abyss hall thanks to him, while Zhou-Yi waved it off like a modest hero. They ventured deeper into the academy garden, spotting another statue in the wide courtyard. Curious, Zhou Yi asked about the blade-wielding mage statue, and Xiao Ran launched into the tale of Guardian Wei Yang. Zhou Yi stepped closer, eyes dimming as he pondered the hero who died for humanity. He then asked about the Dark Age history, and Xiao Ran eagerly accepted storyteller duty. She began with the Golden Age 80 years ago, when prodigy professionals rose like mushrooms after rain. Legends like Sword Saint Shangbinhai and Flame Saint Li Xiaoyang became frontline pillars. Just as humanity prepared to counterattack the Otherworld, fate hit the plot twist button. The Dark Age crashed in as Otherworld creatures swarmed back stronger and scarier than ever. Golden Age elites fell one by one, and 30 brutal years bought today's fragile peace. Now the Otherworld is sneaking back again, making that peace look suspiciously temporary. Zhou Yi gently patted Xiao Ran's head, assuring her these foes only slip through space cracks, no big deal. She nodded brightly, convinced humanity has leveled up enough for round 2. Right then the first firework boomed, painting the academy sky in blazing colors. Xiao Ran excitedly pointed skyward, announcing the fireworks show had officially begun. She grabbed his hand and dashed to a better spot as fireworks bloomed nonstop overhead. After the spark-filled evening, Zhou Yi boarded a high-speed train home. On the train, he smiled at the memory of fireworks and Xiao Ran's grin, amused at traveling like a normal person instead of teleporting. Thankfully, the extreme frost lotus was finally his, giving Xiao Yun's illness real hope. Meanwhile at home, Xiao Yun anxiously asked Xingji why her brother wasn't back yet. Xingji calmly reassured her that Zhou Yi had called and was almost home. The door clicked open, and Xiao Yun dashed out with sparkling eyes. She spun back in a flash, shouting that her brother had returned. Xiao Yun leapt into his arms, loudly welcoming him home. Zhou Yi lifted her warmly, relieved at her healthy look as she proudly claimed perfect medicine-taking behavior. He then smiled at Xingji, joking it had been ages since they met. Xingji asked how long had stayed. Zhou Yi said 3 or 4 days to finish Xiao Yun's final treatment. Xiao Yun tugged his sleeve, cutely demanding to know if he brought a gift for this adorable sister. Zhou Yi laughed and produced a special lamp that could summon a golden soul to guard her with a puff of air. Xiao Yun clapped excitedly, eyes shining at the overpowered-sounding gift. Zhou Yi ruffled her hair, promising that once cured, she'd be just as strong as him. Outside, 2 figures quietly approached the house and rang the doorbell. Zhou Yi quickly opened the door, cheerfully greeting Secretary Zhao and his companion. Secretary Zhao said had contacted Miss Ku yesterday, and Miss Qi replied gravely that Zhou Yi's invitation now carried real weight. Hearing that, Zhou Yi happily thanked them, and announced he'd refined the Extreme Frost Pill from the Extreme Frost Lotus for his sister's treatment. Miss Qi looked shocked, noting that enshrank pill like the Extreme Frost Pill is absurdly rare. Zhou Yi humbly credited a third-turn alchemist, then suggested starting the final ritual right away. Xiao Yun nervously clutched a handkerchief, asking her brother if this would truly be okay. Zhou Yi handed her the pill and gently told her to relax. He explained that once she swallowed it, her ice bloodline would fully awaken. Still a bit anxious, Xiao Yun inhaled deeply, nodded, and declared she was ready. Zhou Yi asked Miss Kai to set up the magic array while he stacked growth talismans on his sister. Golden holy light erupted as he cast layers of protective blessings, leaving Miss Qi stunned. Standing in the room, Xiao Yun felt power surge through her, amazed by its intensity. Zhou Yi smirked that although she was a second-turn priest, her holy light purity was still slightly below his. He signaled Miss Qi to activate the next array to draw out her inner power. Instantly, icy energy burst from beneath her feet, freezing the room. Zhou Yi focused hard, ready to rein in the rapidly rising frost aura. The cold power exploded from Xiao Yun, dropping the surrounding temperature fast. Zhou Yi frowned slightly, checking if the frost outbreak was getting out of hand. Then he smirked confidently, saying it was still within his control. In a flash, he unleashed the holy flame light wheel, pulling all frost into his palm. He clenched down and crushed the chaotic cold energy, disrupting the awakening. He concluded this was likely the final frost eruption, thanks to the extreme frost pill. Sure enough, Xiao Yun's ice energy gradually stabilized and strengthened. Zhou Yi exhaled in relief, saying the hardest part was over now, they just wait. The ice jade within Xiao Yun completed itself, signaling her transformation's endgame. Her control over ice became smoother, steadier, and far stronger than before. The ice band over her eyes fell away, revealing brilliant frost-blue eyes shooting light skyward. Outside, a colossal ice dragon phantom appeared, its pure chill making Miss Q gasp that the bloodline was fully activated. When it ended, Xiao Yun ran out glowing with joy, asking if her brother knew how she felt now. She grinned and said the illness tormenting her was completely gone. Zhou Yi eagerly told her to open her status panel to check for post-awakening changes. Xiao Yun squealed that her ice bloodline granted her the talent of ice element control. Zhou Yi laughed proudly, saying a rare bloodline plus a new ability makes her a total treasure. He then wondered if an ancestor once had the ice bloodline, explaining their inheritance. He asked Miss Qi for a full check to ensure no hidden issues remained. Meanwhile, Secretary Zhao happily announced special cultivation resources had been prepared for the siblings. Zhou Yi accepted them with thanks, saying he'd soon return to the academy and asking Secretary Zhao to look after Xiao Yun. Watching her play with Xingji, he gently asked if she'd chosen a future class. Without hesitation, Xiao Yun declared she wanted to become a mage. Zhou Yi nodded in approval, promising that at level 10 he'd find her the perfect mage class change book. Out of nowhere, Xiao Yun excitedly claimed a dark power inside her was awakening too. The room went dead silent as everyone stared at her in shock. A terrifying thought hit them all. Does dark power actually exist? Zhou Yi broke into a cold sweat and asked Miss Kui to recheck for hidden dangers. While they panicked about sealing it, Xiao Yun blinked and giggled that she'd known about it forever. She then rattled off childish fantasies like Evil King True Eye and Dark Ice Princess titles. Zhou Yi instantly grabbed her collar to drag her to training, while she wailed to Xingji about fratricide for justice. The onlookers were speechless, secretly betting this cheeky girl would become a terrifying mage. Miss Qi muttered, wondering if that dark power was just pure childhood cringe. Dragged to the yard, Xiao Yun kept yelling in protest. In a flash, she summoned an ice spirit and hurled sharp ice spears at Zhou Yi. Every attack bounced off his holy light barrier, leaving her sprawled out and panting. After a while, she sat up, claiming she'd fully recovered and wanted the next training plan. Then she suddenly faked weakness, saying her frost energy relapsed so she couldn't train. Zhou Yi instantly saw through her lazy little scheme. He stepped forward with oppressive aura, and she quickly backtracked, insisting she was fine. Still lying on the ground, she groaned that training was exhausting and world-saving should be her brother's job. Suddenly, a glowing orb with strange life aura appeared in Zhou Yi's hand. Smiling, he introduced it as his newly contracted pet, Xiao Kui, assigned to supervise her training. Xiao Yun sprang up energetically, hugging Xiao Kui and vowing to train hard with it around. The more she looked, the more she squealed about how adorable Xiao Kui was. Zhou Yi muttered to Xiao Kui about the price he paid, while Xiao Yun ran off excitedly with the pet. Watching them, Zhou Yi sighed in relief, ready to return to the academy. On the way, he carried Xiao Kui and thanked it for working hard these past days. Suddenly, Xiao Kui perked up, sensing a familiar sound nearby. A familiar figure appeared, and Zhou Yi called out in surprise it was Sumei. Sumei smiled, explaining the National Freshman Exchange Tournament was coming, so she came to confirm the team. She stated seriously that as top freshman, Zhou Yi would captain and build the squad. She handed him a file listing the top 10 freshmen for teammate selection. Zhou Yi decisively said he'd pick the 4 highest-ranked students. Sumei frowned slightly, surprised by his bold choice. She reminded him team battles are long, and a priest's healing is crucial. Zhou Yi laughed, saying if you crush enemies fast enough, healing is optional. With blazing confidence, he claimed that activating his light angel bloodline, he could solo a whole team. Sumei sighed, admitting his power far surpassed other freshmen. She nodded, saying she'd report this lineup to Dean Wu. Before leaving, she asked if his sister's bloodline awakening was fully resolved. Zhou Yi thanked her for the earlier tip about the extreme frost lotus, earning a satisfied smile. Suddenly, he asked if she knew where to find a hidden class change letter. He explained he wanted to prepare for Xiao Yun, fearing the otherworld might invade again through space rifts. Sumei praised his thoughtfulness, but warned that even if the academy had a hidden class change letter, it'd be outrageously hard to buy. Before leaving, she reminded him to focus on preparing for the upcoming freshman exchange tournament. Watching her leave, Zhou Yi muttered that Sumei seemed to be hiding something. He opened the system panel to check the requirements for the lowest tier hidden class change letter. The price hit him at least 20,000 credits, making him sigh at the brutal goal. Suddenly, the system issued a new achievement quest: win top honors at the National Freshman Tournament for a huge reward. Zhou Yi clenched his fists, eyes blazing. Past system rewards had boosted him like crazy. Meanwhile, 5 people sat in a tense academy meeting room. Captain Zhou Yi introduced the lineup: Holy Knight Zhou Yi, Spirit Swordsman Zheng Churen, Spirit Dao Song Halen, Mage Tang Lingxi, and Warrior Wei Tiexin. Someone immediately blurted out, "Why is there no priest?" Others worried that without healing support, prolonged fights would be dangerously risky. Still, many believed that under Zhou Yi's lead, this squad could shock everyone. The decision passed, and Zhou Yi smiled inwardly, determined to claim first place. Zhang Ling raised training concerns, noting strong freshmen still needed teamwork drills. The dean agreed, ordering the team to gather at the War Academy in 3 days for training. Meanwhile, Zhou Yi trained hard, finishing his daily body conditioning task. His phone buzzed with a new message, and he quickly checked it. It was Wang Hai scheduling their first private lesson, thrilling Zhou Yi. He figured that completing daily system tasks would widen his power gap with others. Arriving at Wang Hui's location, Zhou Yi found a teleportation gate waiting. He turned back in surprise, asking if the lesson would really be here. Upon entering, the system displayed level 23 silver-grade demon wolves nearby. Wang Hui explained this forest belonged to the Tianyu guild he founded, perfect for leveling. Suddenly, a massive dragon flew overhead, terrifying the wolves into fleeing. Zhou Yi gawked, asking if there was truly a dragon in the forest. Wang Hui laughed, saying it was a level 62 epic demonic dragon, the senior brother's pet, guarding the area. He added that Zhou Yi's senior brother was level 64, with combat power surpassing even his past self. Zhou Yi was stunned. Level 64 at 30 years old was monstrous talent. Wang Hui patted him, declaring Zhou Yi's talent among the rarest he'd ever seen. Then he turned serious, telling Zhou Yi to watch closely as he demonstrated a special skill. Wang Hui cast Holy Light Infused Shield, sending 2 spinning light shields at the target. When the shields collided, a massive light explosion forced Zhou Yi to shield his eyes. He marveled at the terrifying might of a third-turn professional. Wang Hui handed him a glowing skill book, instructing him to learn it with skill points. Zhou Yi merged his consciousness, and the system displayed a rank Holy Light Infused Shield as the book dissolved. Astonished, Zhou Yi asked if Wang Hui also knew this special paladin inheritance skill. Wang Hui laughed, explaining it was created by Zhou Yi's senior sister, a third-turn Holy Knight, and passed down. He asked if Zhou Yi grasped it and told him to demonstrate. Zhou Yi nodded, raised his hand, and activated Holy Light Infused Shield. Two radiant light shields appeared, and he strained to pull them together. In a flash, the shields collided, detonating a blinding explosion that echoed through the forest. Wang Hui nodded in approval, praising his level 1 control and suggesting using shield walls to split battlefields. He then declared the next step live combat drills to master the skill. Pointing skyward, he said Garen would send 7 nearby beasts to attack him. Zhou Yi answered firmly that he was more than ready. The demonic dragon Garen roared and descended, its pressure sweeping the forest. The roar enraged countless beasts, sending them charging at Zhou Yi. One beast lunged with jaws wide, while Zhou Yi's eyes burned had waited for this. He swung his hammer in a lethal strike, dropping it instantly. Buff talismans erupted around him, power surging like a tidal wave. He stomped hard, cracking the tallery and blasting debris everywhere. With a flick, he condensed countless ice spikes and fired them at the horde. Many froze solid, others fell under his relentless skill barrage. Yet the fight dragged on as waves of beasts kept coming. Time blurred, no one knew how long the battle had raged. At last, Zhou Yi collapsed onto the ground, utterly drained. At dawn, Wang Hai approached, frowning at his reckless stamina and mana depletion. Zhou Yi grinned cheekily, saying he dared go all out because his master was there. After drinking an energy potion, he felt strength return, thrilled by the massive EXP gained. The system chime congrats level 22 achieved. He immediately allocated points and upgraded Holy Light Infused Shield to level 3. The skill's power had clearly jumped to a whole new tier. From above, Wang Hui was shocked had slain nearly 400 beasts, not the expected 100. He sternly warned that leading a team without a priest was risky. Stay calm in matches. Zhou Yi nodded confidently, declaring this year's championship theirs. Meanwhile, at a windy forest rest stop, Team Qinglin gathered around a tent. A broadcast announced the national freshman tournament with 218 universities was about to begin. Someone shouted as the official team rosters were released. Many were stunned that Suhang University's team had 0 priests. From afar, Jiang Churan smiled, noting Zhou Yi as captain and Ming as vice-captain. Zhou Dan laughed off comments predicting their defeat without a priest. Song Hailin gently patted Wen Tianren and asked staff to bring the bill for her to pay. She confidently declared that with Zhou Yi present, priest or not, they'd win it all. The system announced Zhou Yi passed level 10 combat assessment with extraordinary ratings and insane damage stats. Zhou Yi frowned, muttering that at level 22 training robots were too weak to matter. His phone rang. Sumei said Dean Wu arranged special training. Zhou Yi eagerly accepted. Meanwhile, the freshman prep room buzzed with tournament chatter. Some were too excited to sleep. They proudly recalled 4 consecutive championships. Losing now would be humiliating. As Zhou Yi entered, freshmen erupted in cheers. The main character had arrived. Jiang Churan approached, blushing, softly scolding him for keeping everyone waiting. Zhou Yi quickly apologized to Dian Wu and Sumei. Sumei waved it off, saying there was a new member to introduce. She introduced Wei Tiaxin, a level 18 warrior, who nodded boldly and thanked Zhou Yi for recruiting him. Sumei next introduced Tang Lingxi, a level 18 mage, who greeted Zhou Yi with a bright, polite smile. Learning Zhou Yi was personally trained by Wang Hui, everyone was even more stunned by his leveling speed. Jiang Churan covered her mouth, asking if had leveled again. Zhou Yi brushed it off, while Wei Tiaxin muttered, "What a monster." Sumei cut in seriously. Time was tight, and Shed personally acted as drill instructor. Shed handled team combat, while specialists coached solo and survival events. Today's test form up and challenged the underground fortress instance on Abyss difficulty. Jiang Churan finally understood why Sumei had pushed her and Tiaxin to hit level 18 fast. Seeing the stacked lineup, she felt confident. Honestly, Zhou Yi alone might clear Abyss. Zhou Yi noticed Tang Lingxi staring and replied with a gentle smile. That smile made Tang Lingxi blush. She hurried to hide behind Wei Tiaxin, making the team laugh. In a blink, they stood before the glowing gate of Abyss underground fortress. Zhou Yi stepped forward, eyes sharp, declaring he'd command this first joint operation. He assigned roles: Tex in tanks front, Churan and Lingxi DPS, Hylan any support rear. Reed goblins swarmed out, their hungry roars echoing through the dungeon. Zhou Yi calmly warned the team the monsters spotted prey and were charging madly. Without waiting, Wei Tiaxin roared and rushed ahead, vowing to hold the line. His heavy punch smashed down, shockwaves blasting goblins airborne. He was shocked his skill power jumped over 40 thanks to the captain's effect. Behind them, Zhou Yi spammed golden holy blessings, buffs blanketing the team instantly. Tang Lingxi's eyes widened. She could barely believe his casting speed. In under a second, he stacked 3 buffs. Even she struggled to keep up. Tang Lingxi raised her staff, summoning the Ghostslayer sigil as a shimmering blue spirit bird soared above. The goblins trembled under the mana pressure and dropped to their knees as if forcibly subdued. Jiang Churan seized the moment, her icy blade cleaving a goblin in half. Zhou Yi suddenly shouted a warning. Churan and Tiaxin, guard against ambush! For a split second, a bizarre voice urged viewers to subscribe to Gian Mi Go so they wouldn't miss exciting videos. Jiang Churan sensed danger, spinning instantly with wary eyes. Luckily, Wei Tiaxin raised a white light shield wall just in time, startling Tang Lingxi as a new foe appeared. The system displayed level 23 silver-grade goblin archer with deadly surprise strike. Zhou Yi cracked his knuckles, smirking that the dungeon likely scaled up due to their full squad. He activated light punishment, a radiant beam tearing through the air toward the archers. He told the team he'd handle the nuisances first, finish the rest together. The squad answered in unison, no problem. In the rear, Song Hailin clenched her fists, determined not to be dead weight. She flicked out ancient talismans that shot forward like glowing arrows. One talisman bound a goblin tight, freezing it in place. She triggered a fireburst talisman, flames roared and incinerated the monster. Outside the dungeon, spectators marveled at Zhou Yi's absurd casting speed. Some students noted that since enrollment, Zhou Yi had led Zhang Churen to dominate dungeon rankings. Dean Wu clenched his fist with a sly grin and secretly cranked up the difficulty to test Zhou Yi. Inside, Zhang Churen kept charging fiercely, her blade sweeping goblins aside. She chained explosive torrent into Shadow Slash, blasting through the mob encirclement. Not to be outdone, Song Halen cast 5 Thunder Array, lightning crashing onto the goblins. On the outer ring, Tang Lingxi unleashed Dragon Tornado, pulling all monsters into one vortex. Wei Tianxin stomped hard and rocketed skyward like a steel bullet. At the storm's center, he condensed sky-rending strike beneath his foot. His devastating kick crashed down, layered pressure crushing the goblins below. Song Halen marveled inwardly thanks to Zhou Yi's buffs. Steamrolling felt absurdly easy. Yet after the fight, Tang Lingxi sensed something oddly missing. She summoned her scout bird Xiao Bai, which reported 0 goblins nearby. Zhou Yi laughed from afar. This was just warm-up before the boss. Jiang Churen replied confidently that with Zhou Yi's buffs, their strength had doubled. Song Halen beamed and Wei Tianxin nodded, admitting the captain's power was awe-inspiring. Zhou Yi scratched his head, muttering they might be overhyping him. Soon, they reached a massive gate. Zhou Yi guessed the final boss waited behind it. Still, unease flickered in his heart as if something else lurked unseen. He pushed the heavy gate open, and the team entered the final dungeon zone. A colossal monster awaited system 2nd generation Goblin King level 25 epic grade. The team exchanged worried looks. Tang Lingxi whispered this far exceeded expectations. The Goblin King sneered, claiming he'd prepared a gift, and gathered energy into his staff. A gigantic fireball ignited midair, its terrifying heat freezing the team in place. It was merely fireball, yet absurdly overpowered, scorching pressure warping their faces. Jiang Churen shouted for Tang Lingxi to retreat from the blast radius. Too late, Wei Tianxin rushed forward, shield raised, activating wall fortification. But the boss might was monstrous. The shield cracked within seconds. Gritting his teeth, Wei Tianxin cursed inwardly. Double buff still couldn't block a normal hit. Worse, the Goblin King laughed and fused 2 fireballs into a devastating projectile. It roared that all intruders would turn to ash. Zhou Yi stepped forward coldly, ordering everyone to fall back. Instantly, he unleashed a frost wave, an enormous ice shield rising to meet the fireball. Spectators gasped. Song Halen warned this wasn't an ordinary fireball. Zhou Yi pushed harder, absorbing part of the flames to analyze their energy structure. In moments, he realized this boss far surpassed any previous monster. Without hesitation, Song Halen stepped up, determined to combine arrays and talismans for a strike. Golden talismans shot out, circling the Goblin King like a sealing cage. She chanted, "Heaven's Mandate Guide, Divine Talismans Obey," and all detonated at once. The explosions shook the debris flying as smoke engulfed the battlefield. Yet when the smoke cleared, the Goblin King stood tall and even inhaled the talisman-laced fumes. In a blink, it clenched its energy and roared, mocking them for being this weak. Song Xiaolan froze. Her full-power attack had done absolutely nothing. Tang Lingxi quickly the Dalei to switch to a stronger offensive spell. From afar, Jiang Churen charged in, sword slashing, daring the boss to take another hit. Instantly, the trio unleashed fire magic, demon-suppressing arrows, and blade strikes all at once. A sky-piercing explosion erupted, flashing like doomsday fireworks. As the dust settled, the Elf King stood there, perfectly shielded and annoyingly intact. It smirked and fired back a devastating counterattack at the whole team. Tang Lingxi paled, admitting the level gap was basically unfair. Right then, Zhou Yi stepped forward, radiant barrier covering the team, calmly saying, "Has got this." A sudden reminder popped up, urging viewers to subscribe to Gi and Me Go for more epic videos. Wei Tai Sin's eyes blazed as he asked Zhou Yi for permission to go milli. Zhou Yi patted him calmly, saying a level 25 epic boss was beyond them, leave the rest to him. He faced the boss and activated Light True Sight to scan for weaknesses. Zhou Yi calculated that using his Shrank Bloodline secret art would multiply his power. He decided it was time to unleash the true might of his divine angel body. Outside the dungeon, Sumeini anxiously asked Dean Wu if this trial was too much. Dean Wu stayed calm, noting other academies had terrifying geniuses too. He added gravely that sometimes failure teaches the battlefield's cruelty best. Then he laughed, hoping Zhou Yi would stand firm and show his real strength. Back inside, the Elf King roared, glowing as it shifted into a compact battle form. Zhou Yi stayed cool, saying the final result would be decided by power alone. Blazing radiance burst around him as he activated his Holy Light Bloodline, aura skyrocketing. Holy Light compressed into a razor beam and shot straight at the boss. The Elf King sneered, lifting its staff, reminding Zhou Yi he was the challenger. It poured energy into its staff and unleashed world-ending meteor fire. The two colossal forces collided midair, shockwaves raging outward. Though defenses held, the aftermath still shook the entire space violently. Stunned, Song Xiaolan asked Jiang Churen if Zhou Yi had ever used this form before. Jiang Churen shook her head. It was her first time seeing his true power unleashed. The Elf King grew furious, eyes blazing, roaring that Zhou Yi still wasn't enough. Zhou Yi merely smiled and summoned holy light chains from the void. The radiant chains locked the boss midair like a glowing piata. A brilliant magic circle formed under Zhou Yi, attack energy gathering fast. In a flash, a force shot upward, piercing the Elf King's tough defenses. Not stopping there, Zhou Yi's arm ignited with sacred flames as the assault flipped momentum. Light flame storm erupted, a vortex of light and fire swallowing the boss whole. Amid the raging energy, the Elf King screamed, finally tasting overwhelming power. Zhou Yi coldly remarked the battle wasn't over yet. He dashed in with a direct punch, thunderlight burst exploding with massive energy. On the brink of death, the Elf King gasped that Ju-yi still hadn't used his full strength. Regretfully, it said it had hoped to test his six-winged angel form maybe next time. As the boss began to fade, Ju-yi gathered energy at his fingertip for the Dei Isher. In a blink, the final strike detonated, and the Elf King completely disintegrated. Outside, Dean Wu wiped his sweat, stunned by what had just witnessed. He admitted the boss was buffed insanely, even a level 26 class holder would struggle. He then asked Sumani if she had Ju-yi's previous training data. Sumani nodded. This morning, Ju-yi cleared a level 10 trial in just over 6 minutes. Dean Wu finally understood why everyone trusted Ju-yi so much. Inside the dungeon, the system announced Abyss Dungeon cleared in 21 minutes and 16 seconds. Tang Lingsai cheered. She gained 8,000 experience points. The others were thrilled. This dungeon's EXP beat a week of normal training. Ju-yi landed and received over 11,000 EXP plus attribute and skill points. Seeing him tired, Jiang Churan rushed over. Ju-yi smiled, saying he'd just overexerted a bit. He then suggested the team quickly check the boss loot. As they approached, a pile of glowing items shimmered on the ground. The system listed level 22 Flame Staff, level 24 Fire Spirit Shield, and level 24 Flame Demon Ring. All gold tier gear. Ju-yi smiled as the team's eyes sparkled at the jackpot. Zhongyi grinned at the loot and asked if anyone needed the 3 items. Jiang Churan shook her head. The high-level fire gear didn't suit her or Xia Lan. Song Xiaolan smiled, saying Zhongyi did the most and should keep them. Zhongyi refused, proposing to trade them for credit points and split evenly. Tang Lingjai protested he should take 70% since they'd never win without him. Blushing, she admitted Zhongyi was the true MVP while she barely helped. Still firm, Zhongyi insisted on equal shares so no one would lack credit points for a long time. Jiang Churan beamed, saying Zhongyi was the last person who'd ever lack credits anyway. Zhongyi's eyes burned as he reminded them the upcoming exchange match required upgrades to defend Suhang University's honor. He vowed he wouldn't disappoint and would go all out in future training. The team roared in agreement, each promising to give their all under their captain. Xia Lan nodded, and Zhongyi confidently declared they'd claim a glorious victory. Ju-yi carefully collected all dungeon drops, pride gleaming in his eyes. In a flash, the 5 exited the dungeon, greeted by Dean Wu's enthusiastic applause. Laughing, he congratulated them for clearing the Abyss dungeon he personally designed. Ju-yi clasped the loot, bowed respectfully, and greeted Dean Wu politely. Dean Wu kept clapping, praising the team for far exceeding expectations. He stepped closer, hand on Ju-yi's shoulder, saying the boy had truly surprised him. Ju-yi scratched his head modestly, saying he just did what he should. Suddenly asked about the championship goal. Zhongyi answered firmly they'd take first place. Dean Wu laughed heartily, saying that kind of confidence was step 1 to victory. Gusu calmly suggested letting Zhongyi play support for now to hide his true strength. Then, at the critical moment, he'd unleash full power and catch opponents off guard. Dean Wu nodded, saying it was time other schools learned what genius Ju-yi really meant. Gusu pointed out their teamwork was still clunky and needed special training. The dean grinned mischievously. Rest today, but future training would include some fun punishments. Zhongyi's eyes widened as he eagerly asked for a sneak peek. Gusu waved mysteriously. Spoilers ruined the fun, then left quickly with the dean. Zhongyi turned to the team, urging everyone to train hard for the upcoming exchange match. Near the entrance, a male student complained about the Nightmare Dungeon's brutal difficulty, his friend admitting repeated failures. Someone suddenly asked if their Abyss Dungeon run could break 10 minutes. A confident reply came after long training and the captain's buffs. 10 minutes was easy. Another excitedly added that Dean Wu had personally given tips yesterday, making today extra anticipated. 2 nearby students whispered in shock that Race was the school's national freshman exchange team. The other froze. Wait, they're just freshmen. He recalled his strongest classmate was level 19 while that team's lowest was already level 20. Someone pointed ahead. The guy there was no joke. It was Ju-yi, the dungeon record holder. Looking at the glowing board, he saw Ju-yi ranked first, clearing Abyss Goblin in 7 minutes 35 seconds. Inside the dungeon, chaos erupted as a giant insect roared, leading imps in a frenzy. It unleashed meteor fire, summoning a massive blazing fireball midair. Tai Sin calmly smiled. Finally, the opponent used its big move. He roared, pouring full power into his steel fist to shatter the attack. In a flash, his punch exploded through the fireball, bursting it apart midair. Tai Sin thought proudly, thanks to their mentor, he could now face this attack head-on. The boss sneered coldly, declaring the weak would always be weak. A promo suddenly chimed in, urging viewers to subscribe to Gin My Go. The giant insect roared defiantly, swinging its massive sword in desperate resistance. Lingxi dashed in like lightning, her slash tearing through the night sky. In a blink, the finishing blow fell. The insect's head flew off, battle over. The board appeared. Abyss Dungeon cleared in 8 minutes 36 seconds, rewards incoming. Footsteps approached. Dean Wu arrived smiling, noting they'd broken under 9 minutes. Ju-yi asked in surprise why the dean came personally. Dean Wu explained the match schedule was set. They'd depart tomorrow for Chengjing University. The team erupted in excitement. The long-awaited day had come. One side emotionally, months of grueling training were for this moment. Another imagined the grand arena, wondering how majestic Chengjing University looked. Julius' battle intent flared. Dungeon bosses were old news now. It was time to face other schools' geniuses. Dean Wu seriously added that for safety, he'd personally lead this trip. They headed to the school's teleportation gate, magic shimmering toward Chengjing University. On the other side, Principal Wang Hui awaited with a calm smile. Dean Wu stepped forward to greet him, and Wang Hui warmly said they must worked hard lately. Principal Wang Hui looked at the freshmen expectantly, reminding them they carried the school's honor and aimed for 5 straight championships. The team placed hands on their chests and shouted in unison, determination practically on fire. A sudden promo urged viewers to subscribe for updates on the upcoming tournament. Wang Hai nodded in satisfaction and asked Yu Hua Yang to activate the teleportation array. Yu Hua Yang gripped his staff and cast the spell to open the gate. A radiant formation lit up the ground as the portal slowly opened with mystical glow. Energy surged violently, sweeping the group into the light and vanishing them. Before they disappeared, Wang Hui smiled softly, wishing them luck and a smooth journey. In a blink, they arrived at Chenjing University, Jui amazed at crossing millions of miles instantly. Gusu explained it was thanks to the dean, only a third-turn mage could cast such ultra-long teleportation. Footsteps approached with warm greetings. It was Cheng Yang Chun, the host school's third-turn mechanic. Dean Wu stepped forward for a friendly handshake, surprised his old friend came personally. Cheng Yang Chun laughed, of course he'd escort old friends himself. He sized up the freshmen approvingly, while Dean Wu proudly noted they had formidable geniuses too. Dean Wu patted his friend's shoulder, joking they'd meet again on the official battlefield. Turning serious, he told the students the opening ceremony was on the 10th, with matches starting right after. Since they'd trained for a month, the next few days were for rest and peak condition. He warned Chengjing was crowded, other races might infiltrate, and human geniuses were prime targets. He allowed them to explore for a few days but stressed safety. The team answered in unison. That night, Ju Yi stood on the rooftop in the breeze as a floating device welcomed him to the smart dorm. Seeing free time, he decided to spend all accumulated EXP to level up. He tapped the level up button on the screen without hesitation. The system flashed level 23 achieved with extra attribute and skill points, though level 24 was still far. He noted most skills were C or B rank after second turn. Holy Knight, stronger ones awaited. He might even gain R rank skills like Apocalypse Pearl or Light Pearl to boost teammates. Still far from third turn, Juyi shook his head. Better finish system achievement task first. Fireworks suddenly exploded across the night sky, signaling the opening ceremony. The broadcast solemnly declared the 157th National Exchange Tournament open, inviting Suhang University's team in. The stands erupted as thousands roared Suhang University's name. Zhongyi felt overwhelmed. Understanding the tournament's Yurjing Churan smiled. This was just the warm-up. The announcer boldly invited Rongyang University, Suhang's opponent, onto the field. Rongyang's team looked discouraged, sighing a drawing last year's champion as their first hurdle. Yet one teammate roared they were top 30 last year, at least capable of putting up a fight. A fan suddenly shouted, noticing Suhang's rear Holy Knight had reached level 23. Many sighed in relief. He was just support. If he were the main force, Rongyang's pressure would be terrifying. Not to be outdone, a Rongyang member loudly challenged them. Levels down automatically decide victory. The announcement boomed for both teams to take positions as the arena rose and a shimmering white barrier sealed shut. In a flash, the countdown hit 3, 2, 1. The battle began. Rongyang charged in, tense as ever, someone shouting to stay sharp and ready. Before attacking, a teammate stopped him. Better defend first and probe Suhang's hidden tricks. Suddenly, golden light burst from Juyi's formation, forcing all opponents to turn. Zhongyi rapidly activated support skills: Divine Grace, Protective Shield, Dawn Blessing, and Courage. The crowd gasped, buffs unleashed in seconds. Captain Juyi truly lived up to the hype. Yang Chun's eyes lit up, noting Suhang's team combat power had jumped nearly 50%. Dean Wu smugly explained the Holy Knight was a rare class specializing in Wideria buffs, deadly in small team fights. Still, he glanced at Cheng Yang Chun, thinking thankfully they had hidden cards too. Relying only on Juyi would make this tough. On the field, Rongyang's members stared at Juyi's lineup with growing unease. Worse, someone's sword slipped from trembling hands, clanging onto the floor. Panicked, a member asked the captain what to do. He forced calm, weakly claiming he could still hold. After observing, Juyi coolly judged them average and ordered a full assault to end it in one wave. Ling Sai raised her hand, summoning blazing fireballs that split into hovering missiles, asking to open the attack. 3 flaming magic missiles screeched through the air toward Rongyang. A reminder chimed in, urging viewers to subscribe to Ginmai Go for more exciting videos. Just as Rongyang's captain smugly claimed to have blocked the strike, a scream behind him warned another attack incoming. In a flash, Shishin stormed forward like a cyclone, diamond-coated fist unleashing shattering void punch at the defense line. Huquan's punch smashed the shield, the terrifying impact shattering the captain's barrier. Zhang Shiran followed with Demon's Blade, Razor Sword aura sealing every escape route. Song Xiaolan cast Thunderstrike, fierce lightning bolts crashing down onto the enemy formation. Under relentless assault, Rongyang's captain's arm trembled, his defensive will collapsing. At the peak, the announcement declared Suhang University victorious as Rongyang lay groaning on the floor. Organizers thanked both teams for the thrilling match and announced the next team battle. Leaving the field, Jiang Churan sighed. Her individual match ranked 27th. Song Xiaolan fared worse at 45th. Meanwhile, Zhong Yi smiled. His match was 6th against a swordsman, earning instant admiration. In the stands, spectators buzzed about Juyi's true strength, chanting his name loudly. The announcement rang out. Individual match 9, Zhong Yi of Suhang versus Liao Chuang of Chuanan University. Across the field, level 18 swordsman Liao Qiang smirked, thinking a support class was free victory. Chuanan's crowd watched closely, some expecting a fierce clash, others confident Luca would crush him. The whistle blew with a 3-wound countdown. The duel officially began. At the start, Liao Qiang raised his sword at Zhong Yi, coldly suggesting surrender now to save face. Zhong Yi burst out laughing, telling Liao Qiang to survive one punch first before bragging. Enraged, Liao Qiang slashed out flaming blade throw, his sword blazing red as it shot forward. Zhu Yi reacted like lightning, casually sidestepping the incoming strike. Liao Qiang gaped at the speed, while Zhu Yi smiled calmly. Time to end this. A thin layer of ice froze Liao Qiang's feet as Zhong Yi dashed in with 5 rapid punches, leaving him cursing internally. Struggling hard, Liao Qiang finally shattered the ice and leapt up to counterattack. He charged with a mocking roar, calling his opponent nothing but weak. Zhong Yi didn't budge, his fist collided with the blade, monstrous force shattering the sword into flying fragments. The next punch slammed into Liao Qiang's abdomen, blasting him across the arena floor. Chuanan stands fell silent, someone stammering they hadn't even seen the move clearly. A Chuanan instructor sighed Liao Qiang lost by underestimating him, support class or not. Juyi's combat power was terrifying. Slumped against the wall, battered and gasping, Liao Qiang was declared unable to continue. Victory went to Zhu Yi, he smirked coldly, mocking that even a crank skill punch couldn't be blocked. The crowd exploded in chatter. Shocked by the overwhelming win, some guessed Zhu Yi still hid his true strength. In another corner, mentor Zhu Yu of Chenjing University watched closely, amazed at Zhu Yi's growth since the Lijiang recruitment. A colleague reminded him Zhu Yi almost joined them. Zhu Yu sighed, regretting not fighting harder for this prodigy. Nearby, level 19 archer Xia Lan whispered that Zhu Yi might be the special boy Xiao Nian once mentioned. Level 18 priest Zhu Xiaobai clenched her fist, noticing Zhu Yi's ice skill speed surpassed even her family's ice mages. Suddenly, the bracelet on her wrist glowed, the family relic reacting, making her suspect Zhu Yi had awakened an ice bloodline. Seeing her strange reaction, Xia Lan asked Xiaobai quickly hid the glowing bracelet, awkwardly saying she was fine. She hurried off with doubts swirling, claiming urgent business, while Xia Lan frowned in confusion. Xiaobai pulled out her phone and urgently called her family to confirm her suspicion. A man's surprised voice answered, asking why she was calling during a match. Taking a deep breath, Xiaobai reported tremblingly Shed found someone with ice bloodline surnamed Zhu and over 70% purity. The man was stunned, asking if she was certain such pure ice bloodline was extremely rare. Regaining composure, Xiaobai said 80% sure, but needed close contact. He urged her to arrange a meeting with Zhu Yi. The man sighed hopefully. If true, their Tianlin-Zhu clan might finally be saved. Back in the arena, cheers roared as the crowd called Zhu Yi's name alongside his next opponent, Li Xin. In the prep area, brothers Li Xin and Li Yuan exchanged cold smiles. Li Xin vowed he wouldn't hold back. His brother warned him seriously. Zhu Yi carried a dangerous aura. Li Xin nodded firmly, eyes blazing with battle intent. He activated all enhancement skills, ready to go all out against Zhu Yi. In the stands, a Modi University student bragged about Li Xin's level 18 wind armor, confident Zhu Yi couldn't even touch him. The atmosphere boiled as both sides chanted Zhu Yi and Li Xin's names across the arena. Just then, a newly arrived group marveled that the arena was as lively as their clan's training grounds. In the stands, Dongni spotted 2 familiar faces in the crowd. She rushed over to hug them, shocked her father and sister were here. Her father explained they came to investigate Zhu Yi. He might be a lost mainline heir of the Zhu clan from the Dark Age. Dongni pouted, unimpressed. Why travel this far for a support holy knight? Her sister shook her head. If Zhu Yi's bloodline purity exceeded 70%, he could switch to their clan's hidden class. Dongni clenched her fists. The current mainline youth barely reached 40% purity. Their father sternly warned her to show respect. If they shared blood, Zhu Yi might outrank her as an elder brother. He concluded they'd confirm after testing. For now, calmly watch Zhu Yi's match. The announcer declared Zone 3's first solo match, Li Xin of Modi University versus Zhu Yi of Suhang. Stepping out, Li Xin said he'd planned a quick finish but, warned by his captain, would take this seriously. Zhu Yi just smiled. Zhu Yi secretly used True Sight, noting Moda's captain truly had sharp instincts about his strength. Seeing Li Xin was only level 18, Zhu Yi calculated a 5-level gap. One light punishment could end it. Remembering tomorrow's team match against Chenjing, he frowned and chose to hold back, using only melee skills. The referee counted down 3-2, when the duel began. At once, Li Xin activated Protective Grace, a defensive aura enveloping him as he roared confidently. In the next blink, he stomped forward, charging Zhu Yi. A sharp kick swept low, aiming to break Zhu Yi's stance. Zhu Yi reacted instantly, blocking with ease and even teasing him calmly. He spun and launched a punch infused with light hammer strike toward Li Xin. Li Xin raised his guard, face changing as the force pierced through his gear, causing intense pain. The monstrous blow sent him sliding backward across the floor. He only stopped after crashing hard into the barrier wall. The crowd gasped to support, overpowering a warrior with rank defensive talent. Wiping blood from his mouth, Li Xin panted and asked if Zhu Yi came from a martial arts clan. Zhu Yi smiled lightly. He was just a bit physically stronger than average. Without pause, he unleashed Holy Fist combo, punches raining down relentlessly. Li Xin's protective aura shattered piece by piece. His body endured consecutive heavy strikes. Desperate, Li Xin screamed. The assault was too relentless to escape. At the climax, the final punch approached, and he knew he couldn't block it. In that instant, Li Xin shouted for mercy and conceded defeat. Ironically, Zhu Yi's strike was already in motion and couldn't be withdrawn. The thunderous punch still landed. Li Xin collapsed onto the arena floor. The announcement confirmed Zhu Yi's victory and advancement to Zone 4's next round. Standing midfield, Zhu Yi scratched his head apologetically. Holding back was harder than expected. The stands buzzed nervously. A holy knight dominating barehanded melee was downright terrifying. Julius' gaze softened as he cast Holy Light Heal on Li Xin, apologizing that the surrender came too late. He said he'd stabilize the injuries with healing before handing Li Xin to medical staff. After speaking, Zui asked the nurses to take over, and one stepped in to check the patient. One glance made her grimace. Li Xin's injuries were worse than expected. Meanwhile, Li Xin clutched his chest, groaning like a broken accordion. The nurse ruled he'd need at least 2 or 3 days to recover, secretly stunned by Jui's monster punch. In the stands, Zhu Xiaobai sighed that Jui's strength far surpassed most peers in the clan. Beside her, Zhu Heng nodded, admitting that knocking away a heavy-armored man with one punch was downright beastly. Dongni pouted but grudgingly admitted Zhu was indeed strong. Zhu Heng laughed, saying it seemed Zhu had finally won Dongni's respect. He then asked Xiaobai to arrange a meeting with Zhu Yi, and she agreed at once. Just then, the announcer declared Zhang Chuan vs Zhang Feng entering its climax, and Zhu Yi figured Chuan would win easily. On stage, Zhang Feng struggled hard, admitting Su Hang University's freshmen were terrifyingly strong. Suddenly, Zhang Chuan's aura flared as she charged forward. She coldly declared the match would end swiftly. Her sword flashed in rapid arcs, sharp slashes leaving Zhang Feng zero time to react. As expected, Zhang Feng took a direct hit. In a blink, Zhang Feng collapsed, and the announcement confirmed Zhang Chuan's entry into round 4. The crowd erupted, shocked that the Modu contestant was utterly helpless before Zhang Chuan. Leaving the arena, Zhu Yi praised Xiao Nian's dazzling performance, especially that killer finishing move. Zhang Chuan smiled modestly, saying her opponent was weak against Zhu Yi. She'd probably just surrender. A clear female voice suddenly called out, asking Zhu Yi to wait. Zhu Yi turned as Zhu Xiaobai introduced herself from the Tianlan Zhu clan, claiming he possessed the ice bloodline. Zhu Yi frowned in doubt while Zhang Chuan instantly recognized the Zhu clan as an ancient family. She explained the Tianlan Zhu clan had existed for centuries but lacked ice bloodline awakeners lately, making Zhu Yi extremely valuable. Still calm, Zhu Yi refused their resources and bluntly asked how they knew he belonged to the Zhu clan. Zhu Xiaobai produced a silver appraisal stone, saying her father brought it to test his bloodline. Without hesitation, Zhu Yi touched the stone to verify. The stone blazed brilliantly, icy energy spreading as Xiaobai gasped. His bloodline purity exceeded 90%. Feeling the familiar power within, Zhu Yi smiled, admitting he sensed a strange bloodline resonance with her. Seizing the moment, Xiaobai stepped closer, respectfully addressing him as Zhu Yi and inviting him to meet her father. Zhu Yi agreed, telling Jiang Chuan to head back, while she teasingly said the Zhu clan still couldn't rival the Zhang clan. Xiaobai frowned inwardly, thinking her Zhu clan was no small player either. Nevertheless, she quickly led Zhu Yi toward a quiet room. At the door, she softly said her father and younger sister were waiting inside. Entering, Zhu Yi recalled how the Zhu clan ignored him when his sister was gravely ill, yet now came knocking after his ice bloodline awakening. At that moment, the inner door gently opened. Zhu Heng, Xiaobai's father, stepped out with a warm smile. He offered a firm handshake and introduced himself in a booming voice. Zhu Yi responded calmly as Zhu Heng praised him, saying he had long heard of him and found him truly extraordinary in person. He emphasized that Zhu Yi's ice bloodline purity was exceptionally rare. Zhu Heng explained they shared a common great ancestor, making Xiaobai his distant cousin. Changing the topic, he suggested Zhu Yi return to the main branch and switch to the hidden ice ailment profession. Hearing this, Zhu Yi frowned, asking if a holy knight could even switch professions. Zhu Heng quickly reassured him the Zhu clan had prepared a top-tier specialization item just for this. Secretly, Zhu Yi thought his real power came from the holy knight system, so that hidden class wasn't worth the hype. After pondering, he bluntly asked if refusing to switch meant no clan resources. Though tempted, Zhu Yi smiled and firmly declined. Undeterred, Zhu Heng pressed on, promising to raise him to level 50 within 6 years after switching. Zhu Yi shook his head, unimpressed. His school already spoiled him with resources, and he loved being a holy knight. Growing impatient, Zhu Heng argued holy knights were mere support, while the Zhu clan's hidden class was the real deal. Zhu Yi's gaze turned icy, retorting that they were the shallow ones for belittling holy knights. With that, he walked away, only promising to meet tomorrow in the arena, leaving Xiaobai calling after him too late. Xiaobai lightly blamed her father for not trying harder to keep Zhu Yi. Zhu Heng calmly pocketed his hands, saying let him go once he witnessed Chenjing University's strength, he'd reconsider. Suddenly, Dongni raised her hand from behind to object. She grumbled that the Zhu clan needn't try so hard just to lure Zhu Yi back. Zhu Heng and Xiaobai fell silent before he sighed and decided to reveal the truth. He recounted how the Zhu clan's ancestor first awakened the ice bloodline on Blue Star, leading the clan to glory. But during the Dark Era, when foreign demons invaded, the ancestor vanished deep in the otherworld after leading an expedition. Since then, a demon lord's curse severely weakened the ice bloodline, slashing awakening rates. Thus, if Zhu Yi truly had pure blood and returned, the clan would pour all resources into him. Zhu Heng added that Zhu Yi's current win streak bred confidence, but facing Chenjing would show him the Zhu clan's true value. Xiaobai snapped at Dongni for seeming to side with Zhu Yi, while Dongni muttered she was only speaking hypothetically. Cut to the arena packed to the brim, with fans whining about impossible ticket prices. Spectators buzzed, wondering if Zhu Yi's streak would survive against powerhouse Chenjing. In the stands, Dongni weighed the odds. Though the healing squad had the edge, she doubted whether Zhu Yi's victory was certain. The announcer thundered, summoning Chenjing and Su Hang universities, and the crowd erupted in wild cheers. Instantly, Ju Yi stepped forward, raising his hand to summon the mysterious light warhammer as his aura surged. In a flash, radiant holy light burst around him, dazzling the entire arena. The stand stirred, some shocked he wielded a warhammer, others uneasy at the oppressive aura even from afar. Dong Ni and Ju Heng were stunned, sensing his aura far stronger than before, suspecting he'd never shown full strength. Meanwhile, Li Yuan frowned at Ju Yi in the front line, wondering if he planned to act as main attacker. Zhu Xiaobai and Xiaolan calmly analyzed that after yesterday's display, Ju Yi's core made sense, plus he had the highest level in his cohort. Lu Zhou and Wang Xuan sneered, dismissing a high-level Holy Knight's aura as hardly worth concern. Li Yuan's gaze turned cold as he recalled last year's crushing team defeat to Su Hang that cost them the championship. He suddenly slammed his blade into the ground, the gesture sharp as a declaration of war. At the peak, Li Yuan roared at Su Hang's team to go all out, no mercy, even if it meant serious injuries. In the stands, Cheng Yongchun nervously asked Dean Wu if Zhu Yi could really juggle support and offense. Dean Wu just laughed confidently, saying strength would decide all and he trusted Zhu Yi completely. Ironically, that answer made Cheng Yongchun more suspicious, wondering what trump card Wu was hiding. On the field, Zhu Yi quickly outlined tactics. He'd charge first while teammates coordinated behind. A teammate grinned, saying if Zhu Yi went full power, they could practically wait for victory. Zhu Yi frowned, warning them not to get cocky. If injured, retreat to him for healing. The countdown rang out, 3, 2, 1, and the battle began. Instantly, Zhu Yi burst forward like a gale, the spearhead of Su Hang slicing toward the enemy. Simultaneously, buffs stacked up: Guardian Blessing, Holy Blessing, Dawn Blessing, and Courage Blessing. Commentators gaped, no probing, just a full charge while chanting spells, showcasing absurd mastery. Opposite him, Li Yuan snarled that Zhu Yi was courting death. They'd prepared their strongest ranged strike. Without hesitation, Xia Lan drew her bow, charging an energy-packed arrow aimed straight at Zhu Yi. Arrows flashed and shrieked through the air, dense trajectories sealing his advance. Xia Lan boldly declared her rank, suffocating arrow-locked targets nearly impossible to dodge. With Zhu Yi separated from his team, she was sure he couldn't withstand the volley. Facing the incoming storm, Zhu Yi sensed trouble but calmly steadied himself. Instead of dodging, he charged head-on, snapping the locking arrows barehanded like dry twigs. Xia Lan froze in horror, her boosted level 8 rank skill crushed by his bare hands. Behind her, Li Yuan and Lu Zhou watched grimly. Li Yuan coldly muttered. Zhu Yi relied on high defense. Lu Zhou stepped forward, power surging between his hands as magic aura roared. In a flash, blazing flames spiraled around a manosphere, scorching heat sweeping the field. Lu Zhou locked onto Zhu Yi, shouting this was his strongest attack. From the inferno emerged a blazing phoenix, clutching a radiant fireball in its beak. With a roar, Lu Zhou unleashed Fire Phoenix Breath, hurling the massive fireball at Zhu Yi. The explosive force shoved Zhu Yi back, his body swaying on the brink of collapse. The extreme Fire Phoenix chained with flame impact, erupting into a vast sea of fire. Yet within the fiery storm, Zhu Yi stood firm, gripping the mysterious light warhammer and coldly asking, "Is that all?" From afar, Lu Zhou laughed smugly, saying Zhu Yi's refusal to flee only made killing him easier. The crowd exploded in shock at Lu Zhou's rank skill, many fearing Zhu Yi was too arrogant charging alone. In the stands, Zhu Yu judged retreating with speed would be Zhu Yi's wisest move. Beside her, Su Mei chuckled mockingly at the word retreat. Annoyed, Zhu Yu demanded why, and Su Mei coolly replied that in a rank skill scaring Zhu Yi off was laughable. Zhu Yu snapped back that when Zhu Yi lost, they'd be the ones crying. Just then, the big screen zoomed in on a resolute figure striding through the sea of flames. Seeing that, Zhu Yu panicked, blurting out that she had no idea what was happening. On the field, Zhu Yi activated Holy Flame Light Wheel, and a rank skill at peak level. The sacred Hallow fused divine fire, letting him control flames and massively boost light damage for himself and allies. With a shout, Zhu Yi unleashed it like a giant magnet, sucking all surrounding fire into its core. Lu Zhou stood frozen, unable to believe his fire skill was vacuum clean. In panic, he tried recalling the Fire Phoenix to absorb it back and regain strength. Useless, every last spark was forcibly devoured by Holy Flame Light Wheel. Behind him, Jiang Chun and Xia Lan smiled proudly, saying Chen Jing clearly underestimated their Holy Knight captain. Back on the field, Zhu Yi rested his warhammer on his shoulder, holding the fireball, and jokingly apologized for the disappointment. The crowd erupted, sensing divine aura from the god-granted skill and dubbing him pseudo-god. Zhu Yi went numb, realizing even third transcendence classes rarely obtained such a divine gift. Su Mei merely smiled calmly, suggesting Zhu Yi probably just stumbled upon a genius-level fortuitous encounter. Zhu Yu stubbornly insisted their team still had hidden aces, while Su Mei coolly hoped they truly did. In the stands, Dongni asked her father what a divine skill really was to cause such hysteria. Zhu Heng explained that divine skills couldn't be learned, only those blessed by gods had a chance to receive them. He added that the Zhu clan bore the ice bloodline, and once had countless devout followers of the ice goddess. But after the bloodline was cursed, the ice goddess' favor vanished, and the clan declined over time. Thus, Zhu Heng declared Zhu Yi might be the clan's hope for revival, and he would negotiate again after the match. Back to the arena, Lu Zhou stood dazed, realizing his extreme Fire Phoenix had completely vanished. Li Yuan analyzed grimly that fire magic seemed useless against Zhu Yi, ordering Lu Zhou to switch elements. He also commanded Xia Lan to maintain range suppression and never let Zhu Yi close in easily. Xia Lan leapt skyward with her bow, crisply acknowledging the order. Regaining composure, Lu Zhou roared that they still had ways to counter Zhu Yi. In a flash, he cast Rock Fortress, raising massive stone pillars to block the advance. Simultaneously, Xiaolan unleashed Gale Arrow Rain, thousands of arrows storming forward. Zhuyi's eyes stayed firm. Such tricks were naive if they hoped to stop him. He instantly activated the defensive skill Holy Light Heart Shield. A radiant light array formed, creating a sturdy barrier around him. Zhu Xiaobai and Xiaolan were stunned to recognize the high-level A-rank Holy Light Heart Shield. Yet within the formation, Zhu Yi frowned slightly and chose to counter with ranged offense Holy Flame Storm. Chen Jing's team panicked as a massive fire vortex formed before them. The raging cyclone swept debris away, forcing their entire formation to retreat. In moments, the rock fortress was crushed and shattered within the blazing inferno. Witnessing the power, Li Yuan paled, knowing anyone caught inside would be instantly eliminated. Suddenly, he realized Lu Zhou had vanished from his original spot. In truth, Lu Zhou was trapped in the vortex core, struggling and shouting that Zhu Yi's elemental control outmatched even mages. From afar, Zhu Yi smiled, gathering more power and remarking the flames still weren't fierce enough. With a raised hand and shout, the vortex exploded in intensity, dragging Lu Zhou straight into the storm's heart. In an instant, Lu Zhou's agonized screams echoed through the sea of fire. Soon, his body and staff were blasted out, the crystal atop it shattered. Crumpled on the ground, Lu Zhou weakly begged for help. Zhu Yi calmly remarked he survived this time, next time, maybe not. Li Yuan coldly ordered Zhu Xiaobai to heal Lu Zhou while he personally handled Zhu Yi. Without pause, Zhu Yi gripped the mysterious light warhammer and charged like a cyclone into their formation. He swung, unleashing glory/radiant force exploding midair. Li Yuan raised his shield with a roar, determined to block it head-on. Watching behind, Wang Xuan gaped as the captain's shield strained against the monstrous power. After several clashes, Li Yuan clearly began to tire. Bracing on his sword, he panted, inwardly horrified by Zhu Yi's raw strength. He sprang up again, roaring as he unleashed Rage Slash. A crimson arc of energy tore toward Zhu Yi. Zhu Yi stood like a mountain, casually smashing it apart with one swing, calling it flashy but hollow. Li Yuan stared in disbelief. How was it shattered so easily? Refusing defeat, he grabbed his sword and charged again. Zhu Yi smirked, counter-swinging, and declaring he'd hammer him down until he submitted. Their powers collided violently, shaking the battlefield and igniting the crowd. Mid-fight, Zhu Yi even praised Li Yuan as the first peer able to match him in pure strength. Meanwhile, Li Yuan grew uneasy, realizing Zhu Yi's strength stat far surpassed his own. Suddenly, Li Yuan's sword was knocked away, and Zhu Yi mocked him for tiring too fast. Zhu Yi swung heavily again, forcing Li Yuan back as he realized he couldn't dodge in time. The crushing blow fell, and Li Yuan could only grit his teeth under the immense pressure. Then the situation abruptly shifted. A giant robot lunged from behind Zhu Yi in a flash attack. Zhu Yi instantly activated Holy Light Protection, forming a radiant barrier. Unfazed, he smashed the robot to pieces with a single hammer blow. As dust settled, he hoisted the hammer, noting the sneak attack was strong enough to crack his level 9 Holy Light Protection. Across the field, Li Yuan, still shaken, thanked Wang Xuan for saving him from a fatal strike. Wang Xuan admitted he'd planned to hide his strength for tougher foes. Saying that, he slowly raised his hand. Mechanical summoning gates opened all around the battlefield. In moments, level 21 GX 100 mechanical bees, level 21 light rocket bots, and level 22 BT 200 mech cavalry appeared. Zhu Yi frowned slightly. Wang Xuan was only level 19 yet controlled higher-level machines. The crowd buzzed as Principal Wu sighed that Chen Jing truly had hidden trump cards. Cheng Yongchun proudly explained Wang Xuan possessed the strength talent mechanical heart, allowing overleveled constructs. Principal Wu stroked his chin, predicting the team battle would hinge on these two. Back on the field, Zhu Yi calmly rested his hammer on his shoulder, asking if Wang Xuan planned a mechanical swarm tactic. Without hesitation, he charged straight into the encircling robot army. Shocked, Wang Xuan shouted that Zhu Yi was courting death. Instantly, all robots activated combat mode. Mechanical gun barrels swiveled and unleashed a torrential hail of bullets. Yet Zhu Yi didn't flinch, deploying Holy Light Heart Shield to block the entire barrage. Instantly, a radiant light shield condensed before Zhu Yi, blocking the torrential firepower. He roared in order to counterattack. Energy burst forth like countless light darts, piercing and smashing waves of robots. Not stopping, Zhu Yi activated Holy Light Cross, a massive cross manifesting midair. In a blink, he shot upward and swept his arms, dragging a colossal blade of light across the field. The robots below began smoking heavily. Moments later, they exploded in dazzling flashes. Wang Xuan screamed in shock as even fireproof robots were destroyed with ease. Gritting his teeth, he operated the console, declaring he still had same-tier machines. He immediately triggered another summoning system. In a flash, more robots appeared and charged under his command. A Suhang member laughed, saying Wang Xuan clearly didn't know Zhu Yi specialized in this kind of cleanup. Meanwhile, Zhu Yi glanced at the battle panel and calculated the timing was perfect. He unleashed Holy Flame Storm again, a colossal fire vortex sweeping the field. Wang Xuan paled and shouted for all robots to retreat. Too late, the raging vortex hurled them skyward and incinerated them completely. His control panel flashed warnings as multiple units lost connection. Sweating, he realized over a third of his forces were gone already. Forced into a corner, Wang Xuan decided to deploy his final trump card. He summoned the HX Arbiter, a massive shark-shaped robot stepping out from a mechanical gate. The machine instantly accelerated toward Zhu Yi. Its giant metal jaws opened wide, ready to swallow him whole. Wang Xuan shouted, activating the HX Arbiter's fusion mode. In a blink, two giant robots merged into an even more colossal war machine. The arena system issued warnings as defensive energy output had to increase to handle its power. The crowd erupted at the over-the-top mechanical spectacle. Data showed the HX Arbiter had reached level 23 with rare, profound tier aptitude. A girl in the stands gasped that this freshman class was full of monster geniuses. On Chen Jing's side, Li Yuan laughed smugly as Wang Shan's ace finally appeared. He loudly declared Suhang University was doomed to lose. Jiang Chun immediately rushed forward, eyes blazing, refusing to yield. She insisted Ju Yi would never lose, making Li Yuan ask if they still had hidden tricks. Inside the cockpit, Wang Shan roared that Ju Yi was about to witness the Arbiter's true firepower. The giant robot unleashed a dense barrage of shells toward Ju Yi. Seeing the sky filled with firepower, Ju Yi realized he couldn't confront it head-on. He instantly leapt into the air. In rapid flashes, he dodged the pursuing streams of bullets. Within seconds, Ju Yi closed in on the cockpit, muttering to see what was special. Suddenly, a violent energy blast detonated where he had just stood. Fortunately, Ju Yi tilted aside in time, narrowly avoiding the explosion. After the close call, he admitted inwardly it had been truly dangerous. In the cockpit, Wang Xuan laughed triumphantly, seeing Ju Yi forced to dodge nonstop. Staring at the control screen, he gloated that this time there was nowhere left to run. Yet Ju Yi calmly swung the mysterious light warhammer and charged straight at the robot. Instantly, the giant machine raised a massive mechanical cleaver to counter. In a flash, the enormous metal blade slammed into the ground. The strike tore a long fissure, ripping open the battlefield's surface. From the cockpit, Wang Xuan mocked that Ju Yi only knew how to run. He sneered whether Suhang University was full of cowards like this. If they wanted, they could fight head-on. In the cockpit, Wang Xuan thought a little taunt had hooked Ju Yi perfectly. He sneered that someone so easily provoked didn't deserve to captain Suhang. He then drove the giant robot straight at Ju Yi. Facing the charge, Ju Yi swung his warhammer to counter. The heavy blow slammed into the robot's massive frame. Simultaneously, he activated Hand of God, lightning crackling around his arm. The strike descended with thunderous power. Lightning exploded, paralyzing the robot's control systems. Inside, Wang Xuan panicked as the robot's shield energy was suddenly drained. Without hesitation, he triggered an emergency protocol. In a flash, swarms of small robots deployed across the field. The system displayed light magic stones per match could restore the robot's protective barrier. Elsewhere, Li Yuan and Jiang Chun were still clashing fiercely, sparks flying. Suddenly, Jiang Chun disengaged and shot away. She decisively ordered her teammates to retreat at once. Instantly, all Suhang members ceased fighting and withdrew in perfect sync. A Chenjing member tried to pursue but was stopped by Li Yuan, asking why halt the chase. Li Yuan scanned the field warily, saying something felt extremely off. Right then, a colossal hand with overwhelming aura appeared in the sky. The stands erupted in terror at the heavenly phenomenon. In the cockpit, Wang Xuan realized in horror it might be a god-tier skill. Though only one tier above a rank arbiter, the power gap was heaven and earth. Yet madness overtook him as he roared he wouldn't fear a god-tier skill. He activated Arbiter Limit Mode. Violent purple energy burst around the giant robot. Meanwhile, the colossal hand slowly descended. With crazed eyes, Wang Xuan ordered Limit Chain Slash. Countless sharp purple beams shot upward at the giant hand. For a moment, he thought the counterattack worked, but his joy froze as his face turned pale. The colossal hand fell unabated, triggering a catastrophic explosion. The arena shook like an earthquake under the impact. As smoke cleared, Ju Yi slowly walked out. Hands in pockets, he casually kicked aside rubble, calm as if nothing happened. At the battlefield center, the giant hand's imprint remained, with Wang Xuan lying motionless beneath. Xia Lan could only admit bitterly that the match was over. Wang Xuan lay stiff, weakly raising a hand to call Ju's name. Ju Yi simply strolled back to rejoin his teammates. The crowd roared in awe at the terrifying might of that strike. The entire stadium echoed with chants of Ju Yi's name. Principal Zhao sighed that against the god-tier hand of God, Cheng Jing's loss was fair. He had thought Wang Xuan guaranteed a championship, never expecting an all-round monster like Ju Yi. Turning to leave, he told Dean Wu that Su Hang had gained a truly outstanding seed. He declared that in over 30 years of teaching, Ju Yi was the most dazzling genius he'd seen. Hearing this, Dean Wu smiled smugly. The chants of Su Hang University and Ju Yi continued nonstop. Jiang Chun looked around, marveling at the electrifying atmosphere. The Su Hang team laughed, admitting without Ju Yi they'd have surely lost. Jiang Chun grinned, saying next year the stadium upgrade could host 200,000 screaming fans for the freshman showdown. She teased that after this match, Zhou Yi's fame would boom across Zhongxia, and he just laughed, telling her to behave. In the stands, a girl quietly watched Zhou Yi with keen interest. She noted a prodigy like him was exactly the talent Tianyu Guild was hunting. The man behind her explained Tianyu was top tier, even support members must hit level 30 and complete second advancement. But she shook her head, saying with the guild leader present, they could approach Zhou Yi early. She believed this junior brother would eventually join Tianyu Guild. Meanwhile, at the city hospital, the hallway felt like a storm about to break. Doctors in white rushed about, insisting healing arts and min-calming spells must stay active before mana ran dry. Inside, Wang Xuan lay battered and motionless as priests spammed healing energy nonstop. Watching outside, Li Yuan sighed without the arena's magic barrier, Wang Xuan would have survived. Before Dean Zhao, the team bowed an apology, ashamed of wasting the academy's massive resources. But hearing they only placed third, they froze, still thinking they could beat Meido University. Dean Zhao sighed, explaining Wang Xuan was gravely injured and their two core robots were completely wrecked. On his bed, Wang Xuan frowned bitterly, replaying Zhou overwhelming power. Gritting his teeth, he swore that after second advancement, his strength talent mechanical heart would truly erupt. Meanwhile, Zhou Heng lowered his head, apologizing to Zhou Yi for underestimating the Holy Knight. Zhou Yi bluntly cut him off, skip the flattery, and get to the point. Zhou Heng forced a smile, revealing the clan and both the Patriarch and Council of Elders wanted Zhou Yi back. He explained the Zhou clan splits resources yearly based on each branch strength. Normally the Patriarch and Elders disagree, but this time they united for Zhou Yi's future. Zhou Yi mused that returning might spare him plenty of petty trouble. After thinking it over, he still shook his head. He had no intention of going back. Zhou Heng sighed in disappointment, as if the Zhou clan's revival dream just fizzled out. Suddenly, Zhou Yi mentioned he knew someone with the Frost bloodline who might suit the clan's hidden class. Zhou Heng still shook his head. Job changing required an extremely high bloodline purity. Calmly, Zhou Yi said his sister's Frost bloodline purity was at least triple Zhou Heng's. Zhou Heng jolted awake, gripping Zhou Yi's hands, eyes blazing as he asked if she had awakened it. He then threw his arms up, trembling with excitement, laughing that the Zhou clan's comeback had arrived. Seeing Zhou Heng nearly lose it, Zhou Yi frowned, reminding him to ask Zhou Yun's career choice first. Zhou Yi pondered joining the Zhou clan meant little for him, but for his sister, their resources mattered a lot. Just then, his communicator buzzed. It was Zhou Yun calling. The screen lit up to Zhou Yun hugging Xiao Kui pitifully, and Zhou Yi instantly sensed trouble. But she suddenly beamed, spinning Xiao Kui around, bragging how his match shocked the whole school. She boldly declared she'd never share his contact. His future sister-in-law must be insanely strong. She even described the ideal as someone who could swing a 100-kilo sword and still sew with a tiny needle. Zhou Yi cut off the nonsense, sternly asking why she called him today. So Zhou Yi explained the Zhou clan had lined up 3 Frost-type hidden classes for her: archer, swordsman, or mage. Zhou Yun instantly opened her system panel, eyes sparkling at the shiny career options. She suddenly pointed at one and declared she'd choose the Frost mage path that suited her. Zhou Yi reminded her that accepting Zhou clan support meant studying in Tianlin for at least 3 to 5 years. Zhou Yun smiled firmly, saying she'd thought it through and wouldn't change her mind. Zhou Yi smiled back, promising to take her to Tianlin once he wrapped up his business. Cut to the arena plaza as loudspeakers boomed, officially opening Zone 4 of the National Freshman Exchange. Organizers announced that before the solo matches, rewards for the top 8 geniuses would be revealed. First prize unveiled an ultra-rare magic potion. The crowd erupted. Even third advancement elites would drool over that potion. At ringside, Jiang Churen wondered why this year's reward matched last year's champion prize. Zhou Yi calmly said the alliance wanted more geniuses. Jiang Churen nodded thoughtfully, realizing the alliance desperately needed fresh talent. The speakers roared again. Semifinalists would receive rank resources. Then came the bombshell: the champion would win a legendary weapon forged by Master Smith Ki Jun, shaking the entire arena. Zhou Yi looked up in shock. Legendary grade was the peak humanity could currently forge. From the stands, a young man laughed arrogantly, claiming the title was his for sure. The broadcast soon ordered all contestants to enter and prepare for the next match. Jiang Churen stepped out from backstage, flashing a bright smile and asking Zhou Yi for cheers. He simply nodded encouragement. At the same time, another figure strode in from the opposite side with heavy, steady steps. It was a young man in gleaming iron armor, radiating confidence and battle hunger. Nearing Zhou Yi, he lowered his visor and declared that while his opponent was strong, he was no pushover either. He raised his sword toward Zhou Yi, lips curling into a proud smirk. He mused that most class users balance stats, but he chose a totally different path, dumping all points into strength. He brimmed with confidence as the announcer declared the match start. Zhou Yi wasted no time, swinging his giant hammer and charging like a storm. The armored youth didn't retreat, rushing head-in for a pure strength clash. Laughing loudly, he taunted Zhou Yi to fight him directly and leaped high to strike. In a flash, his blade came down, unleashing the skill violent slash. Hammer and sword collided fiercely, sending shockwaves rippling through the arena air. Yet moments later, cracks began creeping along his sword. Worse, the strength he prided himself on was utterly crushed by Zhou Yi's monstrous power. His sword flew from his grip as he was blasted backward, slamming hard onto the stage. Struggling up in pain, he roared in disbelief at how Zhou Yi's strength dwarfed his own. Zhou Yi strolled over casually, hammer on shoulder, wearing a faint teasing smile. The crowd buzzed in shock. Zhou Yi had completely crushed him using raw strength alone. In the stands, a bespectacled man quietly observed, eyes sharp on every detail. He noted Feng Qiong had about 370 bonus strength from gear, yet was suppressed by a single hammer strike. He deduced Zhou Yi's strength exceeded 450 at least, perhaps with terrifying intelligence to match. He then asked his companion if he'd be confident facing Zhou Yi himself. Hearing that, Wei He frowned and replied in a low voice that he had only a 30% chance. Back on the arena, Feng Qiong endured the pain and stood up, eyes blazing with defiance. He roared that a knight would rather die standing than bow to any enemy. Zhou Yi laughed in approval, a flicker of respect shining in his eyes. Feng Qiong clenched his fists and charged like the wind, unleashing mad slash. Unmoved, Zhou Yi lowered his stance, raised his hammer, and dropped ashen repentance like thunder. Feng Qiong couldn't resist at all. One hammer blow sent him flying. The terrifying speed left the audience hearing only his scream echoing across the arena. Seeing the danger, a Mato University member rushed out and loudly surrendered to prevent further damage. Feng Qiong lay spread eagle on the floor as the announcer declared Zhou Yi the winner. The stands exploded in cheers, countless fans chanting Zhou Yi's name like a superstar. Medics rushed in, grumbling that Zhou Yi's holy light was ridiculously hard to deal with. Cut to the waiting room, where the atmosphere slowly calmed after the battle. Joey reunited with his teammates as Dean Wu happily announced the school now had two in the top three. He reminded Shilan that her progress was surprising, but her semifinal odds were slim, so work harder. Nearby, Jiang Churen lowered her head sadly after losing to Wei He of Mado University. The principal comforted her, saying her strength deserved top 8, she just had bad luck meeting a championship favorite. He then looked at Zhou Yi with expectation, tasking him with winning the solo championship. Zhou Yi smiled confidently, eyes bright, calmly accepting the responsibility. Dean Wu added that tomorrow would feature 2 team matches against regular schools. The reserve players would finally get a chance to gain real combat experience. The waiting room buzzed with strategy talk, while Xia Lan and Jiang Churen sat quietly in thought. Jiang Churen calculated that reaching the semifinals of round 6 meant earning ultra-rare level 5 resources. From inside, Dean Wu seriously instructed Zhou Yi that tomorrow he only needed to protect his teammates. Suddenly, a group of girls outside heard a familiar voice, turned around, and squealed upon recognizing Zhou Yi. In seconds, they swarmed him, praising his looks and freaking out over meeting their idol in person. Surrounded by fangirls, Zhou Yi looked awkward, eyes darting with no clue how to react. One bold girl handed him a photo and pen for an autograph, making him flusteredly sign his name twice. Before he recovered, more girls shoved in posters, some cool, some with adorable cat edits. The room grew livelier as they thanked and cheered Zhou Yi for the upcoming matches. Someone even screamed when he blushed, turning the chaos into pure comedy. Holding the photos, Zhou Yi stared and blurted in shock that it was actually his face. Sitting nearby, Xia Lan muttered, wondering when Zhou Yi had become this famous. Meanwhile, Jiang Churen watched silently, complex emotions and nameless worry rising within. She clenched her fists, eyes firm. Only 2 spots remained, and she would claim one. From afar, she stood quietly, gaze never leaving Zhou Yi's familiar back. Suddenly, Zhou Yi felt a chill on his neck, like someone was secretly watching him. He turned and looked around, mumbling in confusion about the strange stare. The next day, contestants were taken to a dense forest for the second half of round 4 in the solo arena. Someone immediately asked why this year's arena had turned into a forest. Another explained the map changes yearly, simulated from real battlefields, so the environment is always different. Even the monsters vary each time. Jiang Churen studied the damp woods and thought it suited her nicely. Right then, the announcer welcomed everyone to the dungeon Lost Pine Forest. Rules stated that every 30 minutes, monsters would spawn near the abandoned village, 3 waves total, and whoever killed the most advanced to round 5. Organizers stressed the dungeon wasn't life-threatening, so no need to panic. Many relaxed at the idea of simple monster hunting, but Jiang Churen stayed wary of the random terrain. Soon the broadcast declared the first monster wave was about to begin. All eyes fixed forward as Jiang Churen focused, ready for the spawn. Yet time passed and the forest stayed silent, save for wind rustling leaves. Jiang Churen frowned, uneasy that no monsters had appeared. Suddenly, someone behind began scratching wildly, groaning about intense itching. Complaints erupted one after another, making Jiang Churen turn immediately. She was shocked to see tiny purple mushrooms sprouting where he scratched, spreading like wildfire. The more he scratched, the faster they multiplied, soon covering half his face and one eye. In panic, he reached toward Jiang Churen, voice hoarse from pain and itch. She checked the system panel and found had been devoured by a monster and eliminated. This stunned her. She hadn't seen a single enemy. Soon, screams echoed through the forest as more contestants grew purple mushrooms all over. The crowd panicked at the invisible threat, while Jiang Churen forced herself to stay calm. She deduced the monsters were either invisible or existed in another form, infecting everyone at once. Just then, a purple mushroom sprouted on her arm, and she realized it was fungal spores. Without delay, she activated her power, purple light flaring over her arm. Instantly, the mushroom was destroyed, revealing the nature of the threat. Jiang Churen shouted a warning. Spores filled the air. Use fire-type skills to shield yourselves. Hearing her, contestants ignited fire skills, surrounding themselves with blazing auras in the forest. But not everyone had fire abilities. One warrior begged for help and was coldly refused. Elimination notices rang out repeatedly as spores consumed more contestants. Realizing defense wasn't enough, Jiang Churen concluded she had to find the spore source to score points. At that moment, a giant purple mushroom clinging to a tree trunk caught her eye. Her eyes lit up. This was the spore-spreading culprit. She dashed forward like lightning, attacking while shouting the monster's location. In a flash, the mushroom was blasted off the tree, and the system credited her with a kill. Immediately, nearby mushrooms seemed enraged, firing dense spores at her. Calmly, Jiang Churen leapt into the air, unleashing Flame Dance Phantom combined with Black Flame. Fairy Sword Arc swept the woods, monsters falling one after another as score alerts chimed nonstop. Meanwhile, at the team arena, the announcer declared Suhang University versus Miagao University had begun. At once, both teams charged into combat at blistering speed. Their eyes burned with determination to win for their schools. On Suhang's side, a contestant soared up and unleashed Blazing Tempest, a massive fire formation spiraling downward. Refusing to fall behind, Miagao countered with water blades and razor-sharp hydraulic streams. Yet the overwhelming firepower quickly suppressed water, igniting a fiery clash that sent the crowd roaring. Seeing the opponent suppressed, a Suhang member sneered that Miga's water element was totally crippled. But just as he relaxed, a gigantic arrow shot down from above straight at him. Luckily, Zhou Yi appeared in time, raising an energy shield that stopped it cold. He sternly warned Tan Wei not to let elemental dominance cloud his judgment, and to watch every direction. Zhou Yi then told Zhang Jing to focus on protecting teammates and monitoring the whole field. Zhang Jing bowed apologetically, vowing not to repeat the mistake. Across the field, Miga's red-haired girl fumed, feeling treated like a practice dummy. Instantly, the entire Manga team erupted with killing intent and launched a fierce counterattack. Suddenly, Zhou Yi's phone rang mid-battle, drawing brief attention. He checked and saw Zhang Churen had advanced successfully, prompting a proud smile. A furious Manga member roared at Zhou Yi for checking his phone mid-fight, but was swiftly knocked flat when he charged. In moments, he lay defeated as teammates rushed to heal him, and the system declared Su Hang victorious. Soon, multiple YouTube channels blasted the news, spotlighting two names, Zhou Yi and Wei He. A streamer excitedly announced Round 5 would be tomorrow morning, 4 matches for 4 spots, then semifinals in the afternoon. The host introduced Zhou Yi as a humble-born prodigy who set the record for strongest knight in the college exam. Wei He was praised as a noble heir with a century-old legacy and an ultra-rare special bloodline. The streamer hyped that their championship clash would be broadcast live to all viewers. The news spread fast, igniting heated debate over Zhou Yi versus Wei He. Back at the arena, a helicopter descended and slowly landed in the plaza. Its cabin door opened before thousands of eager eyes. Dean Wu led Suhang University out, followed by Zhou Yi and the team. The stands exploded with cheers, fans chanting God Yi and Goddess Jiang. Crowds pushed forward for photos and autographs, hundreds of phones raised high. Opposite them, Manhwa University entered amid thunderous applause. Their supporters roared Wei He's name, fueling the hype. Mados Dean Su shook hands with Dean Wu, smiling that champion and runner-up would belong to their two schools. Dean Wu replied politely, privately thinking Wei He couldn't match Zhou Yi. Nearby, Wei He narrowed his eyes at Zhou Yi, fierce killing intent flashing. His battle hunger surged at last, the decisive duel with his greatest rival. He silently vowed to defeat Zhou Yi and seize the championship. With both sides ready, the announcer grandly invited Zhou Yi and Wei He into the arena for the final. The stands erupted into chaotic cheers that shook the stadium. In a corner, Zhou Heng and a cane-bearing man watched quietly on the big screen. The man remarked that Wei He, raised on elite clan resources, was tremendously formidable. Adjusting his glasses, Zhou Heng calmly said Zhou Yi's growth rate far surpassed all peers. He added that while Wei He was the Wei clan's genius, Zhou Yi carried an aura like their ancestors. On the field, the final began as Zhou Yi casually hoisted his hammer and stacked multiple blessing skills. Instantly, Wei He leapt high and slashed down with his warblade in fierce momentum. Their forces collided midair, unleashing terrifying pressure that shook the arena. As the distance closed, their eyes locked, each probing the other's slightest move. Without pause, Zhou Yi spun and swung his hammer again, power surging like a tidal wave. But Wei He reacted instantly, retreating by a hair's breadth as dust billowed everywhere. Upon landing, Wei He tensed every muscle as scorching aura erupted from him. He roared, activating Berserk combined with blazing saber art. Flaming red slashes stormed forward as if tearing space apart. Facing the barrage, Zhou Yi calmly pivoted, dodging each razor-sharp strike. Observing closely, he realized Berserk massively boosted stats but left the user weakened after 3 minutes. Meanwhile, blazing saber art added fire damage, making every hit nastier. Zhou Yi silently admitted his foe truly was Mado's freshman leader. Yet mid-calculation, Wei He burst forward again at explosive speed. Lightning flashed in his eyes as he unleashed the rank skill Thunder Slash, fast as a falling bolt. Wei He brimmed with confidence, had trained this move tens of thousands of times to level 9. As the blazing arc fell, Zhou Yi swung his hammer, the clash detonating raw force. Wei He gritted his teeth, straining against the overwhelming pressure. He was stunned. Zhou Yi's strength was monstrous, despite his own 1000-jin blade. Even with Thunder Slash acceleration, he couldn't break Zhou Yi's defense. Sensing his opponent falter, Zhou Yi countered, blasting Wei He backward. Without pause, he summoned the Holy Light Sword and stood proudly mid-arena. He then activated level 9 Holy Light Cross, a radiant cross blazing behind him. Recognizing the move, Wei He sneered, had prepared for this. He triggered his talent Battle Maniac, crimson flames engulfing him like a war god. The luminous cross descended from above with terrifying might. Yet the berserk flames around Wei He stubbornly blocked the strike. When the light faded, he still stood tall, barely injured. Resting his saber on the ground, Wei He looked up at Zhou Yi with open provocation. Zhou Yi calmly reviewed Battle Maniac, huge strength boost and 80% damage reduction. Watching Wei He charge fiercely, he realized his foe wanted a quick finish. So Zhou Yi chose to stall. Once the talent expired, he could counterkill. Decision made, he shifted to agile defense, evading blow after blow. Meanwhile, Wei He calculated that dragging this out against a high recovery Holy Knight was disastrous. In the stands, the crowd buzzed at the tense backhandforth. Some questioned Zhou Yi's frontal approach, others shouted faith in God Ni. On the field, the clash remained deadlocked, neither gaining clear advantage. Suddenly, Zhou Yi raised a hand and summoned Spear of Victory. A massive golden spear of light plunged from the sky. Facing it, Wei He erected an energy shield and roared in challenge. When the spear struck, his shield stubbornly held firm. Inside the barrier, Wei He laughed triumphantly, convinced the attack was useless. Zhou Yi remained calm, tracing a holy mark on his forehead and coolly saying the laughter was premature. Instantly, the sky split apart as countless golden lightning bolts crashed down like divine wrath. Wei He paled, inwardly shocked by the devastating power of this ultimate strike. Even with 80% reduction from Battle Maniac, the pain was searing. Without it, had be done. He quickly calculated that each cast of Light's Judgment required at least a 1-second cooldown. If he seized that tiny gap, he believed he could close in and finish Zhou Yi. but before he moved, golden lightning densely sealed every escape, locking down all his skills. Wei He froze in horror. This casting speed far exceeded any data had studied. A chilling realization struck him. Zhou Light's judgment had surpassed level 20. The arena drowned in blinding light as golden lightning fused with a white energy pillar, leaving the crowd speechless. Many shielded their eyes in fear, while bandaged Wangshan watched quietly with regretful eyes. At last Wei He's barrier shattered, golden bolts piercing him mercilessly. He screamed in pain and fury, refusing to accept defeat, closing in. In his mind, the Temeter gap ahead felt both within reach and utterly insurmountable. Unwilling to yield, he roared that he would never bow. Instantly, Wei He poured out every ounce of strength, forcing his body to run a final forbidden art. The Heaven Shadow Saber erupted, black smoke billowed as countless crimson blades swirled like a storm. The scarlet killing intent thickened, suffocating the entire arena. Amid the climax, a familiar voice oddly urged viewers to subscribe for more exciting videos. Suddenly, the smoke ahead trembled as something massive began to emerge. From the explosion's core appeared a terrifying giant saber, trailed by endless blade phantoms forming a deadly formation. In a flash, the blade storm shot toward Zhou Yi, who remained calmly observant. Recognizing it as the Wei clan ancestors' bodyless weapon's secret art, Zhou Yi knew it once leveled monster cities. The blades wove into a massive net before him, killing intent surging wildly. Yet Zhou Yi smiled faintly, saying it was finally time to stop playing around. A colossal blade slashed in like lightning, dragging a vortex of lethal saber images. Zhou Yi stayed composed, slowly raising a hand against the oncoming storm. His fingertips glowed as he joked that repeating old tricks might disappoint the audience. Silken streams of water appeared around him, drifting softly under the arena lights. Without hesitation, Zhou Yi extended both hands and unleashed the ultimate skill, frozen 1,000 miles. In a blink, the water froze solid, layering rapidly. A colossal ice wall rose, sealing the entire arena like an impregnable fortress. On live broadcast, the host gasped. Zhou Yi's skill completely blocked the arena from view. In the lounge, the elder beside Zhou Heng trembled and shot to his feet in disbelief. He shouted at Zhou Heng if he saw it, the power exceeded imagination. Pure ice essence erupted, every incoming blade froze solid upon contact. In that instant, the immobilized blades hung midair. Zhou Yi's counterattack moment had arrived. He clenched his fist and threw a devastating punch, shaking the massive ice structure. The ice exploded into thousands of glittering crystal shards. From the shattered frost, a figure was blasted outward by the shockwave. It was Wei He, body flung uncontrollably from the blast center. He crashed to the ground, convulsing as blood trickled from his lips. As the ice melted away, Wei He lay unconscious while the referee declared Zhou Yi victorious. The stands erupted in thunderous cheers for Zhou Yi's resounding win. Fireworks burst brilliantly overhead, honoring the new champion. At center stage, Zhou Yi stood tall, embracing the roaring sea of sound. Amid the frenzy, the familiar reminder echoed again: subscribe for more thrilling content. In the stands, Dean Wu sighed for the genius Wei He, unfortunate to meet such an overwhelming foe. Yet looking at Zhou Yi, he was even more astonished the boy hadn't even used angel divine form. Soon after, Hao Xin stepped up to pat Zhou Yi's shoulder, praising Suhang University's long-awaited individual championship. He Lan excitedly adds that the win boosts the school's pride, and tomorrow's team battle looks bright. Jiang Chuan rushes over to hug Xiao Si, laughing that she always knew Zhou Yi would become a grand mage. Before finishing, Jiang Chuan invites Zhou Yi to celebrate with everyone tonight. Flooded with praise, Zhou Yi just scratches his head and smiles like a shy hero. At sunset, the group heads to Dongcheng, the old town food hub of Lansing, packed with bizarre ingredients. The streets glow with lights and stalls flaunt grilled dragon meat, wolf king blood jelly, and deep-sea monster fish balls. They stroll and chatter, pointing at delicious dishes until everyone's mouth waters. Suddenly, two young men appear behind them, and the hatted one locks onto Jiang Chuan's charming back view. He tosses his food to his friend and chases after her, gushing about her rare beauty. Even when warned she has a boyfriend, the hatted guy smugly claims nothing is impossible for him. But as he nears the group, his eyes land on Zhou Yi. He turns pale, trembling as he stammers her Shen, leaving his friend stunned. Meanwhile, Zhou Yi and the others notice nothing and keep strolling until they rest in the bustling food street. He Lan suggests Zhou Yi and Jiang Chuan grab seats, while the other three hunt for food. Jiang Chuan stops at a street liquor stall, curious about the local specialty, and the owner promotes 50-year Wulu wine. The vendor presents an exquisite jade bottle and cheerfully names the price 200,000 Midlo spirit coins. After Zhou Yi pays, the two sit at a small table and start pouring drinks. Jiang Chuan raises her glass, beaming as she congratulates Zhou Yi on winning the solo championship. They clink glasses and down the wine, the night air turning light and cheerful. Soon Jiang Chuan finishes another cup and eyes the bottle with curiosity. She's surprised the alcohol feels milder than expected. So she carefully pours several more cups, unaware the special brew is quietly kicking in. 10 minutes later, she's tipsy, red-faced and dreamy, asking why she sees two Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi realizes Wulu, made from drank spiritual materials, may taste light but hits like a truck. Seeing their friends still gone, he suggests finding them, but Jiang Chuan stubbornly refuses to move. Just then a strange woman settles up to Zhou Yi, coquettishly asking for a drink. Zhou Yi frowns and coolly points to the stall, saying there's half a bottle left, pay for it yourself. The woman keeps smiling seductively while Jiang Chuan flushes with annoyance. Jiang Chuan narrows her eyes, stands up, and steps closer in full alert mode. She mutters and pulls Zhou Yi behind her, clearly unhappy with how close the woman stands. The bold woman doesn't retreat and whispers in Jiang Churen's ear that she has no right to block his romantic luck. Secretly, she activates her bewitching talent, targeting both Zhou Yi and Jiang Churen to seize his resources. Her plan is simple: charm Zhou Yi, and everything he owns becomes hers. She strokes Zhou Yi's cheek and sweetly asks if he'd like somewhere quiet together. Suddenly, Zhou Yi steps forward, firmly gripping Jiang Churen's hand, his gaze icy. He states he doesn't mind Xiao Ran blocking his romance, and the other woman isn't special anyway. She freezes in disbelief at being called ordinary as Zhou Yi pulls Jiang Churen away. The two walk through the crowded street under dazzling lights and flowing crowds. Abruptly, Jiang Churen stops and stammers Zhou Yi. She takes a deep breath, eyes shimmering and trembling with courage. Then she blurts out a confession, saying she truly likes him. Zhou Yi stands there stunned, completely unprepared for that heartfelt bombshell. Jiang Churen blushes hard, admitting she hates seeing other girls swarm Zhou Yi. She's so jealous she wants to chase them all away. Eyes shut tight, she gathers the last scraps of courage. Trembling, she asks if she can be his girlfriend. Then she passes out drunk into Zhou Yi's arms, leaving him holding her under the neon lights. At that moment, some acquaintances walk by and witness the entire street-side confession. They freeze from start to finish, eyes wide at the unexpected drama. Time slips by and the bustling night eventually winds down. The next morning, alarm bells shatter the quiet air. Jiang Churen jolts awake, recalls her confession, and blushes, unsure if it was real or a dream. Hesitating, she cracks the door and peeks out to spy on everyone's reactions. The moment she appears, the group cheerfully greets Xiao Ran in unison. He Lan teases that she overslept for once and should hurry to breakfast. Seeing everyone act normal, Jiang Churen wonders if last night was just a dream. But when her eyes meet Zhou Yi's, her heart races and her cheeks flare red. In the corner, Tang Lingxi and Song Halan exchange knowing smiles at her reaction. They clearly remember Zhou Yi seriously asking them to pretend they never saw the confession. When questioned, Zhou Yi pauses before explaining slowly. He says the Jiang family in Sichuan is a centuries-old powerhouse ruling the region. As for himself, despite his fame, he's still too small, so he wants to grow strong enough not to put Xiao Ran in a tough spot. Back at breakfast, Song Halan whispers to tease Zhou Yi, declaring herself president of their couple's fan club. A familiar voice suddenly chimes in, urging everyone to subscribe for upcoming videos. Zhou Yi then states seriously that winning today's 9th match will secure Suhang University the team championship. The other 4 members instantly focus on him. They respond in unison, battle spirit blazing like fire. Meanwhile, in Mado University's waiting room, the coach tells Sun Qiao to stay calm as a support summoner. He bluntly admits that Wei He's severe injury has greatly weakened their team. Sighing, he adds that Zhou Yi of Suhang is monstrously strong, sweeping even top universities. Still, he orders them to fight with everything to defend Mado's honor. The team heads to the arena, with Sun Qiao quietly walking at the rear. Along the way, teammates recall how 7 years ago Mado made a comeback against Suhang. Those words make Sun Qiao touch her cheek thoughtfully, wondering if she can recreate that miracle. Outside, the supervising robot announces the team battle between Mado and Suhang is about to begin. The rewards are revealed. 3rd place reserves get a 3-star golden equipment set. 2nd place earns a 4-star golden set, while each champion receives a highly valuable Twister Epic full set. The stands erupt as spectators buzz over rewards doubled from last year. Even Zhou Yi is surprised the total value of the epic sets nearly surpasses the solo prize. Each set includes armor, pants, belt, boots, plus weapon, necklace, and ring. If fully refined, the resources could even forge 2 rare legendary tier weapons. Hearing that, Wei Texan laughs fiercely, vowing to claim the epic set no matter what. Soon the announcement calls Suhang and Mado teams into the arena. The crowd explodes, thousands chanting Zhou Yi's name. As players take position, the countdown hits 3, 2, 1 and the battle officially begins. In a blink, both teams clash head-on, kicking off a brutal group battle. Amid the cheers, the usual voice pops in, reminding everyone to subscribe. Sun Qiao raises her hand and casts magic, summoning circles lighting up the field. Legendary creatures emerge: a young spirit dragon, Zagazan Bees, the giant Hadithu serpent, and Lion King Kamala. Their arrival suffocates the arena with pressure and sky-high excitement. Kamala roars and fires a golden beam of destructive energy. On Suhang's side, Tang Lingxi leads the counterattack, threading spells through gaps in the beast formation. In moments, the arena glows with dazzling magic like a living war painting. Song Halan unleashes golden talismans to restrain the summoned beast's advance. At the front line, Wei Tiexin stands like a fortress, blocking the savage giant serpent. Heavy clashes boom as he tanks each ferocious strike. His eyes stay icy sharp, refusing to retreat. Right in the chaos, that subscription reminder barges in again. Meanwhile, Zhou Yi charges alone into enemy ranks, calmly assessing his team's improved coordination. His agile footwork terrifies Mado students as every attack misses by inches. Suddenly, space itself distorts as something forms in secret. Zhou Yi closes his eyes, sensing the abnormal energy. A skill called Link is activated. Black mist surges and a massive phantom arm bursts from the void. It blocks Zhou Yi's strike, halting him mid-attack. The darkness behind trembles violently. A colossal monster roars and steps out of the black fog. Even now, the familiar voice cuts in again, begging for subscriptions. Zhou Yi grits his teeth, bracing as the monster charges wildly. It howls uncontrollably, shaking the entire battlefield. Even the female summoner behind it looks stunned. She hurriedly orders her newly summoned serpent to assist. Zhou Yi coldly says there's no need for such petty tricks. A quick thank you for watching message awkwardly slices through the fight. The girl stammers an explanation, clearly losing control of the situation. Her voice trembles as she tries to calm the rampaging beast. Teammates shout to kill Zhou Yi, warning it's a level 24 legendary grade beast. It's Langyan Yuanxiao, a rare creature born to command deadly flames. Zhou Yi grows alert while the girl insists she didn't summon this nightmare. Sensing danger, Tang Lingxi casts a water shield to protect the team, but Langyan Yuanxiao's massive claw easily tears it apart. Song Halan chants, summoning earth spirit power from all directions. Yet the freshly raised earth wall is crushed by the beast's colossal body. Tang Lingxi hurriedly erects another magic barrier to stop it. And yes, the subscription plug echoes again mid-disaster. Even so, the new shield shatters under another savage claw strike. The beast leaps high and slams a terrifying punch down onto the arena. Luckily, the defense holds thanks to Zhou Yi's enhancement, doubling the skill's power. Otherwise, Song Hanan knows the shield would have shattered long ago, sweat dripping down his brow. Zhou Yi activates Sacred Light Heart Shield, holy radiance cloaking his body. He turns to his teammates and firmly orders them to leave the arena, and let him handle it. The team freezes, stunned by his bold decision. Wei Txin immediately objects, reminding him this is a legendary beast, not some random student. But Zhou Yi only smiles calmly, his steady gaze proving he means it. He says he can handle the monster, but in battle he can't protect everyone. Jiang Churen steps up, insisting on staying small or not, they're a team. Meanwhile, Langyan Yuanxiao keeps smashing the barrier, each punch shaking the ground. Zhou Yi sternly warns that fighting a legendary beast is deadly, one mistake means death. He gently pats Jiang Churen's head to calm her. He explains that their presence only distracts him against the monster. To him, it's just a legendary tier beast, nothing more. Commentators hype that history might repeat the 7-year-old comeback. In another corner, Shen Lingfeng bursts into excited laughter, has thrilled to see a legendary beast crash the match. In his view, Zhou Yi won't escape danger this time. And yes, another thank you for watching plug slices through the chatter. A commentator suddenly notices something odd on the field. He gasps, asking why some players are preparing to forfeit. 3 Suhang members voluntarily withdraw to avoid being caught in the beast fight. The ever-persistent subscription reminder echoes again. Jiang Churen also announces her withdrawal. Before leaving, she looks back at Zhou Yi with worry. She shouts for him to win, then steps off the arena. Another random promo barges into the tense battle. Langyan Yuanxiao shatters the last defense and lunges at Zhou Yi, but at that instant, a terrifying force crashes down from the sky onto it. As the dust clears, drops of fresh blood hit the ground. The beast stands revealed, one arm severed, roaring in pain. In midair, Zhou Yi grips a radiant battle axe, declaring he no longer has to worry about teammates. A blazing golden crown appears above his head. Team Mado is horrified, one strike injured a legendary beast. The monster looks up and rumbles that it senses a superior bloodline within him. It recalls its mother's warning, never offend supreme bloodlines. Yet seeing Zhou Yi still weak, it assumes he only fused with that bloodline by chance. After a pause, Langyan Yuanxiao roars and decides to unleash its full power. It spreads its arms, aura erupting like a volcano. From the void, a massive staff materializes in its grasp. The spinning staff generates terrifying force, shaking the air violently. Facing this, Zhou Yi remains calm, golden light blazing and a faint smile forming. He activates sacred light binding chains, countless radiant chains fortifying him like a fortress. Langyan Yuanxiao glares back, killing intent blazing in its eyes. It swings the colossal staff straight at the web of light chains. Zhou Yi boosts himself with radiant surge, golden aura exploding outward. The holy strike slams down, forcing the beast backward under crushing pressure. As dust settles, the monster plants its staff into the ground to steady itself. The impact makes it slide across the arena, gravel flying everywhere. Zhou Yi watches closely, puzzled that it seems barely injured. In the stands, a Chu family elder panics and orders Chu Heng to stop the match. He insists that even offending Su Hang is fine, Zhou Yi must be protected. In the observation room, Mado's principal sternly urges Vice Dean Wu to consider halting the fight. Right then, Chu Heng rushes in, begging to stop the match and offering hundredfold compensation. Vice Dean Wu only frowns, seemingly unwilling to interfere. And of course, the subscription call echoes yet again mid-argument. Su Hang's principal smiles calmly, saying as long as the beast isn't above level 26, Zhou Yi can handle it. Vice Dean Wu analyzes that it's only level 24, 2 levels below the danger threshold. Chu Heng is still worried when a shockwave from the arena startles everyone. All eyes snap back to the raging battle. On stage, Lang Yuanxiao keeps wildly swinging its staff at Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi lifts his axe and activates Light's Judgment. Countless holy lightning bolts erupt, temporarily restraining the beast. Electrocuted, Lang Yuanxiao roars in pain. It realizes the sacred power is numbing its entire body. Seizing the moment, Zhou Yi swings another Light's Judgment. The beast howls and spins its staff madly to offset part of the blow. Then it charges with full force, the staff's vortex roaring like a doomsday storm. Zhou Yi calculates that his Arank Light's Judgment once killed epic beasts in Abyss dungeons. Yet this monster's wounds regenerate almost instantly after each hit. While his thinking, Lang Yuanxiao suddenly leaps to crush everything. Facing the assault, Zhou Yi remains perfectly calm. He reactivates Sacred Light binding chains, giant radiant chains locking the beast midair. Suspended, Lang Yuanxiao thrashes and roars in fury. Zhou Yi recalls defeating legendary demons before thanks to light element suppression. But this beast adapts fast, its resistance to light magic growing stronger. Realizing the danger, Zhou Yi decides to end this quickly. He chains enhancement skills like Divine Grace and Dawn Blessing, then prepares his final step, activating Angelic Form to unleash full power. Entering peak state, Zhou Yi makes Team Mado panic, relieved his target isn't Sun Qiao. They know if the summoner falls, all beasts vanish, so they rush to shield Sun Qiao. Joey activates the skill and soars skyward, arms spread to embrace surging power. Energy floods his body, his aura skyrocketing and pressure blanketing the arena. Shockingly, Lang Yuanxiao also erupts, entering berserk armor state with two flaming staffs. It slams them together, forming a crimson energy pillar that shoots skyward like it wants to rip space apart. At the same time, Zhou Yi conjures a colossal hand of light to lock onto the target below. In a flash, the holy hand crashes down like a mountain, crushing the beast's energy into the ground. The two forces collide and explode violently, shaking the arena's protective barrier. Barrier fragments scatter as raging flames surge toward the stands. In chaos, spectators flee in panic except one girl who stays calm. She flips through her spellbook, then rockets into the air shouting a spell. Instantly, interwoven white water streams form a massive shield, extinguishing the flames. Tension eases as the crowd collectively sighs in relief. Cheers rise as a third-turn mage from the Hawaiian Alliance, so they're safe now. She frowns, having expected tension, but not this level of destruction. After all, a level 7 barrier should block peak second-turn spells, yet Zhou Yi shattered it completely. She quietly realizes Zhongxia has birthed a rare genius, a new hope for humanity. Suddenly, the arena floor trembles, massive cracks spreading everywhere. Team Mado looks down in horror as the beast slowly rises from the rubble. Its eyes still burn with battle will, enraged as light and ice ruin its regeneration. Worse, it howls madly and leaps forward, roaring that the great demon can't fall here. Yet Joey stays calm, unfazed as the beast charges. In a flash, he throws a hammer-like punch straight into its vicious face. The monster staggers back, teeth flying across the arena. Before it recovers, Joey dashes behind and delivers a crushing kick. The beast can't even react to the lightning-fast strike. It's sent crashing to the ground, debris exploding everywhere. To finish, Joey summons countless holy light chains binding all Mado members. He coolly asks if they surrender or wish to continue. Under overwhelming pressure, Team Mado exchanges bitter looks and concedes together. In the stands, Mado's principal sighs at the inevitable outcome. The Vice Dean stares thoughtfully as the broadcast announces the team battle result. The MC promptly reminds viewers to subscribe for more epic fights. The crowd erupts, chanting Joey's name as ranking shows Su Hang leading after 4 to 5 matches. Afterward, Zhou Yi returns to his plain, humble self as if the earth-shaking duel never happened. The moment he appears, Jiang Chuan runs to him, worry written all over her face. She calls his name loudly, asking about his angelic form, while the streamer zooms in. On live camera, Zhou Yi smiles, pats her head, and apologizes. Online comments instantly explode. Suddenly, a hand blocks the lens, and viewers groan as the climax vanishes. Vice Dean Wu grabs the camera, coldly declaring private live streams forbidden post-match. The streamer turns pale, sweating, as Vice Dean Wu orders Team Su Hang back to the villa. He announces they'll soon discuss the final event, the brutal survival match. Later at the villa, Vice Dean Wu explains the survival rules. All 10 schools will enter a real dungeon, killing beasts or rivals to earn points. Over 7 days, the highest total wins, with new map zones unlocking daily. Stray into the void border and retreat immediately. It's riddled with deadly spatial rifts. Team Su Hang answers in unison, eyes burning with resolve. After the meeting, they leave one by one, the hallway growing quiet. As footsteps fade, a small villa room door quietly opens. Inside, Dean Su meets several high-ranking figures waiting. Seeing him, Principal Zhou greets him with layered meaning. Dean Su calmly asks the purpose, noting more than just Su Hang's mentor is present. Principal Zhou smirks, eyes gleaming with calculation. He says unless something unexpected happens, Su Hang will likely win the survival match too. Then he slowly asks if Dean Su is truly content with that outcome. The next morning, announcements boom. The final freshman exchange event begins. This dungeon isn't ordinary but an ancient battlefield ruin. Organizers warn all contestants to brace for unpredictable dangers. The match lasts 7 days and nights, streamed exclusively via the app. Rumor says even a single stone there might hide divine artifacts or forgotten treasures. Some contestants dream of jackpot luck, while others suspect the military already looted everything. Soon after, all participants step through the teleportation gate into the vast dungeon. Seeing Zhou Yi, another contestant instantly sidesteps, praying not to meet him too soon. In a blink, Zhou Yi is teleported to a dense forest by a lake, no teammates in sight. Remembering he stood beside Jiang Chuan at entry, he realizes the teleportation is totally random. Suddenly, a noise behind him makes him whirl around in alert. Ahead, Tian Lixing is sprinting away, muttering sarcastic jabs at his opponent. He sneers that Zhou Yi has 0 points, like a rabbit best fattened before slaughter. His eyes flash viciously as he summons a heavy warhammer. Elsewhere in another forest, He Lan stands quietly with her bow under thick foliage. She closes her eyes, breathing deep to sense vibrations around her. After a moment, she opens them, murmurs a direction, and fires straight ahead. Instantly, the arrow slices through the air at terrifying speed toward its target. Meanwhile, Tian Lixing keeps running, feeling something chasing him. He senses the incoming arrow's aura and suspects its spirit-infused. In a flash, he dodges, raises his blade to block, and yells that He Lan is an ally. The arrow halts midair. He Lan rushes over in panic. "Good thing," he shouted. Awkwardly dodging explanations, Tian Lixing changes the topic and asks if she's met anyone from Su Hang. As they walk, He Lan admits her plant perception only works near dense forests. The scene cuts to a room where a young man watches the match intensely on his computer. Of course, the screen flashes another subscribe reminder, rudely interrupting the hype. At a cliff's edge, a lone figure stands above panicked beasts fleeing below. It's Zhou Yi. He coldly gives a command and sets the canyon ablaze. In seconds, flames swallow the herd, and his points skyrocket. But soon, fierce goblin-like creatures appear, shrieking as they charge the intruder. Joey calmly raises a hand, gathers energy, and unleashes a freezing spell. A wave of frost sweeps through, turning the entire group into ice statues. He casually brushes his hair and walks away, leaving frozen foes behind. Moments later, the ice shatters, the creatures vanish, and his points surge again. Before he can rest, a giant spider ambushes from afar. Joey swings his battle axe down, blasting the monster away. The spider dies instantly, more points flowing into his tally. His total jumps another 1,200, and he opens the system ranking panel. Joey stands first with over 15,000 points, far ahead of others. He ponders how much he gained from the recent battles. Then he recalls the dean once said a mechanic could command an entire robot army solo. Scrolling down, he checks teammates' ranks Jiang Churan, He Lan, and the rest match expectations. But deeper down, he freezes at the abnormally low ranks of Tan Wei and Zhang Zhu. He opens the details and discovers Tan Wei has been eliminated, instantly analyzing possibilities. Given Tan Wei's strength and caution, dying to beasts seems unlikely. A darker thought forms inside this realm. Contestants can hunt each other. Weaker players might band together, ambushing other teams for advantage. Right then, the system issues an urgent notice: the realm will shrink, and all must reach the safe zone within 3 hours. The screen rudely flashes a subscribe plug, breaking the battle's rhythm like bad Wi-Fi. Junyi wastes zero time and sprints full speed toward the safe zone. While running, he grumbles about his rotten luck. The first zone shrink is miles away, of course. Crossing the hill, Junyi spots Tang Lynx's familiar green aura rising ahead. He grits his teeth and keeps running 1 second slower, and the safe timer wins. Meanwhile, atop the mountain, Tang Lynx's fight is still brutally intense. The subscribe reminder barges in again, slicing through the drama. A random thanks for watching pops up next, making the footage hilariously choppy. Even the closing farewell appears despite the secret realm fight still raging. And yes, the subscribe prompt crashes the scene yet again. Right then, a colossal stone pillar drops from the sky, flattening an enemy mid-thought. Tang Lynxy coolly mocks the loser, underestimating foes, especially hidden teammates, as rookie behavior. Sure enough, a girl above prepares a sneak attack, but Tang Lynxy already clocked her. She swings her staff, casting Stone Spirit Subjugation, sending rubble soaring. In seconds, stones wrap the foe into a tight rock sphere, movement denied. The screen interrupts again with the ever-annoying subscribe notice. A distant noise snaps Tang Lynxy alert. She raises her bow, eyes icy. Before her stands Li Jian, flanked by snarling demon beasts awaiting orders. He sneers, praising her talent while mocking her as a genius in someone else's shadow. On cue, the beasts charge, fangs bared and roaring. Tang Lynxy fires razor-sharp water arrows, instantly decapitating several beasts. Suddenly, a giant wolf lunges from behind, too fast for comfort. She counters swiftly but still gets her arm bitten in a life-or-death flash. Li Jian orders the beast to tear her arm off. No staff, no mage power. Bleeding on the ground, Tang Lynxy smirks. Good opportunities are meant to be seized. A blazing red talisman appears beneath them, and Li Jian's face drains of color. Of course, the subscribe prompt pops up again, because timing is cursed. The talisman explodes, smoke and lava erupting into a miniature apocalypse. The shockwave slams Li Jian flat onto the dirt. Panic spreads across his face as he realizes the tables have flipped. Yet again, the familiar subscribe message hijacks the screen. On the ground, Tang Lynxy trembles and coughs blood. Her mana is bone dry. Wu Kang from Yuki University spots her weakness, eyes gleaming with attack intent. He immediately launches a sneak strike while she's vulnerable. At the final second, a powerful foot blocks the blow midair. Wu Kang looks up, dirt-covered and utterly stunned. The newcomer is Junyi, who coldly warns him before striking back. Wu Kang's weapon detonates, white smoke and shockwaves engulfing the area. Tang Lynxy sighs in relief at Junyi's arrival, then promptly collapses from exhaustion. Junyi checks on her just as the system announces Wu Kang's elimination. Naturally, the subscribe plug crashes in once more. And then another one, because chaos loves company. Junyi stares wide-eyed at the new notification. He opens the system panel to check the details. The board displays the opponent's current ranking. The system confirms he ranked 16th with 80 points and is officially out. Annoyed, Tang Lynxy mutters that Zhang Zhu was probably ganged up on too. Junyi broods that they might be using some sneaky tracking method. Calming down, he reasons it's likely just a unique skill, hard to call it cheating by the rules. Still, he narrows his eyes coldly. If they're playing dirty, they'll pay in full. The ever-persistent subscribe prompt crashes the battle feed again. Another subscription notice repeats, making the recording even messier. After a pause, Junyi vows that in 6 days at the final match, he'll make them repay double. Tang Lynxy blushes slightly, clearly flustered. Softly calling him second brother, she watches as Junyi turns to give instructions. He tells her to drink a mana potion and rest, while he clears the nearby demonic beasts tonight. Naturally, the subscribe reminder pops up again. 6 days later, the survival match atmosphere boils as all contestants brace for the finale. Right at the climax, the screen jams in another subscribe notice. In a sandstorm-racked desert mountain, the rival alliance gathers in force. Junyi and Tang Lynxy head there too, checking teammate locations via the system. An alliance member admits Jiang Churan is strong but no monster like Junyi. They split forces. Xia Lan leads a team to surround Jiang Churan, while the main group waits for Junyi. Just as preparations finish, a strange surge of spiritual energy sweeps in. A terrifying pressure lifts the alliance into the air like invisible hands. Xia Lan draws his bow at the energy source and calls out the challenger. He smirks, saying it's been a while since he fought her seriously. Today, hell, just bully the weak. Jiang Shuren answers with a frosty smile, eyes sharp as blades. The subscribe prompt barges in again during the tense standoff. Fearless Jiang Shuren declares she'll show them her true power today. Xia Lan is secretly shocked she's fully mastered her bloodline transformation state. Even with 24 members, the alliance must go all out. The battlefield tightens as both forces brace for impact. Yes, the subscribe message returns yet again. Suddenly, twin blasts of fire erupt midair, forcing both sides apart. From a high cliff, Wei He observes the entire battlefield. He mutters nervously, sensing a familiar aura approaching. Junai has arrived, and the air instantly grows heavy. A massive earth pillar erupts from underground, radiating crushing pressure. Atop it stand Junyi and Tang Lingxi, stunning the alliance. The screen, of course, inserts another subscribe reminder. And another one because subtlety is overrated. Before them stands an alliance of 47 elite contestants from various schools. Junyi laughs disdainfully, dismissing them as a ragtag mob. He coldly asks if any among them hasn't already lost to him. The screen flashes a subscribe to the last school prompt mid-tone. Junius' overwhelming aura makes several alliance members step back instinctively. Then another subscription notice interrupts. Enraged by his provocation, the alliance grits their teeth, eyes blazing with resolve. Refusing to waste time, they begin gathering power in unison. Their strongest skills ignite at once: fire blades, beast summoning, judgment abilities, and more. In a flash, the alliance charges like a storm straight at Junyi. Calm as ever, he lifts his battle axe, activates multiple enhancement skills, and dives into battle. One axe swing unleashes a holy light arc stretching dozens of meters. The wave of power tears straight through the alliance ranks. Numerous opponents are blasted away, staggering across the field. Spectators outside gasp at the freshman's terrifying speed and strength. On the battlefield, the alliance's summoned demonic beasts charge in mass. The faithful subscribe interruption returns, because of course it does. In a blink, towering giants grab Junyi, squeezing him like a stress ball. Suddenly, blazing golden light bursts from between their fingers, power surging wildly. The subscribe prompt cuts in again, sabotaging the spectacle. Below, the alliance stacks layers of defense protective fields, mana barriers like guardians. Shields pile up into a fortress-level defense. One member shouts they still have 6 defensive layers intact. The group exhales, thinking they've survived the strike. From above, Junyi mocks it was only the warm-up. He casts 18 holy light palms, summoning a colossal divine hand. The radiant golden hand descends, blanketing the battlefield. Wang Shan stares wide-eyed at the terrifying might. Alliance members pale and scream for everyone to dodge. They scatter frantically, taking that hit means game over. From afar away, he anxiously shouts as Wang Shan stands frozen. Inside his mechanical body, Wang Xuan calmly says even a near-zero chance is still worth trying. He calculates rapidly, planning to merge all machinery into a giant defensive wall. Right on cue, the subscribe message pops up again. Ignoring the danger, Wang Xuan roars in resolve as the divine hand slams down. Holy light fused with flames crashes down like a natural disaster. The collision thunders across the battlefield. Wang Shan's mechanical defense line shakes violently. In seconds, every machine shatters into fragments. A massive explosion erupts, smoke swallowing the field. As the haze clears, Wang Xuan still stands amid the ruins. The subscribe reminder makes yet another unwanted cameo. Refusing defeat, another foe unleashes blazing flame tornado with a sweeping blade. Junyi casually redirects it with holy light, dispersing it instantly. Exhausted, Wei He slumps down, thinking if Junyi survives this, all hope is gone. Still, the alliance charges desperately with sword chant, gale slash, and countless skills. Watching them rush in, Junyi coldly declares has been far too merciful. He ascends and activates Light's judgment, unleashing countless bolts of radiant lightning. The dense assault throws the alliance formation into chaos. Naturally, the subscribe prompt barges in again. As smoke fades, Junyi looks down and asks Wang Xuan if he'll surrender. Wang Xuan hesitates with his hand on the retreat button, fearing nationwide embarrassment. In the observation room, Weistin Wu laughs smugly. He glances across and coldly tells them to stop playing dumb. Ordinary schools wouldn't dare unite like this, only major forces would scheme so boldly. The screen interrupts yet again with a familiar subscribe plea. He analyzes that Qingjing, once advantaged but badly defeated, resorted to a last-ditch tactic. He recalls that secret meeting before Dean Su that night. They'd argued that if Suhang University won all 3 events, others would lose all face. After bargaining over steer resources, the secret alliance plan was sealed. Their goal: eliminate all Suhang contestants within 6 days, avoid Junai for now.